very nitty gritty into the legal details or something. I'll say.
Hope so, because I actually researched that, but I got given probably the thought that we're not going to discuss the legal from Wick. Wick thinks that we're going to be going for blood rather than brain.
Yeah,
Brawn over brain.
I did a little bit of legal research, but not a lot. Sounds like you'll have a lot to say about it. That'll be interesting to talk about.
Who, me? I don't have a whole lot to say about legal, honestly. We'll see what happens.
I think the ethical side of it's probably more interesting. Like the legal side of it, like who fucking cares? We're all.
Well, I do, but that's going to be its own question.
You know what I mean, insofar as like we're not going to pass legislation or figure out like what is going to be done here. We're just going to come to a bunch of agreements and disagreements about what we think the right way to act is.
Yeah, we're on the ought, not the is. The is undecided right now. We're all on the ought. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's all I meant.
I'm wearing X-ray goggles right now, X-ray vision glasses, so I can see everybody naked at all times when I'm wearing these.
That's kind of disgusting.
Did you get my consent for that, sir?
They don't actually work. I can say that much.
Oh my god. Not cool. Not cool. Oh man. Okay. So, Star, my understanding is that you are also going to be on the anti side. Or
no, I'm an enlightened centrist.
Hey, that's actually probably closer to me than being on the anti. There was rumors, or there was the implication by our other female guests that if you're a woman, you have to be on the anti side. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black, kind of style.
Well, I've never been counted as a woman, in these things, in these spaces, so, I'm used to it by now.
It's just ironic because you're one of the only women that I've heard say that your femininity and like your womanhood is extremely important to your identity. So
that's why it has to be discounted.
I mean, all the more reason to ignore your opinion completely, I suppose. Just kidding.
I'm ready to get right into this. I'm ready.
Oh yeah. I'm peeking.
I'm ready when you guys are.
Yeah, here. Let me show you guys my fucking gristled visage.
I'm putting my war paint on right now.
Oh, your war paint? I'm excited now. She's going to be coming out looking straight up like Uncanny Valley, half human, half not. She's going to win the debate purely on disgust.
I just decided.
Hey, what's going on, Zibs?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, gang. Let's do some audio checks. We're a little live. I went live a little early. Apologies. I know I usually tech checks in private, but I wanted to entertain my audience a little bit and kind of get things out of the way before we started. How's everyone today?
Doing good.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
Thank you.
Doing damn good, Wick.
Take time. I love the aesthetic from all of you. Portland, a sign in the background with the jumping deer, A+. Your glasses and the stop sign. We're going to have to use that stop sign several times on the panel.
These are actually X-ray glasses, just so you know.
X-ray, not hypnosis glasses? You're not trying to hypnotize
No,
us?
I can see through your clothes. Glasses.
Noted. Tuna chip, white with the binary zeros and ones, the shadowy figure in the background. Is that shadowy figure a deep fake of me? I don't know. It might be.
I'm inside your hard drive.
And then we got Stardust, looking beautiful as ever. Doobie and Kelly Jean are on their way. They'll be here in a minute. So in the meantime, right, how's everyone today?
Good.
Ready to rehash this argument, even though Chud Logic just cucked your content hardcore today.
Oh my god,
stole the thunder right out from under. So,
you guys don't understand. No, I
wrote down a quote from Chud Logic that he said earlier on the stream. I thought was funny. If you jerk off to a sexy tree, and this is me paraphrasing it. If you jerk off to a sexy tree in the woods and it never knows you've done it, does it hurt the tree's feelings?
Trees don't have feelings. It's a plant.
Trees have curves, though. All right, so
They have
they're fair
feelings.
game as far as I'm concerned.
And if we know anything about trees have knots, and I believe knots are maybe one of the more important features of that dog fucker. Not to
Yeah.
take it too far back.
Human
Okay,
sexuality
okay.
and
We are
knots.
not going to make this into the dog fucker panel part 2. We're just not
I
going
want
to.
Pepe Sylvia. I want Pepe Sylvia, Wick. I hope you're ready.
I don't know if I am. Doobie, hello.
Hello.
Hi, Doobie.
Let me turn you up just a tad.
What's up, Dipster?
Not much.
Doobie, I don't count as a woman for this panel, apparently.
That
Yo,
works for
Ice,
me.
what's poppin'?
I don't know what that means. Why don't you count as a woman for this
I
panel?
don't know. We'll see.
Nobody said that yet.
No one said it yet.
I was gonna say it for sure.
I don't know. Okay, recently,
really.
gang, I've been getting a lot of flack in my DMs and in private discords and stuff that no marginalized groups don't want to come on my show. But yesterday, all I had was marginalized groups, so it's hard for me to take criticisms like that seriously.
No, I don't. Wick, disregard it. That's
Yeah.
what I'm going to tell you right now.
Look,
Disregard
if
it.
they lack the spine to come onto these like debate panels, maybe they should be marginalized.
I
Do-
will make up for all of the marginalized people that you don't have, okay? You can
Thank
use
you.
every card with me, every single card under the sun that is
True.
applicable. I have, everything. Just put everything out there.
Okay,
Everyone
Kelly
that
Jean's
Three
looking for her
communists.
headphones.
You
Just
had
to
three
let my
communists
audience
on here
know.
Monday, right?
Kelly Jean's looking for her headphones, and as soon as she finds them, she'll jump on in, and we'll get this show on the road.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, I just want to preface this by saying that I was very disappointed today, right, to find out that Chud Logic had made some deep fakes of me. He left it open on his tab during his stream. I saw some of the clips that he was using to pleasure himself. It was disgusting. I've never felt so violated. I've never felt so uncomfortable in my life. And I just wanted to talk about it with you all today and figure out, because I can't understand. Am I being a soy boy about this? Should I care that he's made like a terabyte of deep fake porn of Wick in various situations, and he's just been using this to pleasure himself day after day? Is this something I should be concerned about? I just don't understand
I think
it.
you should probably take it as a compliment and stop being a bitch.
But it's weird. He didn't
It's
even
only
ask me.
unethical. It's only unethical if if he has made the public aware of this, which it seems like he has. So
To be clear, it's also unethical if he bought it. If he made it himself, it's not only perfectly morally neutral, it's technologically impressive. So
Yeah.
true. I agree with that.
Well,
So far, the only person that's been able to make something as sexy as Wick has been God himself. So the fact that he was able to get a robot to do that, honestly, we should bow down. We should be writing a testament. We should be thumping the Bible of Chud Logic.
Okay. Everyone's here now. Everyone's here. We can get started. Kelly Jean, it's okay. Welcome.
Yeah, I'm just
How's
gonna
your audio?
switch my camera on. One sec.
Boom, boom, boom. In the meantime, right? I'd just like to thank everyone for being here. Thank everyone for coming. What the fuck is Chud Logic? That's a good question. But it should be an interesting discussion. The only thing I'd ask of you, gang, refrain from anything toss. I don't care how heated it gets. I don't care how you go at each other, right? Everything's on the table. But if it ventures into TOS, it threatens my livelihood, and we can't tolerate that. So no slurs, nothing like that, please.
Gosh darn it.
I know.
Damn.
What
I
about bolt
was
for
just
brains?
I was just debating. I was talking with my friends. What if I made a deep fake of my own voice and then recorded it saying the N-word and then used that as a sound clip, but it wasn't me saying it, so I could just have that on hand.
We're going to find out today. Okay, gang. But thank you all for being here. We'll start the panel and we'll get this show on the road. So I guess I'd start by asking each of you, right? whether or not you feel that deepfakes are unethical or ethical, how would you feel if someone made a deepfake of you, passed it around to all of your friends, and it was something that you would never consent to? It was of you doing acts that were horrific, or you found horrific, or an abominable, and did the what would be your response to that, and why is it okay, if you think deepfakes are okay, for people to do it to others but not to you? I'll start with Doobie. Go ahead. Oh, and thank you for the raid, Chud Logic.
So
Appreciate
it depends,
it.
right? So if I think the person is attractive, I'm going to be flattered. If I think they're unattractive, I'm probably going to think it's like icky because I don't want to think about them masturbating. If it's just like, deep fake of me like jerking off a horse or something, I think it's funny and I wouldn't care. Like I don't think either any of these things have any kind of harm attached to them, so I just don't give a fuck.
Okay. What about you, Portland?
Yeah, God help me, I'm with Doobie on this one. I've had a lot of people suggest a lot of horrible scenarios about things they could deep fake of me doing. Stuff they could deep fake of my children doing. I don't give a fuck. I think that that sounds kind of funny. Would probably be a little
Wait,
bit.
for your
I'd probably be a
children?
little bit confused and grossed out by anybody's use of this technology to create sexual imagery of me, but I expect everybody to do the absolute worst with every bit of information I submit to the internet, and I think everyone else should too.
Portland, I don't believe you. I'm going to be
I know
real
you
with
don't.
I
I've heard
don't
you say
believe
that,
you.
but I don't care. It's true.
If someone made a deepfake of your kids, you wouldn't care? You wouldn't have any feelings
what
at
harm
all?
would it do? Do you think that somebody's going to think that my 2-year-old the harm is if there's actual cheese pizza underneath the deep fake that real people created and then my children are deep faked
Maybe
over it.
do
I don't
fucking
care
opening
about
statements before we start arguing. Just
I'm
as
sorry,
an idea.
can you repeat that?
Can we get through opening statements?
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, that'd be lovely.
Please.
I
Can
was
argue
done
with
with
you
my
all
opening
afterwards.
statement.
Fair. Okay. Are you finished, Portland?
Yeah, I'm totally finished.
Okay. Kelly Jean, you're up. What do you think?
I'm still fixing a few things. Can I go last? Is that
You
right?
can go last. Fair enough.
Thank you.
We'll go to Tuna Chip next then.
Hey, so if someone made a deepfake of me, it would really depend on what they're doing and the quality of the deepfake. I think that deepfakes right now, if you made, me doing something totally legal, not a problem. If you put me in a deepfake of doing something illegal and it was really high credibility, that's a form of defamation that could get me into legal trouble. I could go to prison. Fuck that. I think that that's super fucked. I think that the capacity of deepfakes to fraudulently eschew people can't be ignored. If we have a problem with fake rape allegations, what about fake rape videos? The future is not looking pretty for deepfakes. It's my take.
Ooh.
Okay. Stardust, what do you think?
Yeah, so the way that I view this is similar to how I view dudes jerking off to safe for work pictures on Instagram, right? Is it a bit weird? Yeah, it's really fucking weird. Don't tell me about it. But at the end of the day, as long as you don't tell me about you jerking off to this Instagram picture, I have no purview over your bedroom. But what I will say is when it comes to deepfake porns, it is very dystopian, as others have said. It is very weird. I think it's very weird to make deepfakes of people. But as long as it's not distributed, as long as nobody else has access to that, which is, probably going to be a pretty low chance of, as long as that stays within your, private, life, and it doesn't go anywhere else, I can't really say what you can and can't do in your bedroom, even if I think it's really fucking weird. And I think that essentially it's the same as the dude who draws weird hentai of you or something. Is it weird? 100% weird. So fucking weird. Why are you doing that? Can I stop him? Not really, if he's doing it in his own personal time, not showing it to me and not showing it to anybody else. So.
Okay. Let's see what Smith has to say.
I think that it's fine. I think that what Tuna Fish was getting at is a totally different issue entirely. I think if it actually looks exactly like you and is indistinguishable, passable as real, and is sold as actually a video of you, that's beyond just a deep fake. That's like actual defamation and slander and harassment. But I think if it's clearly deep fake, it's clearly identified as such. It goes under the same category as something like a erotic fanfic of you, which is weird and creepy, can make you uncomfortable. But like, if someone makes an erotic fanfic of me, it's just like, okay, whatever. I don't want to hear about it. I don't care. Like, as long as I don't want to be part of it, go ahead, do whatever.
Okay. Kelly Jean, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, the question proposed was, what if this happened to you, right? Just checking.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you want to give your general take as well.
Okay,
Like,
well,
what
I
if
don't have
someone...
to say what if it did happen to me, so I can list all of the negative things that happened. So this was before sort of deepfakes hit, and it was also before I had a Patreon or an OF, so all I was like a cosplayer and streamer. I had people take and Photoshop images, and then I also had people just crop the heads off of random girls that had a similar type of body to me and say they were me. So they were like nudes, and then they make up lies about me being a cam girl in the past, which was negatively affecting sort of things like sponsors and stuff because I was just a fucking streamer. I also got on-stream harassment, even from a Twitch partner who admitted to it because he was on the same. We were both sponsored by Asus at the time. His ex-girlfriend called him out for being abusive, and that information came out with it. He joined my stream, him and his friends, and they made fake subs talking about this stuff to essentially embarrass me and torment me as I was fucking live streaming. So I don't really need to think about what would happen. I already fucking know what did happen. But yeah, it affects you socially. You get a lot of preconceived judgments, and it's annoying when it's not on something you actually even do. And it's different when you're a smaller streamer, right? I wasn't a big creator. I'm still not really a big creator now, but it still costs a lot of money to get this shit taken down on the internet. Like, I probably spend several $100s a month getting this shit taken down. It's frustrating, annoying, tiring. So there you go.
Okay, well, that's the question, right? For those of you who are like, this is okay, this doesn't do any harm, this does nothing. There is demonstrable harm.
Yeah.
There's
So if
demonstrable
I
harm
could-
to like producing something like that for. Oh, bye, Wick. All right, cool.
Oh.
I'm the moderator until Wick gets back.
I don't know what Discord is doing. I apologize. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, you're
Yeah.
back.
Okay, sorry about that.
There's
yeah.
demonstrable
What happened?
harm to the distribution, to the sale for profit, to the use of deepfakes to harass. There is nothing harmful about the inherent production of them or the consumption of them on a private personal level. That is basically the entire argument, and it can be applied to any form of image manipulation that's
Portland,
used
you're
for
fucking
harassment.
cucking me right now. You know that? You're cucking me.
Get at it then.
You literally fucking took my point, okay? So I was just gonna say, yes, if you're using deep fakes of people to harass them, if you're sharing the deep fakes with other people, you're involving somebody in your sexual gratification who did not consent to being part of that. If it's somebody jerking off to my picture on Instagram, I didn't really consent to that either, but at the same time, they haven't told me about it, so I don't really fucking care about it. But yeah, if there's deepfakes being spread around that are being used to harass somebody, and just the very fact of them being spread around, period, is a violation essentially of you being involved. You're being forced to be involved in somebody else's sexual gratification.
And even more than that, when we
Wait.
talk about the way that pornography is being made and being distributed, even the creation of pornography doesn't have just one form of involuntary creation. People do hidden camera porn. People do really, really bad forms of porn when we're talking about like rape porn, child porn, and all these things. People have been comparing these things when they use the word consent. They're just using the word consent. It's valid in the legal sense. It's not valid in this other sense. Consent is not needed to produce an image on a fucking hard drive and just keep it to yourself. That's like having a thought. Consent is needed to distribute because that is actually putting that image, putting out, and if it's realistic enough, putting out the idea that that really happened out into the world to be seen.
Let's talk about
The
this.
problem
I
is
still think it's
most people are
weird.
fucking stupid. Like this distribution of the AI porn that happened recently that sparked this conversation wasn't done intentionally. Like this shit gets leaked by accident all the time, and then it has a negative effect. So even if you put everything behind a password and you're really careful,
That's a
the
great
majority of
point.
Can't you
people
just make
aren't.
that? Can't you make that argument about
That is
people like
a
having nudes of each other? Like
well.
people
I
get
mean,
hacked, nudes get stolen and leaked, and people are still engaging in the behavior of like exchanging nudes with each other on what they intend to be a private
I'm
consensual
pointing
basis.
out that's why it's not necessarily
yeah.
safe to have them because most
Yeah.
people
but it,
don't have the
So
common
so the
fucking sense.
creation of deepfake porn is always going to have the risk of it being leaked or it accidentally getting out somewhere, right? As soon as it's on somebody's thing. So as much as I can say that I have no purview over somebody's personal life, there is always going to be a risk there, and that's the unfortunate part about this.
This
Yeah, and you have to
deepfake
accept that
porn,
risk.
this deepfake porn we're talking about. Like, I'm under the impression that nobody really like was under the assumption or belief, or nobody looking at it actually believed it was the real people doing the real thing. So it's actually like in that way, it's actually a very transformative thing. It actually doesn't look like something this person did, and now we're like, oh, look, we
You
believe
really
this person.
underestimate how fucking stupid some people are, especially
What about
boomers.
the
They see things, assume it's real. It doesn't
yeah?
matter how bad
And
it is.
what
No,
about
no,
the
no, not with
what
this
about the
fucking
porn
website.
actors?
People.
What about the porn actors and the porn actresses whose original
Yes.
work is being
Yes.
used? What about their original work? What about the porn producers who
Sure.
made the original work who are now getting no credit for that?
As far as
Absolutely.
there's a lot of IP issues, but that's aside from the morality. We're talking about the morality of someone's visual. We think that we have an entitlement to our visual representation.
I think we do, but I would say that like when it comes to this deepfake porn, there are potentials for so the reason why I'm kind of taking in the neutral stance on this is because there are potentials for some decent uses for them, right? For example, in the future, it's possible that people can engage in sex work without ever having to actually do sex work, and that actually seems like pretty interesting to me and pretty groundbreaking, right? But at the same time, you know, the risk of somebody making deepfake porn, somebody making money off of it and not giving you any credit, somebody leaking this deepfake porn that you never took part in, that you never had any intention of taking part in, then you know that is a risk. But I think it's neutral because of that.
The way I see it, there are
Ask a
three
question to everyone on
tiers. There are
Go
three
ahead, Tuna.
tiers of this use of the porn. There is one where a person could make it voluntarily and distribute it voluntarily, like Star said. Similar to that fucking NVIDIA eye tracker things that you're always looking, you're always interacting. Same thing could be done using AI to make porn yourself. Yeah, like you said, so you don't have to do the sex act. You can hire somebody else and have a contract with them if you want it to be ethical. The second one is that somebody does it using your face. They keep it to themselves. I don't think that anybody really has a problem with the first one. Some people have a problem with the second one. Everybody should have a problem with the third type, though. The third type is that you go out of your way to find someone's face, put it on the body, get it as realistic as possible, mass distribute it, and then use it potentially to harass somebody or get them fired from a job. Imagine a teacher has their face deep faked onto some fucking porn. You send it to the school, and the porn fucking gets them fired. Like, this is the shit that everybody has to take seriously. And if you're not going to take that shit seriously, then you're fucking mental.
Yeah,
So,
yes,
hey, stop. Before we go on, we do have a guest that wants to get in on this. So I'm going to bring them on, and we're going to see what they have to say. So, hello.
It's not Lav, is it? I saw her join the for fuck's sake.
Hey, we're on this.
Welcome to
Not
the
no quality control here.
Hello, welcome.
Hi.
What?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Where to fucking God.
So I spent a long time the last few days, and previous to this too, actually, trying to think of a reason it would be wrong for me to deepfake someone's hot mom onto porn and then watch that porn and jerk off to it, right? Like my own like private consumption. And I couldn't find one, but I feel like that's like the easy question here. And I feel like the harassing somebody at work or whatever, sending that to their job, that's also like easy, right? Obviously that's bad. But I'm wondering like the Wick's question earlier really made me think, and I think it's like I feel like my position is shifting actually, because I don't believe that most people would be okay with somebody making like deep fake porn of a child, right? Using an adult actress, right? But maybe like her body looks, she's like small boobs or some shit, right? Or it's like a dude with a small dick, and you deep fake a child onto this and you masturbate to this. I don't think most people would think that's okay, even in private consumption, right? And less people I think would obviously be okay with that for like public consumption.
I mean, Portland said
I'm
he
wondering,
thought it was funny earlier. If it was,
yeah, I'm wondering like,
know.
so I'm wondering like why. I mean, do you guys agree with that?
So
Do you think that it'd be okay for someone to make like private like stashes of like AI generated child porn for themselves? Do you
No,
think
I
that'd be
don't.
okay?
I'm not okay with that.
Why?
Because I think that's morally wrong to
Why?
even do that. I just think it's wrong.
Well, isn't it morally
why?
wrong to do that to an adult also?
It's a little bit different, right? Though,
Yeah,
because a
no, it's
child.
not.
Sure, it's a
No,
little bit different, but it's still immoral.
Wait, hold on. It's not
No,
really
you're
that different
fucking
because
insane.
the adult isn't
No, I don't
consenting
think
to that
so.
interaction either. The
Yeah.
adult hasn't sexualized themselves or presented themselves as a sexual object. But
That's
you're,
not the
I
reason that putting
you're,
the
you're,
child.
you're making the decision to strip that agency from them, strip their identity
My-
away, and sexualize them yourself.
Yes,
Regardless
my
of
thought
that.
is
Fucking
my thought is
representation.
my
And
thought
not
is
their
the
actual
issue
body.
of
My
child
thought
porn
is-
One at a
child
time.
porn
One at a time.
is that
Please.
children cannot consent. So if the person isn't consenting either, whether they're an adult or not, it's the same shit. So I don't understand why you'd be okay with one and not the other.
know,
I
disagree.
I have an.
I disagree. So what I think is
Fuck a
that-
kid. You have to fuck a kid to make child porn. You don't have to fuck a
Bullshit.
kid.
That's not what I
face
said.
on
You're not paying
God.
attention, you stupid
Oh my
bitch. What I said is you're using child porn of an adult, right? An
And we
adult's
already
body.
got to stupid
An adult's
bitch.
body. Yeah,
We
he's a stupid
started
bitch.
15
You're
minutes.
placing an adult's face. Oh, I'm sorry, a child's face on an adult body and pretending that it's child porn, right? And then jerking off to that in the comfort of your own home. Most people would not be okay with that. I think you're not okay with that, right? But you don't have to fuck a kid for that to happen.
Unsettled.
Yeah,
People
so
will
the
be
reason-
unsettled.
the reason-
But
They would
be
say it
more
should be
okay with
illegal.
the
arresting?
reason
Which is why lolly porn is illegal in most of the
I'm not
United
okay
States.
with it is because I
Stardust,
think
then Tuna. Stardust,
I think-
then Tuna.
yes. The reason why I'm not okay with it is because I think inherently the sexualization of children is wrong. I just think that it is wrong altogether, right? Why? It's just wrong. I think that the sexualization of adults is okay in some cases, right? Adults have the agency to make those decisions if they
But
choose.
you don't care about the agency.
I think one major problem is that we can't legislate some deepfake porn, right? So if AI porn, deepfake porn is able to exist and persist in society, there will be AI child porn. It's
Well, that's
happening
different.
right now with the girl from The Last of Us.
There's two different
You
things.
can't
though.
legislate around just kid deepfakes. You can't.
But there's two different things.
haven't even-
The AI child porn and the deepfake of an actual real child that's a real person. Those are two different things in my mind. Because if it's like if it's not a
Sure.
real kid, like if it's a real person, like that's like like 10 years old, that could impact them in a way that's not comparable to a fake AI generated child porn image.
Wait, okay, but the fake adult AI thing, right? Or the deep fake adult thing could also impact the adult in a negative way. Right? But
And
you
it
guys already
often
said that-
does.
But you guys already said you don't
We
care. I mean,
wouldn't
we have an adult
want
here who said that
people
it
to use these
massively
tools
negatively
to
impacted her.
approximate
But
child
you've said that
porn
you don't
and
care
masturbate.
that people
You know
are doing
why?
this in their own
The
home.
distribution of
Oh,
it
it's
is what hurt.
distribution.
Yes,
Okay.
true.
That's
So,
the
so
distribution.
you're actually okay with somebody deep faking child porn up in their own home and keeping
Yes,
that and
but
jerking off.
fucking-
Okay.
In private,
I'm okay with them.
yeah.
I agree.
No.
Hey,
I
I agree.
for it.
No.
I don't need to
Let's
be
get some order.
arrested
Let's
for
get
it.
some order in this house.
Why would they
I
be
understand
arrested
that There's
for?
a lot of people. I understand that people have some strong opinions on this, and I want to give everyone a chance to get in. Kelly looks like she's about to burst. I want to give her a chance, and I want to give Tuna and Smath and Lav. Go ahead, Kelly.
No, I regret wearing earbuds. It's giving me peak mental illness right now.
I apologize. Loud enough.
Everyone's been talking at once that I don't even know what the current train of thought is because everyone's just screaming instead of listening to each other. So.
All right, next.
Basically, the objectively correct position so far is that it's actually deepfaking someone into porn is actually bad. For the same reason, doing it to a child would be bad. If you disagree, you're basically an idiot. Tuna
I think the
chip,
problem is
be
with
super clear.
distribution.
Your fucking argument. Your
Because
fucking
when-
argument
when-
was people feel bad about it. Oh my god. Some people could be wrong.
Oh god, people feel bad
Wait,
about child porn. Oh god.
victims are
No,
wrong.
no, it's
I
not
don't
the
know if
same
that's
thing as
true.
child porn, because child porn is a video recording of child rape. Child rape is bad, and then to disseminate that video.
Wait, wasn't
is
his
to
hypothetical
prove the crime.
child's
Wait.
a face
Yeah,
on
it's
an
like-
adult body?
Wait,
Yeah.
Tuna Chip,
No,
your
he's trying to
anger.
compare it to child porn. I'm saying this is not child porn.
Okay,
You're
that's
right,
just
you're
completely
right,
fine.
you're right,
with
but-
somebody deepfaking
I mean,
a child's face onto an adult
sort
body
of a
and
gray
passing it off as
area.
child porn.
If they pass it off, if they're trying to sell it,
Yeah.
saying,
if
hey,
they're
here's
disseminating
deep-
So,
here's deepfake child porn.
distribution and monetization, I think, is what is the important part of this conversation.
Yes.
I don't think that you should be able to
it has-
distribute or monetize it.
absolutely.
If I can, I just again I would reiterate. I think because adults have the ability to have agency, it makes it different. Children do not have that ability to have that ever, right? That's why it's wrong. And that's why I would never be okay with that. But when it comes to an adult, like I can't, for example, an adult has the ability to have that agency at some point if they are confronted
That's-
with the situation.
No, okay, but if that adult has not given you consent to do that thing to them, right, or do that thing with them hypothetically having the ability to consent at some point in their life, that doesn't fucking matter. If they have not
It
given
does.
you
I'm
consent,
It does,
masturbating to
you don't
because-
assume the
every night.
consent. That doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense.
I
No, no,
masturbate
you don't-
to you
you
every
don't-
night.
stop,
Judy.
You're right.
Stop,
You're right.
Frog in my fucking brain.
Stop.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
not
start
surprising.
muting.
Fuck
I
up,
will- I
Tuna
hate to
Chip.
mute,
You're
but I
so
will start
fucking
muting.
stupid.
Yeah.
Stardust,
I'm not
finish
stupid.
and respond. Doobie
Okay,
addressed you. You can respond. Tuna,
Sorry.
down a notch.
Tuna, shut
please.
the fuck up, you dumb fucking idiot. Okay, so what I was saying is, I think that there is a difference because adults have the ability to exercise that agency at some point. I think it does make it different. Children at no point have that ability to exercise that agency, and I think that also a lot of the times when adults are fantasizing about other adults, sometimes that happens involuntarily, like and so I think that there are a lot of technicalities there that make it
I
weird.
don't think that makes sense, actually. Like I said, I don't think that somebody having the ability to potentially agree to an interaction or to being sexualized or objectified at some point in their life, I don't think that assuming that consent, you're basically taking the
I'm
the
not
consent
assuming
from
the
them.
consent. I'm
Yeah,
not
you're
assuming
saying,
the
hey,
consent.
this person potentially can consent at some point. They haven't, but they
Yeah.
could at
I'm
some
not-
point.
I'm
But
Rape
not
is okay.
assuming-
Rape is okay if they've had sex before.
Exactly.
I'm not-
So
I'm
understand
not
if they haven't
assuming
consented, it's
consent.
okay. It's okay to strip that
Okay, so-
that agency away and sexualize them anyway.
No,
I don't need
that's not
anyone's
what I'm doing.
consent
That's
to
not what I'm
fucking
doing. That's
fantasize
not
about them
that's
in
not what
any
I'm doing.
shape or form.
Okay, I
That's
wanna
not
let
that's not what I'm doing. When
respond really
people,
quick, and then Portland can get in. So respond really quick, then Portland can get in.
when people fantasize about other people, when people have crushes on other people, we don't really care about people's consent there, do we?
What if it's a kid?
No,
that's what
internal.
Doobie. That's what
That's an
Doobie's
internal
saying.
experience.
So is masturbating. Masturbating is a personal, private, internal experience. There's no extension of your personal influence into other people's spaces by you masturbating, unless you fucking tell them or involve them somehow. It
No,
is
I
a
don't think that's
personal
true.
act. It is not an interaction.
I don't think that. Okay, I think that's like half true. I think that sexually objectifying somebody, even in your own thoughts, without telling them, I think it's harmful, and I don't think it's something that we should normalize. Especially, well, let me explain.
Asexual pill.
Let me explain.
Holy
explain.
shit.
So I think that especially in this context, right? In this context where you're basically stripping someone's agency away and making a sexual object out of them, I think that given that we exist in a patriarchal society, that kind of behavior, normalizing that kind of behavior and just accepting, oh god, Sigma Chad, men are going to jerk off to all their female friends, whatever. I think this perpetuates harmful patriarchal attitudes, leads to men.
Don't you think it's a little patriarchal of an attitude? Don't you think it's sort of strange that you take away all of a woman's sexual agency, though? Like, what if
Women
Doesn't
do
make a
this
ton
too.
of
Women
sense.
masterate about men that they don't have the consent of.
Yeah,
too.
like,
Yeah,
wait,
but even,
wait.
even that would be not okay.
But the sexualization of women is not a problem. It is making them an object. I think it's more harmful for the people who are in the deep fake, who are like the body, not the face, right? Because that's like their intellectual property being moved onto, like, that's a whole different thing.
Susie, how the fuck are you pro bestiality and
I'm not
anti
pro-bestiality.
deepfake porn? I'm so confused.
Wait, hold on. To be super clear.
How did you change so flippantly? How did you change so flippantly? What was it that?
Hold on.
He's trolling us.
1 second. 1 second. So first, I want to be super clear. I'm not pro animal fucking. What I've said is most of you guys can't justify not allowing me to fuck animals. That's not the same as me being pro animal fucking. I don't think you should fuck animals.
Okay,
Secondly,
I don't think.
Secondly,
I think
like
you
I said
should.
earlier, the reason I changed my position is because I think Wick's question made a lot of sense, right? So if we were to apply this to children, we wouldn't be as okay with it.
It's not okay when it's children. It's just not.
So you would be okay with it if you were you're saying that if you were younger you would be less okay with it? You said you would be okay with it immediately, but then now you're saying if you were a kid you wouldn't be okay with it. I think kids probably would be okay with it, like the same as adults would. It's not up to the kids to decide when it's okay for them. I think we need to protect kids, and that's the scenario going on here. It's like kids are fucking horny. We need to protect them from their own horniness. So
just to be clear, just real quick, Smith, I don't think that's what he's saying. And just for my edification, because if it has been what he's saying, then I have lost the plot. But what I think he is saying is that the reason we have a problem with things like child porn, or we would have a problem with putting a child's face on a human body, is because children can't consent. And so he is taking that like piece of information of why we think this is bad and putting it forth that people who have deep fakes made about them without their consent, why are we okay with that but not okay with the other? And he's asking you to square that circle.
This is now turning this is now taking like a lot of different things and combining them into one big muck.
Well, I think we're having a small conversation and Doobie's trying to have like a big conversation, which is like the fact that deepfake porn is actually a symptom to like a bigger problem in society, which is like the objectification of women, obviously. Because we live in such a pornified world and we're like constantly being like face fucked with it, like literally like in like everywhere around us, that we think it is okay to do this. And maybe it shouldn't be okay because it does hurt people, but also we're all really horny because of the society we live in. So it's like sort of this like dance that we have to do that's like, okay, we need to be horny and we want to be horny, but also like this is actively hurting people. And what do we weigh? Do we weigh the harm over how fun it is to jack off to people? Or it's like...
We all objectify people. When you nut, that when you not like.
I think I think that's sort of like a maladaptive behavior, though, and I think that you think that way because you watch porn.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Wait. People start masturbating to the thoughts.
Do you watch porn?
Yes, people masturbate to their thoughts.
You start.
You can think about your favorite celebrity. You can think about Pokemon and jack off, but the second that you're making videos of her, that's another problem.
Okay, but what if
that's an extension of the imagination? These tools are allowing you to. These tools are allowing you to augment your imagination unless you share it.
Sure, but what I'm saying is that our brains are so pornified because of our access to every video under the sun that we think that we should be able to do this when I think we'd be fine if we couldn't. I think we'd be fine as a society if we never watched videos of people fucking ever.
If there was no porn,
saying if you share it as if that was shared on purpose. It wasn't. People are fucking stupid. Shit gets leaked.
First off, the website was selling those videos. Atrioc didn't share the fact on purpose, but people were selling those videos. People are selling.
Can I say something really quickly? Really quickly.
Yeah.
I want to say selling them privately, and they could have been absolutely no one on the internet, other than the guy that made them and the person that bought them, and it still got leaked because it was on his computer.
Can I
It doesn't matter. He could have been the one sitting at home photoshopping themselves, but he's the one that leaked it by accident. It doesn't matter if you bought them or not.
What if they're on the internet but they're free? Like, what if they're on the internet but they're free?
I think it's wrong to distribute. I think it's wrong to distribute that. I think it is. You're involving as soon as you make that other person aware, or you're making more people aware beyond just yourself. It has become a individual act. It's turned the individual act has turned into. I'm sorry.
That's the question, though. Well, I want to put a pin in this because I want to dig down on this. Like you say, unless if you don't distribute it, if you don't make people aware, how are they going to know? But by creating it and by storing it on a place that people get hacked all the time, right? You are creating the potential, right, for this to get leaked in a way that just your thoughts or maybe drawing on a piece of paper does not have the potential to be distributed. So while you may not have, like Atrioc had no intention, I am sure.
How are your
no
thoughts
intention.
gonna get distributed, Stardust?
Not thoughts, but we have plenty of people who make weird fucking erotic literature and fan fiction, and people who make weird drawings all the time, and we think that shit's really fucking weird. But as long as they keep it to themselves, it's not like I can really do anything about what they're doing in their personal lives.
Potential for harm is a lot less with some text, obviously.
Yeah, but also
with erotic literature,
that doesn't make it not weird. But yeah, some text is not going to be as problematic.
I think
the issue is if you think it's actually a real video of the real person.
it's realist. It's the realism.
But I have a vision I want to share with you guys. I have a vision where AI porn and deepfakes are so ubiquitous that your identity, like when you see porn, you're assuming it's not a real person. So this eliminates all the problems of sex work and all the fucking OnlyFans fucking exploitation and shit. And not only that, but like the reason that we don't care as much about like the erotic literature is because we've moved past that. We're like, okay, I can distinct myself from my
because
identity.
Our brains are fried from video porn.
And so if I never had video porn, I still would have jerked off to. I would have objectified the women in my immediate life more if I did not have fucking porn to jerk off to. For a damn sure.
I don't know if that's true.
I do think that's true.
I'm gonna disagree on the porn
your brain's
point.
fucked from porn consumption.
That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You guys can say that like so like yeah sure we all have jerked off. So if that's true, your brain. If that's true, that's absolutely true of everyone on this panel. I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to finish what I was going to say, then I'll answer that. If this is true, if this is true, this is absolutely the case of everybody on this panel, and there's almost nobody that's immune to this. So you're not only making a claim about me, you're making a claim about yourself. You cannot be you don't look at porn, then you're a freak. I think you're a freak. You think I'm a freak? If you don't watch porn, if you don't watch porn, I think you're a freak. You think I'm a freak.
You should not be making these assumptions about
Three people talking at once is making my ADHD.
You're like so fucking boomer-brained and hedonistic that you can't imagine that I wouldn't consume porn. Like, what's wrong with you?
I think there's something wrong with you.
No, Smith. What kind of assumptions?
I think they're just different sorts of people.
You are losing the fucking argument already by making these fucking assumptions about people. What the fuck?
Is there a winner in this?
No.
Does someone win?
Hopefully I do. Hopefully I win. But go on, please.
So
what assumption?
The reason I'm going to disagree with the people that want to limit anything other than distribution is mostly because the measures that would have to do so would harm women more than just letting people do it in private. We should regulate distribution, but the only way that you're going to be able to make sure that people aren't doing it in private is by having a surveillance state that is able to see what people are doing at all times, including women, which will completely get rid of the privacy. If we're talking about the right to privacy of people's bodies, talk about the right to privacy to everything they've ever done with the computer.
That's ridiculous. Hold on, but that's ridiculous on its face because you have the same issue with child porn.
It's more like there are consequences
most of it is done in
for when
private.
that stuff
Just real quick, let Kelly have the floor. Let Kelly have the floor. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
No one is suggesting that we have to have some kind of surveillance of what people do in their homes. It's more that there will be consequences to shit if it gets leaked, like the dumb fuck on Twitch did. You can't just be like, oh, I'm doing it in the safety of my own home because consequences don't exist in a fucking vacuum. That's such a stupid
We
can make that same argument about anything any adult does in the privacy of their own home, right? Like, oh, there's always a risk of somebody filming it. By this same thing, we could take the argument about people having gay sex, right? And be like, oh, well, your neighbor could film it at some point, and that could get out, or the neighbor's kids could run in the neighbor's kids.
Sex isn't illegal.
It's not illegal, but I'm saying you can take this argument and use it, and you can take it to its extreme. And if the argument is, oh, the neighbor's kids might see it.
That isn't the argument.
We can apply the same thing.
That isn't the argument.
Hey, let's just real quick.
If the argument is about risk of exposure, yes.
Stop. Doobie, carry on.
Hi. Yeah, so the reason I think that none of that made sense, and Tuna Chip, yours especially made no sense because you're a stupid bitch, is that we could apply all those things to child porn, right? So if somebody were to purchase child porn, not make it themselves, but just purchase it and have it on their computer, right? We wouldn't need a surveillance state to say, oh, hey, if we catch this person with child porn at some point, they're gonna get punished, right? We want to make sure that this isn't normalized, that we understand that this is a bad thing people shouldn't do, and if we find out they're doing, there are consequences, right? That's how we reduce the probability that people in society are going to engage in this behavior. So it's a reason lolly porn. It's a reason lolly porn is illegal in most of the United States. So I don't think it makes sense.
Most. Yeah, that's not true.
So yeah, yes, it is.
You think
I'm not surprised. Oh, no, I'm not surprised,
Samantha.
I'm not surprised you know that. But yeah, you should Google
So
it again.
why were you so confident? So then, if I don't know
Google
that,
it again, I don't want you to get into any trouble.
Doobie, you think I'm stupid, but you made a disanalogous analogy here, right? What you're saying is that two people, one person makes it, and then they sell it to another person. That's distribution. That's exactly what people think. Yes, it is. That's what it is.
That isn't at all what I said.
That is literally.
I just said they have it in their own fucking home.
Shit slinging. How do we stop people from distributing?
How do you stop people? You
Even
fucking
for
make
free.
it illegal.
Okay, but how do you?
What is
How do you stop people from
illegal?
making it?
What do you make illegal?
You make the sale and distribution of any sexual content which contains children and or the identity of people that have not consented it. I think that we need to make it so that all porn has a written consent of all of the actors, so we can get rid of revenge porn, we can get rid of fucking fake porn that is or not fake porn, the fucking like.
Do you think we can do that? Do you think we can do that in a world like this where most of like porn sites basically are like predicated off of the fact that like most of these girls don't know that their videos are up?
No,
Yeah, you see how China kills the internet?
Just get through the day.
You do an audit.
I think it's a beautiful idea, but if you go into literally any like slightly less popular porn
Nobody
site,
knows how to shut the fuck up.
still actually child porn like on there. Like I just don't know.
Yeah,
I just
that's
don't
why
know how
you
we
make it
actually.
so that you actually have to have it
I want to
government
give
certified.
Kelly. Oh my god! I want to give Kelly a chance, and you can respond, and then start us. Good, cool, go.
Not every country on the planet works on the same sort of, system as we have, right? So the majority of revenge porn and other illegal things are held on host servers in countries that do not give two fucks. That's why they still exist on the internet, okay? It's not like for any other reason beyond this.
The United States could make it so that any servers which do
Oh
not
yeah, the
obey
United
their
States is
internet
going to
laws.
tell Russia what to do. Right, all right.
Yeah,
Okay,
no.
good job.
Do you think we're? I'm not saying tell Russia what to do.
Oh.
Let us. If you had the ability to hear
illegal
two
doesn't just
strands,
fix
if you had the
everything.
ability to hear two people talk at the same time and know what both of them said, you would be a lot closer to understanding this conversation, right? What I'm saying is that you just make it so that any server that is hosting illegal information based on the laws of the nation itself, the nation does not allow it to be distributed on their ISPs. You just make it so that server is gone.
But the nation also makes it illegal to possess child porn regardless of distribution.
True.
Yeah, because child porn is currently made with child rape, but child porn is different than the thing that you're talking about, right?
So to be super clear, you would be okay with somebody deep faking a child's face into an adult's body and jerking off and having that in their own home, just jerking off to it.
As long as they don't
distribute
it.
Yeah, because they can do that with their brain.
Can I ask
They can do that with their brain. They can do it with the program. The only thing that makes it harmful is that it gets out into a world where the child and the actor are then able to be harmed by the consequences of its dissemination. If a person is jerking off to any thought or any image that they make themselves, they have done nothing wrong. Harm requires a person who is harmed.
So can we get into this anti-jerking off? Anti-jerking off.
Stop.
Abuse can exist without there being direct harm.
Start us.
I think putting that type of content into the world is harmful because you are encouraging you're breaking a rule essentially, and you're encouraging people to break that rule. I don't think that that's right. I think that I think you're encouraging a habit which is really, really bad and really harmful. Secondly, what I would say is to the people who were anti deepfake porn altogether, no deepfake porn allowed ever. What kind of solution do you suggest to this problem?
I think it makes sense to say that if somebody if we find that somebody's made deepfake porn of another person without their consent, they should be sued. For
Okay,
either
what if I just
defamation
did
or
it
slander or some
Photoshop?
other
What if I just
thing. I don't really
Photoshop
care
it?
about exactly.
Neither
which
of those
law.
apply if
But
it's a
there
private.
should be.
What
But
the
there should be a
fuck?
way. There should be a way.
Should I be able?
Please
Should
stop.
somebody be able
There
to
should be
sue
a way.
me
There
for
should be a way to
Photoshop
sue somebody.
Oh, shut
or
up
take
for
somebody
5
to court,
seconds.
and
Jesus
further to put them into jail, right,
For
behind
what?
bars for doing this.
Okay,
to somebody.
For
that
what?
is
What
the
would it
dumb-
be?
I would like to know what
Again,
Kelly
I don't know the
Jean
exact
and
law right now.
Thought
but
crime.
the people
Thought
that
crime. For a thought crime.
discussing
are.
hedonistic behavior should
The
be
law
punished,
would the
yeah.
law would be
I
a
wanna
thought
know
crime.
what-
The men
I
are
wanna-
fighting.
Fuck
The
crime.
men
I
are
wanna know-
fighting.
They can think about it and I won't punish them. But if they make porn with somebody else's face on it, yeah, they'd be punished. At that point, they're not being punished for the thought. They're being punished. They're being punished for the thing that they made.
You'll
Okay.
have to repeat your question, Stardust.
Yeah.
Because
In
Okay.
private.
So for people who are anti deepfake porn, what solution are you suggesting to this problem?
I mean, I don't think that I necessarily need to give a solution to point out that something is bad for X, Y, or Z reason, but consequences to doing the thing, yeah. Or are you asking what consequences specifically?
Yeah. I mean, I'm asking like what consequences could we reasonably implement?
Similar consequences to what guys who send unsolicited dick pics or whatever that kind of minor level of harassment internet shit is.
Oh, so just accountability based then.
No, there are laws against that.
There are laws
I don't
against
know about the
unsolicited
US.
dick pics?
I
Yeah.
wish.
Should be.
Well, you're.
I
in
don't know if
Britain,
that's-
correct?
I am British, so.
Yeah,
I
so
Oh
the
wait,
laws
I
might
think
be
that's
different.
true. Wait, I think
Laws
there
might be
there are laws about that in Britain. I think that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. They don't have laws about that in the US.
No.
It's
Do
weird.
the
What the
potential
fuck?
consequences stop people from doing things? No, but I mean, it has changed. People
What
do
are the
tend to ask me
consequences?
now.
What are the
Well, I think
consequences?
That's an
I think in
improvement.
some
What are the-
states there are
What are the
laws
consequences
against.
of what are the consequences of dick pics in the UK?
Do you want me to specifically look it up?
Public hanging.
Well, we
No,
don't
I'm
need to go
just
to
we
the
don't
like
need to.
California.
I don't
we
know.
need to go
Firing
into the-
squad.
I don't.
Firing
I'm gonna be
squad.
real with you guys. I don't care about the British law. I'm gonna be real. I don't care about the British law. It's interesting to note that it exists, but we don't need to go into detail about it. I wanted to give a chance, right?
I mean, my
first of
point
all,
was
did you
just
finish-
consequences. What those consequences
Consequences?
are doesn't matter. It
I-
shouldn't be encouraged, and it should be discouraged by
I wanted to
consequences.
give space to Portland. He had some questions for Doobie. I
ever
don't
do
think he
that.
was able to get them out, and I wanted to give him some space to get that out, and then we'll continue on. So go ahead.
Doobie, you seem to just suggest that we should legally punish people who, if we find they created deep fake porn of someone but never distributed it or let it leave their personal possession, if we find out they did, they should face legal consequences. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, what about if it's just a really convincing photoshopping of a single image?
Same thing.
Okay, what about if it's a really convincing photorealistic picture that I drew and like produced by hand with like Illustrator and Photoshop?
I don't see any difference in the.
Okay,
things you just
so
presented.
that is a level of like control over people's agency and their ability to like create their own art that I think is completely impractical. You could never do this kind of thing because you don't know that like people don't have unique ownership of their entire image. You could create a photorealistic picture of a person to jack off to it without ever meeting the person that it happens to look exactly like, and then you'd face legal consequences. Like, this is an insane standard to set for how we would scrutinize people's individual art.
I
got
so
one.
First off, I don't think. So first of all, I don't think
Omega lol.
that's. I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
it's
outlandish
fucking
as
when
you're
you
suggesting,
consume it by yourself
because
and
the
produce it
exact
yourself
thing,
as art. I'm
please
sorry.
stop. Please
There,
stop. The
Doobie.
exact thing you
There,
just put
Doobie.
forward is already illegal when it comes to like lolly porn or child porn, or things that look like child porn in the United States. So all I'm asking is to apply the same standard. This is a person who has not consented to be sexualized by you, who has not consented to have their likeness used by you for your content needs. So given that we understand that this person has not consented to this thing that you've done, right? If you do it anyway without their consent, and then they make you aware that, hey, I don't consent to this, please get rid of that. If you choose not to, I think, yeah, you should obviously be prosecuted. Like, I don't
think-
understand why we'd apply this, why you think it's outlandish to apply that standard to something like child porn, even drawn child porn, right, like lolly porn, but not to this.
Yeah, the
Because,
question is
again,
whether or not you have a
depictions
right.
of children have unique ethical considerations because children are always harmed when they engage in sexual activity, whether
Okay,
they.
lolly porn is
It's
not
fine.
actually hard. Like
Yeah, it's not
children
actually
doing the
children.
sex.
It
Right?
doesn't
Yeah,
doesn't
I'm
harm
aware
them.
of that.
It could be
and I
very
would-
realistic.
Yeah, but it's
porn
encouraging.
of something that looks like a child that
Right.
doesn't actually exist on the
It's
planet. That is
encouraging.
still illegal.
Yes,
It's
and
encour-
it is
but it's encouraging-
encouraging the. Go ahead, Stardust. It sounds
Yeah,
like
no, it is encouraging people. No, you know what? You go ahead, Portland. Sorry.
Okay, so when people
You're going to say that it
consume,
normalizes the behavior. Yes.
yeah,
How does
because we are
deepfake porn of a person without their consent? How does that not also normalize the behavior of stripping someone's agency and consent away and just sexualizing them?
Because it's not normalizing taking away their agency, right?
Absolutely
The
is.
the normalization that I'm talking about that's wrong is the normalization of even possessing specific pictures, right? Illegal things like that. That should not be normalized
but
because that's something
It's
that
not
that's
bad because
something
it's illegal, right? It's bad
it's
for other
bad
reasons.
because children have no ability to give it to
Okay,
have
but if
agency.
I have an anime character, like a little baby that has, I have like drew a picture of me fucking, right? No baby is being hurt in that drawing. But
I
it's
think
still
that
illegal
the
and
child
illegal.
porn
normalizing it. You're normalizing
involving
it.
kids, I think, gives this more weight than it needs to me, and we're just gonna get stuck in this. But I think that an interesting thing to bring up, and the question that this poses is, do you have the right to someone else's body in private? Which I think is interesting because since the dawn of being able to take photographs of people, we have had access to that. Even though, of pictures, paparazzi pictures or whatever, of pictures that someone is doing, sorry, that they don't necessarily want to get out, and we still have access to that. Is that the same thing? It's probably weighted pretty similar, honestly, except there's a sexual component, which we know is like shamed by society. So I don't know how much weight that has.
And to add to this, keep in mind that many times this comes with public figures, people whose public image is out and there by design. I want people to see me. I want people to look at me. I want people to view my show. I want people to have my image in their head when they think about great shows, right? Or shit shows even, right? Just think about the game. But, like, to what extent do we give up our rights to our image when it comes to what other people do with it? Like, I can't control what people think about me, right? So I can't control if someone thinks I'm an asshole, right? If someone doesn't like me, someone thinks I'm a bad person, and in their head, they're like, oh, Wick's a fucking asshole. I cannot control what they think.
That would be bad because they're objectifying you.
Sexually, when they control what they think about me sexually, why do I have any control over that? And I don't think I do, and nor should I, and to be very clear.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having
I mean-
control over how people you think about you, one, it requires like thought policing. It's impossible. And if there was mind reading technology, that would be an invasion of privacy much more severe than
Nobody's
thinking
suggesting
about
that.
someone.
I think philosophy wise, we all agree that like jacking off to someone without their consent is probably like morally not great. I think the point is that we're trying to reduce harm, right?
good.
We're trying
It's
to find a
great.
discussion on like what reduces
great.
harm.
It's great.
So I think because we can't, I don't trust that it will ever be illegal to deepfake, or that it will ever be illegal to,
Before you
that
go too far,
I don't trust that you will be able to make deepfakes and that they will actually be, penalized for distribution. I
Before
don't
you go
trust
too
that
far.
will ever happen.
before you go too far with this, I just want to point out that your statement that we all think it's jacking off to someone without their consent is morally wrong. I guarantee you on this panel, there are people who disagree with you.
Sure, I think in varying levels, right? Like some people think
What
that
do you
it's
mean
okay
varying
if they
levels?
never know about it. Some people think it's okay if
always
you if
okay.
they do.
Yeah, the act of telling someone is the problem.
Yeah.
When it goes from becoming a personal private action to an interaction, it's probably bad.
Yeah,
morally
which
neutral to,
deepfakes are obviously not just inside your head anymore. And because I really don't think that we have the power to legislate that you can make these in the comfort of your own home but can't distribute them. I just don't see a law that's coming into practice that's like actually going to solve that. So I think that we should just like to keep everyone safe because we don't need this. We don't need to have access to this, right? This is like some weird like Matrix Black Mirror shit that we don't need access to. There's real porn of real people that you can jack off to, and you can think about Pokimane when you're watching real porn, right? You don't need access to deepfake porn. So I think because we don't need it, and because it is just that we cannot harm reduce enough on it, it should just be illegal to make.
AI porn appeals to just people that like non-consent, and they're like the scum of the internet. So
AI porn,
AI porn is extremely unethical. I think
AI porn is hyper consent because there's so much coercion. There's so much coercion involved in fucking porn and shit. So when you're taking all that away, you're taking all the exploitation of women away, and you're making fake shit. It says you're not exploiting anybody.
No, wait. First of all, that is absolutely not true, and you have the same idea as Max. And Max said the other day that he saw the point because I fought him on this also. But you are not taking the exploitation away from women. You're just creating more women to exploit, and now they're fake. Like exploiting real women is not enough.
You can't
exploiting real women are not enough. We need fake ones now to also exploit. That does not change the societal impact. That does not change the societal impact. And also, all that AI porn is based off of real photos of real women taken from porn. So now their likeness, their image is now not belonging to them. It's more unethical because they don't make any fucking money from it. Then it's just jacking off to a porn star who's like, yeah, fuck. For the money, you can jack off to me.
If we go down this path, there needs to be no more porn made, though. There's just...
No, that's not necessarily true. I think that, if we go down this path, I think this is what I entered the space saying, is that some porn can exist. It should be behind a paywall, obviously, and it should be direct to consumer, right? Like a girl and or a man, direct to consumer, something like OnlyFans, right? But...
Okay.
But?
Go ahead.
Okay, so if I can, look, Lab, we've both acknowledged that sex work can be extremely exploitative, can be extremely coercive. It can be a really bad environment for some women. Don't you think the possibility of AI porn making it so that women who don't want to do sex work don't ever have to do it, they can just do AI porn instead?
You do realize that the bad parts of sex work aren't just taking some nudes, it's dealing with people.
Yeah, of course.
It's dealing with especially if you can type in, I don't know if you've seen.
If I can finish my fucking statement.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, regardless of the many downsides of sex work, what don't you think the possibility that women can now create AI porn and now no longer have to do that sex work themselves, don't you think that could be a good?
No.
You just repeated what you said as if there was something extra.
I didn't finish.
So Stardust. Hold on.
You have to stop.
I didn't repeat what I said. I finished what I was saying before you fucking interrupted me.
You have to let them respond. You have to let them respond. So you've addressed them. You finished your point. Go ahead, respond.
So the problem with that is that the societal issues surrounding porn persist in that, and now women just can't capitalize off of it, right?
Fuck yeah.
So now the same things are happening to women where they're deeply sexualized in mass amounts. I think there'd be even a bigger explosion, right? Because you can literally type in exactly what the fuck you want to see, and who's not doing that, right? I mean, Max has posted all of his shit recently, and it's like fucking crazy shit. You can do whatever the fuck you want. One, I think that you can also encourage violence against women that way, in a way that like you cannot do with actual humans, which is not good. And then the way that persists in society,
post a warning.
Women are still going to be treated the way.
Okay.
Informed by
on
porn.
Twitter today, he got flagged by the AI, and it was told he was told he couldn't submit the kind of content he was creating anymore. So
on that website.
What?
On that website, yeah.
Yeah. So doesn't it stand to reason that that's a good instance of like a safeguard existing that would prevent production of materials that were not
for that one website? Yeah, but how do you legislate that?
Because those websites suck for making porn. He's using whatever on his own computer to make it.
The possibility of
Stable Diffusion. Sorry.
The possibility of creating these new scenarios where there's violence against women that aren't recreatable in person is something that has still existed prior to the invention of AI porn. We had Photoshop for a long time. We have special effects for a long time. We've had animation. We have even hentai, right? These are all things that have always existed. Prior to the invention of AI porn. It still doesn't change the fact that we allow people to make art or make their creative output regardless of this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
I
Okay.
don't know what you just said, to be honest with
I think I'm a little lost, but
So-
I think
really quick,
I-
Doobie, I want to
Yeah,
take
what's
you to
up?
task on something really quick. You said that it
Oh,
isn't the
no.
law that makes child porn bad, and I agree with
you.
you.
No,
Do we
Wait,
have to go
what?
back to that? Do we have to go back to that?
We
Can
need to
go
back to the
move
child
on
porn
from
thing.
that?
We
Can
absolutely
You want to not go
no,
back to it?
the
Really
child
fucking
porn
need to go
stuff
back to
has
child
so
porn.
much weight that is like just unnecessary for the
I
panel.
think-
We
I
can
think
do
it's
this whole
unnecessary.
conversation without it.
because otherwise
don't- okay,
you
we don't have to
guys
talk
reduce
about child porn.
what we're actually talking about, which is sexualizing people without their consent. You guys reduce that to some like funny fucking meme, but it's not that, right? It is fucking serious. So if I need to go all the way to child porn because that's the only way your fucking porn obsessed minds will realize how fucked up this is, then I'll do it.
No, because when you're doing
Sexualizing each other without forming explicit agreements to do so is one of the most natural interactions two humans could have.
What
And
you're-
you,
yes.
of all people, are sitting here saying that we need to ratchet down the fucking controls on people's thoughts and personal behaviors, and that's super fucking funny.
you're
He-
smuggled.
he's
you're
he's
smug-
saying that
smug-
you don't have a
he's-
right to infringe on someone else's rights.
I'm not
That's not,
infringing
you're
on
not
anyone.
infringing
I
on
think
when
that
you
we
jerk
have
off
drawn
to someone else. You're not
the
infringing.
same
right
thing.
to
We
shut
don't
down
have the
on
right
When
to
you
limit
make-
people's
Stop. No one can
imaginations.
understand any
No,
of you.
it's not imagination. Once
Stop.
you make the deep fake porn, you can distribute it. There
Wait,
will
dude,
be
we're
no
talking
law.
about
There will be
deepfake.
no law ever that will distinguish you making it in your bedroom from distributing it. There's no way to make a law like that.
There is.
True.
There's
Yes,
no
there
fuck.
is.
No,
There's
there
no way.
isn't.
You can
like
make a law.
piracy.
You
It's
can
like
make a law, but there's
piracy
You're
laws.
lying.
You can't
you
distribute
can make a
it.
law, but you can't
Liar
enforce it.
laugh.
Then bring it up.
You can make a law.
Show
you
me the
just-
law.
You just can't
Because I
enforce
can
it.
show you,
No,
I can show you
can't
the
enforce it.
Virginia law, because Virginia is the only place that disallows pornography in the way of like revenge porn, and
Right.
they have trouble with it.
Yeah, it's that.
So
it's,
I would
it's
love
not
for you. I would
enforceable.
love for you to lay out for me how you could make it legal to make it in your bedroom, and that never be distributed. I would love to see it.
No, wait,
Yeah,
wait,
and
wait,
it doesn't
wait,
make sense.
hold on,
That's
hold on. With what you just said.
No, stop. Wait, I need
one
to say something
second.
really quickly. So it doesn't make any sense to even go down this line of argument when you guys don't agree that it should be made illegal in the first place. So saying that it would be hard to make it illegal if we were to like go down that path is totally irrelevant because you don't think it should be illegal in the first place. You think it's morally fine.
I think
With the
deep
Virgi-
fake,
Okay, with the
period,
Virginia
should be illegal.
law, what you just said was that they made this law and it's really hard for them to enforce it. So I agree. I think that you're right. Like, if we do have these issues, and these issues do exist, and it does cause short-term problems, barring going into the world where I said it's ubiquitous to the point where any image of someone that's nude you assume is not really them. I think that would really change things when we get to that point. But in the case where it's literally impossible to enforce and this can of worms been opened, then it would be best to just stop it and stop it right from the start. But it's already been opened. The can of worms
I'm
been
going to
opened.
interject with
Why can't we should just go back to fanfics.
Stop.
We should.
Interject with a
We
little
don't
housekeeping
base
here.
whether
It's
we
real-
make laws on how hard they are.
Just stop
to
screaming, gang. You can get
That's
loud,
not the
but
point
stop
of
I think we
screaming.
do
Audio,
actually.
His ears are bleeding, so please just stop screaming.
There are a
and
lot
be
of
humble.
laws that already exist that are hard to upkeep. We still have them because it would be bad not to.
We can make laws. We can make laws that I think that could kind of tackle this distribution, right? If you look at like piracy laws, if you look at like laws surrounding ownership of like a copy of a movie, right? People already do stuff with that where the distribution of it, the sharing of it with other people is illegal, but the possession of it is not necessarily.
Yeah, but the problem is enforcement. We just can't enforce that. It's like
That's not the problem.
Yeah,
You
no.
should be talking about why you
Well,
guys don't think it should be
because
illegal in the first place.
because you can't enforce it because it's so impossible to enforce it. Virginia's having that problem right now, especially because it's so hard now with today's technology to see what is fake, and it's getting fucking harder. that they have a really hard time, even though it's legislated, they have a really hard time catching these people, deciding whether or not it's fake because they don't have people who are expert enough.
It would fall under for me, Lav, what it would fall under is the same thing as revenge porn, right? It doesn't
And that's
matter.
what it is in Virginia.
Yeah, right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's deep fake or not, right? The distribution of somebody's intimate pictures without their consent is wrong and illegal, and it should be illegal.
When it comes to this, how much do you
Yes.
if someone wanted to? So first of all, for those of
And
you
yet,
who are
revenge porn is still all over the
You
internet.
gotta let me speak. You gotta let me ask the question, okay? And then you can answer the
Laws
question. I'll let
don't
you go
fix
first.
issues. They still will continue to exist. The consequences are there for when people break them and they get caught. But there are obviously criminals that will exist.
Women get to
I
talk
have
whatever
a
they
never
want.
okay.
get
I'm going to
caught.
start muting people.
That doesn't
I
mean
have
we
a
just get
question.
rid of all laws.
I have a
It's just-
question. I have a question that
Wait,
can
who
maybe
said?
shed
Wait,
some
who's
light.
saying
Hey,
get rid of all laws?
Okay, I have a question that maybe shed some light on these things and maybe progress this discussion a little bit. Okay, when it comes to, for those of you who are against deep fakes, right? Who don't like them, who don't want them, and things like that. How much would a person have to change the likeness in order for it to be no longer a deep fake? So if someone made a deep fake of me and they changed my beard color, they adjusted my height, they changed my eye color, would that be enough to make it a different person? Where do we draw these lines? Like, that's the problem when it comes to enforcement, right? When it comes to how do we decide what is deep fake? If, like, they are going to just change it just enough to not qualify for deepfake porn. And that's my concern here. So how do we square that circle? Go ahead.
So in copyright, we have this principle about, like, you can bring about a jury to tell the difference between if something is a legitimate or illegitimate rendering of some intellectual property. If you can tell, if average people in the populace can tell the difference, then it's fine. If they can't, then it can't. Then it can't. This is mainly because the main issue. Let me finish my fucking sentence, because that's the reason, by the way, that we do this with a jury and not specialists. Because the problem is defamation. The problem is copyright. The problem is that this is going out there and people can't tell the difference. Normal people, and that's going to make it affect their life. That's the easiest way to do it. A jury of unspecialized peers. If they can tell the difference, then it's probably within grounds. If they can't, then it isn't. Easy as that.
What the fuck does that mean?
Okay,
Do you
so
not
Tuna
realize how
Chip.
fucking stupid some people are? They'll just believe anything
Just
they
literally
see.
how
True.
Right.
Wait,
and
so I have a
that's-
question. I have a
Believe the
question.
most
So,
insane things.
so Tuna Chip, because of that, do you think that if someone uploads a deepfake onto Twitter, it should have one of the things that's like, this is a fake video under it?
It definitely, keep in mind, I'm very against deepfake. Although I'm against deepfake in a broader
Political
sense.
reasons.
Yeah, I
Oh.
think that it destabilizes the government entirely.
Totally.
But
Totally.
now, I do think that the government probably is the
But
best.
when it comes,
No,
when you're horny, you can do with a couple of deepfakes.
Because to me, the problem is deepfake being in the culture, being seen, it having effects on people. I don't think that anything that anybody does in the privacy that doesn't actually affect the world and society in a direct sense is a problem. Now, I do think that we should regulate how
Wait,
deepfake
do you think?
is
Wait, do you think that? I'm sorry. Do you think that like something like porn doesn't affect society?
Porn affects society, but it depends.
Negatively.
There are different tiers of porn. I think that the main effective porn is not something that is outside of reasonability. I do think that,
What
you know,
does that
revenge porn, re-uploaded porn, child porn, these things affect society in a great way.
Tuna Chip, can you give me an example of
I
ethical
feel like
porn?
I feel like my brain is like
AI porn.
fucking.
What kind of reform?
AI porn is not ethical, Smith. Shut up.
That's it. Fucking
I want to hear. I want to hear
No,
Wick's
it's not.
question.
It can be. AI
Wick.
porn can be ethical. It can be.
That's
Absolutely.
the question.
How would
Can
it
you give me an
be
example?
ethical? Stardust, give me your,
It would once again, it would be if a woman, let's say, doesn't want to partake in sex work herself, but wants to produce sex work content, she could now all of a sudden be able to do that.
Well, that's arguably
You could do
unethical
that.
because exploiting the person who made it in the first place to monetize their work,
If it's
right?
AI generated, if it's
What about like
AI generated.
Facetune? What about like porn stars face tuning their pictures? That's sort of AI.
so they would
It
have
is.
to pay another porn star and then have their face put onto it.
No,
and
it's-
then
Wait,
there would have
is
to
that
be-
a, but is that a net good?
Fucking
That's
finish
not.
a
That's
single
not what I'm
Sorry.
saying.
sentence.
That's not what I'm
You
saying.
gotta- you
AI
gotta let her
generated.
You gotta let her finish.
So like
Kelly
a
Jean.
video game kind of level of quality you're talking about?
Not video game level, right? If we get to the point where, like, have you seen this person does not exist.com?
No, but I
It's-
imagine I can guess.
Yeah, it's
Use it.
essentially a website that generates an image of somebody that doesn't exist. It would be similar to that,
It uses a
I
GAN. It
see.
uses
and it looks
GAN.
super realistic. It looks
But as
super
we
realistic.
both try to tell you, the stresses of sex work aren't in the production of the pictures.
Right. It can be, right? It can be. Some of the stresses of sex work can be in the pictures. Some of the stresses are walking the streets and the danger of that, right? There are a lot of different stresses in this.
I
But
want to
that doesn't-
ask. I
that
want to ask
doesn't
the sex
mean-
worker on the panel what the stressors are.
Taking a new picture is not stressful. It's dealing with the fucking people and customers afterwards.
Right, sure,
True.
but again, this is still putting.
GPT.
I'm a sex worker too.
Still putting.
ChatGPT.
Taking the picture is the fun part.
Just to get us on the same page here. For those of you who are sex workers on this panel, I think
Yeah.
Smeth and Lav are, right?
Can't even finish.
What Stardust? You just gotta let me ask this. Let me
Okay,
roll
go ahead.
with this. I'm getting
ahead.
content for us. Calm down. Okay, what are the main stressors from sex work, and how does AI either exacerbate or eliminate it? Please.
Well, if
Are you
if,
asking us?
Well,
Smith is going to disagree with
Well, I wanna ask
everything I
Lav. I
say.
want to ask Lav first. Lav,
Okay,
and
go
then
first.
Smith, and then
So Smith is going to disagree with everything I say, but I think that one of the stressors, and I've brought this up literally for months, is that when you contribute in this is a way bigger question, like to live in a pornified world and then to contribute to a pornified world. I think that's the biggest stressor. Is like I actively know that whatever I'm doing for the sake of money, for the sake of my survival, I've had to like put women's liberation on the back burner. Or like contribute to that not happening and live in like a male dominated and sexual projected world on top of me. And I think that weighs on me because I've obviously had to do things that I wouldn't do on my own, right? Like normally I wouldn't fuck myself on camera, but I'm having to do it because a man wants to see me fuck myself on camera,
Do you feel
which
that
I
way
think is bad.
currently, or are you talking about in the past only?
I feel that way currently.
But you don't have to do sex work now.
What do you mean have to?
Well, you were talking like you had to in the past, which is fair enough, but it's not the case
I think-
now, is it?
I think have to. I think have to is interesting because no, I'm not like homeless anymore, right?
If she didn't
but
make
also,
sex work, she'd be
but
a
also
slave.
I want. Shut up. But also I want my own income, and this is the way that I'm able to do it on with my situation.
Yeah.
You're capable of doing something else. You have a husband. You could go get a regular job.
I know that I have a husband, but I also think it's a little reductive to say that I can live off of my husband's wealth.
I just said you could get another job.
Yeah, but she could never amount to.
yeah,
He
and
makes a lot of money, so like for her to get to that level and be equals, it would take a
so
lot of
maybe as
time and
much
work.
her
Money.
respond. Smith,
No,
can you-
well,
can you
first of
let
all,
Lav-
it's not-
Well, yeah, degradation of women is all right if you're making above a certain point of money.
No.
No, but there's weight. I think that it's definitely weighted. My fiance makes enough money to where unless I do OnlyFans, I will always be like sort of just like his baby who he's taking care of. And I want there to be a power dynamic in our relationship where he's not like daddy taking care of me. I think it's really important to me in my relationship and also to women in society to sort of like date within their financial caste. Otherwise, there's like this very strange power dynamic that I don't
Yeah, I'm sure it
personally
goes
want to
Let me
deal
get
with.
another beer. I'll be right back.
That was a weird.
So your
weird
solution for that-
justification.
So your
I
solution
don't think that
for
was a
that is
justification. I think that was a fully salient reason.
I agree
No,
with
no, no.
everything you said. I agree with everything you said, except for one part. I agree with like adding to this dynamic that's this unhealthy and makes you unhappy. You're contributing to the oppression of women. I actually agree with all of that, except I don't think that's inherent to the porn. I think the porn in itself is fun, and to objectify yourself is fun. It's once it's in other people's hands, and when you're making money off of it, and then you don't have power over what makes the money.
I'd agree with you. I'd agree with you if porn, like how many deepfakes are there of men right now? How much porn
Right.
is there where you're getting close-up shots of women?
Right.
Women are the backbone of pornography, and because of that, that says something about society. So I think it's
Yes.
a symptom to a bigger issue.
I agree.
Right?
So,
I
but
wanna-
what I'm saying is that I think that it's the
So that's
societal
what I'm saying.
issue.
That deepfakes.
It's a societal issue, and deepfake. It's not deepfake. It's the society that embodies the deepfake.
I've said that. I think that
want
deepfake
to
is a
get
symptom
back
to a
on-
bigger issue.
No.
I want to
It's
get
it's
back
not
on
a symptom.
to the subject as a whole. I want to get back onto the subject. As
I
a
just
whole.
can't take the.
Go on. Go ahead. You can't take it anymore?
I can't
Like,
take the
Oh,
position
you can
seriously
take it,
that like
baby.
porn is this highly corrosive thing that is like serious, objectively bad for society. But you, of all people, have been empowered in ways.
Okay. I wanna get
This is
into
like
the
saying-
actual
Please
subject
move
at
on.
hand.
Please move on.
I'd
Could
love
a-
to
could
talk
a
about this.
drug
I'd love
addict
to
not
talk
come
about
on
this
here and
another
talk
time,
about-
though.
Wait, could a drug addict not come on here and talk about how harmful drug use is?
Tell you
Of course
what,
they
we'll
could.
have
This is
lava
ridiculous.
on another day to talk about lab, but today we're talking about the subject of AI porn. Okay, we cool? Good, cool.
I have a question.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you for protecting me.
Yes.
Thank you for the white knight.
So,
goddamn.
the question that I have is if AI generated porn or if deepfake generated porn is bad, right? If all deepfake porn is bad and because it could look like somebody's likeness and that person didn't consent, how do you guys feel about porn stars whose specific job is to look like famous actors and actresses?
A-okay.
I don't
Just
think
like
that's okay.
impressions are okay.
No, I don't think that's okay. Again, I think like Lav kind of pointed to, this is like pointing to a wider problem with porn in general, and how porn impacts our society, how porn impacts the way that the young men especially develop, and their attitudes toward women. I think that
How young women develop.
yeah,
next
how
to
young
that.
women, yeah, and what young women feel they're expected to do in sexual interactions, what they feel is normal in sex. I think all that's a much bigger problem with porn like as a whole. So yeah, that's another thing that I don't think we should be normalizing.
I don't
Yeah,
think that
but see,
porn is the
parody
thing that's
porn-
porn isn't the thing
parody
that's
porn is
enforcing that.
very-
Porn is showing us that's the way we are.
That's not
And
true.
so you think that
Parody porn is
I'm sorry,
all over
porn
the
is
place.
not the way that we are. That's insane.
no, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm
Porn
saying.
is a
That's not what I meant to say.
capitalistic, like it's
No,
a
yes, I
capitalistic
agree.
feeding
I agree.
tube into you.
Stardust,
I
go
agree.
ahead. Stardust,
Yes.
go ahead. Stardust, go
Parody
ahead.
porn is something that is already super saturated in the market. We
That's
have
not okay.
parody porn. We have parody porn of all sorts of movies. Nobody made a big fuss about that. We have parody
Not true.
porn of different different actors and actresses. Nobody made a big fuss out of that because everybody's argument was like, oh, well, they put themselves out there. They shouldn't put themselves out there if they don't want it. I disagree with that. I disagree with that in itself because I think that you have the right to your own image, but at the same time, what somebody fantasizes about, I don't feel like I have any purview over that.
Wait, so think about. So wait 1 second. So Sarah Palin, right, if we're going to use that example, because that's like the one on everybody's heads I got. So she's a woman who was the former governor of a state, right? Former presidential candidate, very accomplished person, right? So for her to be dragged down and reduced to a sex object, I think is a massive fucking problem. And it points, and it indicates that there's a problem in our culture that this is like normalized. We see this as not a big deal. It's funny. It's okay to do this kind of shit. So whether or not she came out and said something about it, and I think it's reasonable that she wouldn't, because this would probably just lead to more people making porn with like lookalikes of her. I don't think that's something that we should accept, that it's okay to take an accomplished woman, right, to someone who should be like a role model for a lot of women in this country, and reduce her to a fucking like sex object.
It
That's
speaks
fucked
poorly. It speaks poorly of society.
How do you feel about parody? How do you feel about parody altogether then? Like,
Can I say
parody
something
movies?
real quick?
Go ahead.
Just because people didn't care is completely irrelevant. Nobody gave two shits when Kim Kardashian or like Paris Hilton's sex tapes were leaked, but now we know that revenge porn is bad. What people care about is completely irrelevant. I don't know what the point
No, I'm
is
not
making
disagreeing
me-
with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. I did.
That was part of what you were saying.
I
You're
don't-
Like,
I don't-
No one's made a big deal about the celebrity.
The reason
porn."
why I'm bringing it, up is to ask Doobie his opinion, ask you guys your opinion. I always thought that Paris Hilton's sex tape being leaked was fucking horrible. I thought that Kim Kardashian having her sex tape being leaked was horrible. I thought
Yeah,
that both
I mean,
of
I
those
did
were
too, but a lot
instances-
of people didn't give two shits.
Yeah, a lot of people
We
didn't
know.
give two shits. A lot of people really didn't, and they should have.
Well, those leaks are different from a parody. I think like a
Yeah,
parody is I think it's not the same.
Parodies are protected under some sort of
Fair
weird
use.
law or
The
something,
law of
right?
fair use
Yeah,
law.
Yeah.
okay, but like I don't think we really care about the legality, right?
Go
So why
ahead.
isn't a deep fake just like a more advanced version of a parody?
That's a good
Okay,
question.
the difference
Why
is the first thing that I mentioned.
Because
If
a parody
it looks
has a
real.
whole actual person with an identity that exists out of pretending to look like
If you-
somebody else.
if
I'm
you
not saying
believe-
that means I think that it's okay, but they exist as a person, so we can know that they're not the same people.
If you believe that the deepfake video is real, and you market it as real, you tell people this is a real video, this is really Paris Hilton's video and it's fake, it's a deepfake, that's a real problem. But if it's clearly a deepfake, just the way a parody is a parody, like just a parody porn is parody porn, it's not. It's clearly not them, and it's obviously like you can't hold them accountable for something someone else did.
Parody movies that are not pornographic. How about those? Are those allowed?
No, because they're bad.
Exploit and defame someone's brand and monetize
fair
myself
point.
doing so. Sexual. Because I can
So-
legally.
Can you repeat that one more time? And then Tuna, I see you.
Can
I see you,
I
buddy.
mock-
You can get in
Can
as
I
soon as
mock
he's
and
done.
defame someone's brand in a way that damages, them that's not sexual then? And because that is something that's protected by law, my ability to
is.
do so.
It's protected.
So the thing that should be done to separate the differences is the same thing. I've mentioned this before when I was talking in the chat, is how Disney does not allow people to use the names of the Disney princesses when people are doing their, going around dressing up as whatever you have. So it should be fine to do parody porn as long as the ID of the name of the person is not plastered all over everything and then comes up in searches and things like this. If it was made generic, then theoretically the harm is nearly non-existent.
Okay, do you
But-
think that
but
there's a
it's-
Parody law
substantive
works.
difference? Real quick, I have a question for Kelly on this. Do you think there's a substantive difference between saying parody of X person and deepfake of X person? Because these are functionally the same thing in terms of the way they're
No, they're not
optically
functionally the same thing.
Yeah, deepfake
Yeah, they
literally means this is not a real depiction of the real person. It is a depiction.
Yes, but the person
that
doing a
is
parody is a real
simulated.
fucking human that exists with a name and an ID outside.
That's why I
of it.
asked if the fucking
But why does it
terms
matter?
made you think differently about them.
Wait,
Parody
okay, one
of
second.
versus
So if I-
deepfake of
People do
makes
parody
sense.
porn of real
like
people, too.
if we had like a twin, right? Like a situation where a twin decided to go into porn, but they went into porn and they made a like some kind of content where they're pretending to be their brother or their sister, right? Who is not doing porn. Like,
If
we
they're
would still
actively
think that's not
pretending to
okay,
be,
right?
Yeah.
Well,
I
they
mean, if
don't
they're
have
actively
to. They could
pretending to
legally
be, then
change their name to the same thing. They could legally change their name so they have the same exact name. They look exactly the same. Then they are representing themselves as the same person.
brand
on
identity, cover names. Irrelevant point. Move on.
No,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
don't
an
think that- I
irrelevant
don't think
point.
it's
I'm not
irrelevant.
prepared to
So
answer
if
for
in
it.
the
It's
title
happened
of the
like
porn,
a fucking rock
it
this
says-
entire
Why
panel.
Why do you
Relevant.
think there are so many princesses that can't even call themselves Belle or fucking?
Okay, well, it doesn't
They-
matter.
they
So if in the
copyright
title of
their
the
names
porn,
to it.
right? So if in the
That's
title
not
of
the
the porn,
same as
it says,
having a name. No,
this is
your
this
name
is
and
Bob
your
having
brand
sex,
are
but it's
are
really his
different
twin
things.
brother Josh, right?
Your brand
What-
can
what-
be your
oh, God,
name. You can
please
register
stop.
it
If you
as a
make that
business.
fucking
Stop,
mistake, that's
please.
your problem,
Stop.
and you've
Can we
opened
just, like,
yourself
answer the
up to
fucking
levels
question?
of parody that are going to take advantage of that.
You having your brand as your name makes you
Susceptible to
culpable?
somebody else changing their
what a
name to the
fucking
same fucking
pointless-
thing or having the
Why is
same
this-
name?
this is
Yes.
stupid. So
If
many
you
people
make
that have
your-
businesses have it in
If
their
you make
name.
your
That is
brand a
such
person's name, other
pointless.
people are
but
going to
how
have
are you
that
going-
name.
How are you going to stop somebody? How are you going to stop your twin from changing their name to your name and just using it?
I don't
You
think we
can't.
even need to go that far.
That's
They
the
don't need to like legally
Do you
change
not
their
realize
name.
how
They
much
could just say in the porn video,
problematic that
hey,
would be to change your
Oh, God.
name?
But would it be
If you're
illegal?
Yeah,
born
but
on the
we don't need to
same
go.
day,
We don't
Just
need
use
to
an
go about like
alias.
legally
you're going to
changing
fuck
their
yourself
name.
over as well as your twin. Like, and
You
then
can use the-
obviously
you can
I mean,
use an
they're going to
alias,
make a lot
nobody
of
needs
bank
that.
if it's Jennifer Lawrence's twin sister. She's going to make a lot of bank. Does it matter?
You're making it.
For her?
We're
she
spitting
would
past
lose
the
it in a
difference. We're
million
causing false
lawsuits,
difference
so
here.
what would be the fucking point?
But it
Not
doesn't
if she
matter.
changed
It
her
literally.
name.
So. Okay, I don't know why the name like matters to you guys. Like the legal name matters to you. So if in the title of the video, right, it was like Jennifer Lawrence gets ass fucked, but it's actually her twin sister, Bethany. Like we would still probably think this is not okay, right?
Resolution.
I mean, it would not be okay for slightly different reasons.
It
would
depends on if
obviously,
you think it's
open them
real.
up to a lot of.
No, I
No,
don't care about
the-
the legality. I'm talking about like ethically.
It
Would that
depends
be
if
okay?
you think
the
it's
reason
real.
it's ethically wrong. Hey, no, I think we have to admit that it's ethically wrong because you're taking somebody who is a public figure. People know who they are, and then you're putting something out that they didn't do in a way that is deceptive in order to make the
Wick's
public
twin
think
brother
that he
did
did
this. It'd be
something.
fine.
If you're
Because
deceiving
he's
people
not-
to make
because
them
he's not as public a figure.
No. So the reason, okay, this is important. Okay, let's use your analogy before about parody, right? Why is it that an Elvis impersonator can make any money by impersonating Elvis. It's because Elvis is known. A brand and a thing gains value, and you're exploiting the value of it because it was imbued by the person that you're impersonating. So that's why it's a little bit different when you're saying that you're Jennifer Lawrence, as opposed to you're saying, hey, I'm Joe Schmo. No one's clicking because the word's Joe Schmo. No one's clicking because of the persona, because the persona doesn't have an encoded value.
Okay, but whether or not it's monetized is irrelevant to the conversation, right? So again, I don't know.
It is relevant to the conversation. You asked why.
Okay, I didn't ask about it being monetized. I asked about there being a porn video existing somewhere. Right? So if it was my fucking neighbor, right, who had a twin brother, and it was just, oh, this is Bob having sex, but it's actually his twin brother Kevin, right, having sex in this video, totally not monetized, but he's on video getting ass fucked, right? Would Bob be okay and being upset about that? Would that be unethical for Kevin to do?
Yeah, because it's defamation.
Yes, it depends on if it's deceptive or not. That's what I was saying before. So like a parody or like a character, a parody movie, you know that it's not a real like for instance, the reason that what was the game Pokemon Nuclear, Pokemon Uranium was taken down isn't because of the mechanics of the game being like. Nintendo shouldn't be allowed to take down a game because it has the same mechanics. That's fucking stupid. There's so many games that like the reason is because it's branded as Pokemon and they're trying to say that it's the same thing. It's deceptive.
Okay, so what you're saying is that if they made deepfake porn, but it had like a little watermark on it that said deepfaked, that'd be okay to you?
Yeah.
This is being like okay.
Yes.
See, that I don't agree with, right? Does anybody else here agree with that?
Wait. There's a condition
okay to make deepfake porn just like openly available to everybody on a website.
There's a condition I do agree with you.
There's a watermark on there.
I agree with you in the case. I think once you become a public figure, I absolutely agree that would be the case. But I think with private individuals, I think I feel differently about it.
Why?
Because you aren't like, so as a public person, you are already putting out public information about yourself. You're already creating a narrative about yourself. You're creating an image.
Anybody who has a Facebook profile does that.
I guess I guess maybe I don't really care then. Maybe
does it change just I hate this hypothetical road because, gang, this hypothetical road, like these are things that might happen, could happen. They're important to talk about, but there are things that are happening actually in the real world that have happened. It was exposed famously this week, right? But this isn't the first time that deepfakes have been made. We've had this technology and it's been happening.
I feel like
various degrees.
Like focusing on public figures just like it doesn't get to the core of the issue, because the core of the issue isn't that this person is public or that they have a brand or that it's being monetized or any of this. I think that's irrelevant to the actual problem, right? I think the problem that people have with it is that they feel like consent is being taken. If there's someone's agency, the ability to consent to being portrayed in this way, right?
If you have to consent to things that people think about you, consent is an
arbitrary. It's not thing.
A thing is being produced, right? An image or a video or something.
It's left to your brain. It's left to your brain at this point.
But if it's on a computer, that's also still isolated.
I think I agree with that.
We've already discussed.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
but
I know, but
I think that
you haven't drawn
the problem.
The reason I feel different.
There's any unique harm to this. If anything, having your real life nudes leaked is more harmful than having a deep fake that somebody made of you leaked.
Yes.
You haven't put any unique harm to the deep fake being leaked versus.
Wait.
But I think you're forgetting. Hold on. I think what Doobie is saying is that you're forgetting something a lot bigger here, which is not the act of how embarrassing it might be for someone to see you naked or to see your likeness naked, but that this is a symptom to a bigger issue, which is the fact that you think that your rights can infringe on someone else's happiness.
Rights matter more than
I want you to think of it this way. I need you to weigh the pros and cons of having deepfakes, and I think it will be very clear to you what the right answer is.
What about of having someone's nudes that they send?
The pros to deepfakes, you get to jack off, right? Pros to deepfakes, you get to jack off. Hell yeah. Sexual exploration, let's go. Humanism, humans gonna human, right? Negatives, cons to deepfakes. There are so many. What do you mean name one? Kelly talked about her experience. That's one, and that's on a small scale, right? That's on a small scale because Kelly obviously it didn't. Kelly's a strong girl. She was like she took it in stride. Some people can't, right? Now there's another thing with deepfakes where you can sway political opinions.
Stop. You gotta let her finish before you respond, and you can't all fucking respond at once. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna let her finish, then Portland's gonna respond, then Smeth's gonna respond, then Tuna Chip's gonna respond, and the rest of you are gonna shut the fuck up, or I'm gonna mute you.
Yes,
cool?
sir.
So yes, one, and I know that as men you won't care about this, but I think a big one is how women feel about it. Right? I think that's a big thing, how women feel about their likeness being taken from them and used for mass consumption that is not just in your brain anymore, but that the whole internet has access to it, especially if you're a public figure and you have more people having access to it, right? Because they know about you. That's one issue. So yes, women's feelings. Two, what that says for society, that we have suddenly the right to infringe on someone else's rights without their consent, or their body. Like we have the right suddenly to just jack off to whatever the fuck we want, even though there are people, we don't need it. Even though we don't need it, there's already porn that exists that you can jack off to as your horny heart desires. And then, the other three is that this sways like, political opinion potentially, because deepfakes are just getting more realistic and more realistic. Another one is that our technology is getting so crazy that we won't be able to tell the difference soon. Another reason is that, the internet is going fucking haywire. Like this is just going to get worse and worse and worse if we don't legislate now, right? Okay. It's just going to get worse.
What are the cons? Sorry.
Stardust.
I just listed them.
Okay.
No, that wasn't what I was going to ask.
You can get in line. Portland, Smith, Tuna, then apparently Stardust. Go. Okay.
You listed a lot of things. First of all, anybody
I did do that.
Yeah, anybody who has the political motivation to prove that a deep fake is a deep fake should have the monetary resources to hire a digital forensics expert to prove in a couple of hours tops that it's a deep fake and not a legitimate video. Secondly, the notion that people are going to come to substantive harm in their personal lives because deep fakes are going to be used to harass them is obviously something that is worth consideration, but it's considered by the legal system within the framework of defamation, of slander, of damaging of your brand's material value, and of monetization of your image without your consent or without a licensing agreement in place. These are things that the technology has to catch up to, but they're by no means novel or unique to this technology. They apply to almost every form of image replication that we can use to render an image of someone that's even approaching photorealism. I'm sorry, she's listed 5 fucking things, okay? Just trying to...
And still the only pro, and still throughout all of that, the only pro is that you just get to jack off to someone.
I don't need a pro to exist privately and access a tool that's publicly available. You need to have a substantive...
No, I'm saying the pros and cons.
And all you've made are emotional arguments.
You do not have... Enough. You think that you should have... It's crazy to me that your porn-fried brain makes you think that it is important for you to have this right.
That's not the point. Okay, I was next. So anyways, that's the point is you're making the same argument. People make the same argument about different oil paints. Oh, well, you shouldn't have access to cadmium red because technically that's a harmful thing. And they made it illegal in the fucking UK. It's really stupid because they made these bullshit arguments that it was artists that were poisoning the water supply when it's actually battery companies. Or utter bullshit, but cadmium's bad, so we shouldn't. It's not the cadmium. It's not. All I'm saying is you can demonize the paint, you can demonize the thing, but really what the issue is harassment or deception, and these are ways that you could use the technology, and these are already illegal, or if they're not, they should be, but it's not the technology in itself. It's the same as saying oil paint is the problem. Human sexuality can be expressed as in any way we want in private, and that's not the issue. Earlier you said legislate now so we can stop it, but you also said, Leah, that you didn't want you think that's ubiquitous, or no, wait, you said you can't stop it. I think it's going to become ubiquitous. You already said we can't stop it. I don't think we can we can legislate it against all we want, but we're still going to get Pirate Bay completely full of this shit. I think the best course of action, the best way to fight against it, is to make it ubiquitous.
It's ridiculous. This is the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I think listen, you know that there was a world before internet porn, right? And we did just fine.
just fine? Were we treating women just
I acknowledge
fine
all
and we
these. I
Yeah,
acknowledge
no,
all
I
these
mean-
wrongs that come with
Wait,
deepfake
hold on,
porn.
hold on.
So we should just
Hold
have
the fuck
deepfake
on.
porn
Do you
with
think I
everybody.
said
Hold on,
before
we had a
internet?
line.
Do you think
We had a line.
do you think I said before internet everything was like good and grand? Like Holocaust didn't happen, everything was good. Like
Oh my
that's
God!
not what I
don't
was
say
fucking
things
saying.
like
I'm
we
saying
got along just
All
fine
of the
before
world's
porn
ills
is
are
Yes.
because
burnt.
of porn, even though the world
no,
used to be
I'm
so
saying
much worse.
internet porn has changed us as a society. That is, if you
In a
try to
negative way.
argue
Now
that,
prove it.
Internet
you
porn
are
is-
fucking
You say
insane.
it now.
Porn-
Internet
Substantiate
porn
it
is
somehow.
the-
Porn makes
Show me
you
the
less-
harm that it caused
is
societally.
evil
Makes
of
you
the
less likely to
world,
rape.
even though we used to treat women way worse, and we
Yes.
also have way worse quality
Yeah.
of lives.
Yeah, sexual violence is down dramatically in developed nations where we have ready access
Porn.
to porn.
Yeah.
I could easily point to that and say, like, no, it's super helpful for society. You haven't pointed to shit to substantiate your claim that it's bad. You've just said it's bad because you have some moral hang-up, even though you fucking do it.
You're
Lav.
so dumb.
Come on, no. Actually, engage with what he said. Engage with what he said.
Yeah.
No, first of all, it's no moral hangup, and I really struggle to
No,
have this
moral
conversation, especially with men who are as angry as you, because I feel like
You're fucking annoying. It's exhausting. I wouldn't have come here if I knew you were going to monopolize the panel.
believe. Wait, what? I just
No.
didn't speak for 20 minutes.
Oh my God,
Can
make
I
it
just say
25 next
something real
time.
fast?
Also, you're
I am
oh,
begging. at
Real
this point.
fast, real
Yeah.
fast, then we'll continue.
Thank you.
Quickly,
Okay,
concise,
so on the
please.
topic of harassment, there's someone in the chat doing it right fucking now.
Mods, if you see any
Saying
harassment,
it's not the
you
same as
deeply matter.
Deepfake AI. Your nudes are OnlyFans leaks whose choice was to join a prostitute site. And I try to clarify that even now I don't do nudity, but even if I did, saying this kind of shit is like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Hello? But back then, I literally didn't even have an OF. I was just a cosplayer streamer, and you are like literally just proving my point that people are fucking stupid. They see what is on the internet and they
Two things.
believe it because
Two
they don't
things.
engage their fucking brains.
Two things. Chat, be good. Second, stop reading chat if you're on the
I
chat.
mean, it's fine because
Stop.
he proves my point by existing.
enough,
I'm
fair
not
enough.
upset by it because I've
Okay.
dealt with it for the last 6
Okay.
years. But you know,
Fair enough.
it is
You
what
could
it
use
is.
him as a cautionary
As a
tale,
literal
if you
point.
will.
Look, he's
I
saying
have a-
he's saying that I'm lying right now.
Okay.
I have
Get
a
one guy.
Can I say, please?
What is
Close
fucking
it.
wrong with you? You've got
It's gonna drive
mental
me insane.
illness. I don't sell
Um,
nudes on
Don't-
OnlyFans.
don't
Even
read
if
chat.
I did,
Okay,
Don't
stop.
read chat.
even
Do
if I
not
did,
close that down.
it would
Close
be
that down.
fine because
I'm
this
gonna
happened
get back on the
6
train.
years ago.
Wick, please.
Let's
I'm
get back on the
begging.
train.
Fucking-
We've been at the
So-
I'm getting
so Kelly,
harassed in
wait,
chat
please,
station
but
for
I
a
think
while.
here's where this also doesn't make sense because Kelly, you put out like very like sexualized like images of yourself, which is fine if that's what you want to do. But I don't think
Again,
it makes
this happened
sense
6 years
to
ago.
do that. No, okay, that's fine. But I don't think it makes sense to do that and then get upset when people sexualize you. Like that doesn't make any
No,
sense.
it's because he's wrong. That's why I'm mad because he's fucking stupid and wrong.
I have a question.
And saying that I'm a liar, everyone gets tilted by that. No one wants to say they're being called a liar. Like, no.
That's fine. But can someone agree like address what Lav was saying about like I mean, do you guys disagree that porn has a like negative impact on our society?
I don't
Yeah,
know if it has
Portland
a
does.
negative
Absolutely
impact,
disagree.
but-
Demonstrate
He
that it
agrees
does.
so much that he wouldn't be here if he knew I
Portland.
was coming.
Portland,
Demonstrate that it's
Portland,
damaging
you
to
have
society
you're on the
in
internet.
any
You have,
way
you have
that
access
you
to
can-
Google. Google any study on this, and you'll find that you're incorrect. Like,
Yeah,
take 2 minutes. Shut the fuck up for 2 minutes and do it, and you'll find that you're incorrect.
Yeah, I think
Porn-
porn obviously has an impact that's negative on society, but we
Excessive
still
consumption of
acknowledge-
anything is bad.
Not even
No, it's-
excessive. Any
no,
consumption.
But we
It's
still
any
have to
consumption of it.
acknowledge. We still have to acknowledge that this argument about the time before internet porn, we didn't need it, is not really the best one because we have seen quality of life has improved.
This isn't
so
my
much
main
in
point.
developed countries, right? And
Because
so
of porn?
I wanted to ask. I wanted to
Because of
not because of porn, not because of porn. I never
Well,
said.
that's
because
what we're
of porn.
talking about. We're talking about the porn aspect. We're not talking about
but
technology as a
technological
whole.
advances that
You're
led to
but I
porn.
can do the same thing. I can do the same
Yes,
thing.
but
with your
that's a
argument.
why?
what
Why
I
would we
would
talk
like to
about that
ask-
in
what I
relation?
would
We're
like
talking
to
about
ask-
porn.
What I would like to ask is, I bet that just like Lab listed all of the cons of deepfake porn, I am sure that people on the opposite side on this panel could list all the cons of legislating against deepfake porn. Does somebody want to do that?
Yes, absolutely. The amount of legislation that would have to go to make it so that people can't produce it would be insurmountable, and it would affect women worse than the porn industry. Yes.
bullshit.
Nope. You can have a computer that's not connected to the internet. You can have AI.
We can't make child
on
porn illegal because we can't make the possession of
that,
child porn illegal
okay.
because
Hey,
it's
you
really
want to
illegal.
actually,
Child porn
you
is
actually
illegal.
want an argument?
It's ridiculous. It's
Let
stupid.
Tuna Chip.
Whoa! Somebody
he's
sold
made an
this
assertion.
fucking frog.
Tuna Chip, stop it. Tuna Chip. You've made an assertion. Can you back it up? I will give you the space to do so. Go ahead.
Yeah. When you have a closed server that's not connected to the internet, you have an AI. The current this person doesn't exist or whatever. That is a GAN network. That is a generative, what is the stupid word? Antagonistic network. You have two AIs that are teaching one another how to fraud images. You don't actually have to have it connected to the internet to have all of that happen. You just need to feed it data from two sets and have them go against each other and try and figure out how to get better and better at iterating it. You can make really powerful AI porn without it ever getting outside of that system, ever getting outside of that loop. The thing that we have a problem with is the defamation, the harassment, which, by the way, right now, we got to admit, because I am on the anti-deepfake point, 97% of this deepfake porn is being used for harassment. There's studies connecting to that. So we can't just pretend that it's not being used that way. That's the main use of it so far. So yeah, right now, Lab, you're arguing this idea that it's for jacking off. That's not the thing that it's for. Right now, it's mostly for harassing women. You're right, but you don't have the main
It's
point.
harassing
The main
women
point
with
is that
porn.
how it's being used. Now,
Wait, it's harassing
about,
women with porn.
Yes, but it's the production is not the issue because the production
95% of deepfakes are pornography of women. Look up that stat. I'm not lying.
I know. I did the same research as you, Lav. And here's the thing. Although we are talking about the porn
So what are
that
you
gets out of
saying?
the box, the porn inside of the box, any porn that is private, is not the moral issue. The moral issue is what it does to real people when it gets outside of the box. Tree in a forest falling, no sound kind of fucking situation going on. Now, the idea that it's affecting people's brains, I want you to go ahead and roll this back really quick. What came first, sexualization or porn? Sexualization. What came first, women being treated as cattle and property, or porn? Women being treated as cattle and property. All of this history has made
I've always said
world...
it's a symptom. I've always said it's a symptom. I don't think it's the problem.
But if you get rid of the porn, guess what? You have to actually change the world. So if we're going to do that,
I don't think we should get rid of porn. I don't think we should get rid of porn. I think that
I don't think that we should get rid of porn. You have enough money to feel like you're in a competent relationship with your partner right now. We need
I think that it's not that. I think that porn is good for human sexuality in general, and I've said that now forever. And I don't appreciate how you went to like a weird personal place because I haven't done that to you, and I'm trying to remain somewhat professional in this, regardless of what my public image is. But I think that I think that porn is extremely important to human sexuality, whether it be fanfic or drawings or even videos of people. I think that the problem is that because there is so much of that, we don't even need deepfake porn. So the argument to keep it doesn't make a fuck ton of sense, especially when you're like, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense when mostly all deepfakes are for is like to create harm. So when you can literally jack off to anything else, like anything else. You can jack off to people dressed up as Pokimane, right? You can do that.
The question
not if Doobie has his way. You shouldn't be able to jack
What's the question? What's the question, Wick? What's the question?
Impersonating Pokimane.
The question would be, and I think I'm still not getting an answer from anyone here, right? If we are to go down this road of making possession or creation of deepfakes illegal, what other negative consequences might that spark? For example, if someone made a meme of me on the internet, not sexual, right? They put my face on a funny meme that I found offensive, right? It was against my religion for whatever reason, if I had one, right? I was Muslim, and they put Photoshop my face on a meme, and it had Muhammad in it, right? And I wanted to get that taken down. Like, do we think that's something that people should be able to get taken down? If you're a public figure, should you be able to get someone's making fun of you and memeing on you taken down? Should you be able to take your likeness down? And my question would be, how can we create legislation that stops the sexual deepfakes but does not stop the memeing and things like that?
What you're
I
I
basically
mean, you can
asking
pay
is
to
why
have
should
slander
harassment...
removed.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
true.
why isn't it just like harassment? Right? You're basically asking why should harassment be illegal?
Well, it's not in a lot of
It is.
cases. Making a meme of someone is not illegal.
Hold on, harassment is illegal. I think what you just described is a form of harassment.
You
do
would
think
Sure,
not
but
be
I think it gets
mean.
really
should
hairy
be
if we start to
illegal, like
legislate against harassment. It gets hairy.
It's really hard.
But I
to
have a
do.
question. I have a question because I'm also thinking about this side of it. Is and this could be completely. This could be another conversation completely. But why is it so embarrassing for women to be seen naked? Like, why? Like, why do we?
Embarrassing for
As
men
a,
to
no,
be seen
listen.
naked, too.
No, it's not. It does not have the same weight for men than it does for women.
I would
And
be
to
very
some
surprised.
degree, I really think that we infantilize women to the point where they're not allowed to have a sexuality, and that's why this is so like visceral, right? So like this is
Yeah.
like that's why it's so violent against women when like I don't know, are we all just socialized to
have-
think that a woman are we
I
all just
don't-
socialized to think that like seeing a woman is
Do the
like
rest of
bad?
us
I
agree
don't
with
know.
that?
I have a really
Just
big chunk.
Stop.
Okay.
I do the rest of us agree with this that it has more of a
I didn't say you have
effect
to agree. I said let's
I
talk
agree.
about it.
I agree.
I understand, but you made an assertion like everyone knows this, and I'm just curious if that's
what was
something
the question?
everyone knows. I think that like being seen naked is embarrassing for everyone.
But
right?
why?
Men
Um,
and women, right?
But why? In a secular world, why?
It's not about embarrassment. It's not about embarrassment.
about
It's
violence.
the consequences, the anxiety that comes from it. Women are more vulnerable and more targeted than men are. That's the
And
real
why?
problem. It's not the embarrassment.
Why?
It's the fact that you could get a stalker, you could get a rapist. It's the fact that the world is set up in such a way where women are generally more anxious of those things, and for fair reason. It's more likely to happen to them.
I've written
True.
a whole big in my notes. I have a whole big
so
section on
deepfakes
this.
are a violence against women, right, Portland?
Not if they don't extend to the woman themselves. Absolutely fucking not. No more
What
so
do you
than
mean?
drawing a picture of you, a stick figure with your name over it, and a fucking hangman.
Are you gonna
game.
jack off to it?
If I want to, I will, and you can't
Do you
fucking
want
stop
to?
me. No, I don't. You look like a 12-year-old, so I would basically be
Whoa,
doing.
we
Some
don't need
people
to
like
do
that.
We don't need
He
to
has
do
kids.
that.
He has
I don't
kids. He's
know
the
where
authority
you
on
would
looking
get
like a 12-year-old.
But it's a cool place to
It's
take
a
the
weird
conversation, I suppose.
I'm about to be 18 in like a week. It's fine.
Congratulations.
God,
I'm sure
I don't need that meme.
you
I don't
guys
need
will
people to
feel
click
the
that out
meme.
of context and people to believe that. I don't need this in my life, please.
Mhm.
Hurry,
But
play-
no, I
play-
think I
We're gonna
would think
deal with
that
what I've
Taken
asked.
out.
I would.
But if I was slightly older,
Yeah, I would think that, like, just because it happens more in certain instances into certain demographics doesn't mean we can ignore that it also happens to others. Like this kind of like a Olympics or this contest we make of this. We don't need to make it a gendered issue. We
Wait,
really
I
don't.
want to.
Oh,
I really
but it
want to.
is.
Please,
But
please let me.
it-
Please
it's-
let
you
me.
can't-
I have a lot to say about
it
this.
is a gendered issue.
I have a lot to say about this, Wick. So I think the reason that we're so outraged, and I think rightfully so, when this kind of thing happens to women more, and why women sort of have this more shame reaction stuff to their nudity being exposed, is because we empower women and give them their locus of power is their sexuality and themselves as a sexual object. And any woman that's a sex worker can probably attest to this. It's like incredibly powerful in the short term. In the long term, it's going to be kind of enslavement to the patriarchy, blah blah blah. Short term, great. So you're gonna get all these boosts. Like every Twitch streamer that's a woman will know that wearing like a V-neck is gonna be really beneficial. Like as soon as you wear a low-cut shirt, you're gonna be like, oh wow, I got a lot more attention today. And you're like, you know what? I'll take that devil deal. I'm gonna do that because it's gonna be good for my career. In the long run, it hurts all women. So their locus of power is their sexuality.
You pointed out how it affects women, but you haven't shown me that it only affects women. Right?
Yeah, but like so
It's
so
a societal
a man
reaction as well. I mean, even in the chat right now, we've got people saying her dad already failed her. Look at this shit.
a woman.
This is the kind of stuff you deal with by being a woman on the internet. Just like
That's not what
fucking
I'm saying.
dressing
I'm saying-
normally.
You want
That's
me
what
to
I wear
read?
when I leave. When
Do
I
you
go
want me
outside
to
in the
read?
fucking
What I'm saying
real
is more
world.
Would you
cynical.
guys
Maybe
like me to
maybe
read-
we'd care.
Stop,
Maybe we'd care. Maybe we'd.
Stop. Would you like me to read some of the DMs I've gotten recently? I promise you we can compare them, and I promise you.
Are
you
they
ain't gonna
about
like
your?
them.
Are they about your
They're
little
about
pussy?
Don't
about
read mine.
finding- They're
Don't read
about
mine.
finding me,
Don't
cutting
read
my
mine.
balls off, killing me,
But
raping me.
those aren't
all
based
these
around
things.
sexism, are they? We
Well,
have an
yeah.
additional.
Oh, it's
We
it's-
have
it's
slut
okay.
shaming, and there
No,
are
wait,
additional issues
we're talking about a
for
different
women
thing.
in
The
this
women-
situation.
You're
women
preaching
get
to a
those-
deaf choir.
Women
will
get those
say-
too.
I,
Wait.
I
Ears
will
do not work
say,
on this topic.
I will say that when you're a woman, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you
Right.
are, if you partake in sex work, you're a slut. You have father problems. If you don't partake in sex work, you're a slut. You have father problems, and you're a prude, and you're gonna die alone, and you're never gonna have children.
And
We
then you
also
don't get
rape
the
and death
and then you don't get the
threats as well.
advantages.
Oh my god, I don't know what the point of
Well,
that
that's-
is.
that was my
Why can't we just
question.
accept that if you
That
come
was-
in, if you come into these spaces, right, where lots of people are watching you on the internet, some
You
of those
deserve
people aren't
it.
going to like you. No, you don't deserve it. But
This
some of
has
those
nothing
people
to
You're
do with
opening up
being
to it.
liked.
some of those people are not going to like you, and you need to accept that. And yeah, you might get like naughty messages sometimes, but who gives a fuck? Like I don't
This
understand
isn't
why
about
you do
being
that.
like.
Wait.
Accept
If you
someone.
talk
How do
to
you have
me-
that opinion, but you're anti-deepfake in porn? That doesn't make a ton of sense.
Hey,
Hold on. These are different.
Doobie,
hold on, to me,
first
these
of all,
are
I
Doobie,
different.
are you
like
talking?
insults, alright? Especially if they are creative. Very good, very funny. I don't really enjoy like 1 IQ sexism in the chat at me. That's not enjoyable. That's
It's
stupid.
Twitch. It's
It's not original.
gonna happen.
I'm just saying, but that's the thing that women get, right? Is sexism on top of
Men
the
get
other
that
things that
too,
you
though.
talk about.
Like
I-
people in general on the internet get lots of
Don't get
insults.
slut shamed.
I'm
Okay.
not.
That's not
I'm not
true.
getting.
It is
wait,
okay,
you-
Doobie.
Men get
No,
being a
no,
woman
no,
on
no,
the
no.
incels,
we do.
and
So you don't feel-
people accuse me
being
of
a
having
woman on the
small dicks. This
internet.
happens all the time.
Being a woman on the
not
internet
saying
is
that.
so different to being a man on the internet, and I don't even.
Yeah.
The
Just so
ladies
you
here
know-
cannot convince them because they are men and they can't see it.
But they're
Anyway.
wait, I wanna-
The reality is,
Like, I don't want you to
women
feel
typically
alone
can
in
get
the death
can get away
threats.
with
I get them
women.
too.
Oh god,
So-
women on the internet. Hold on, yeah, there are some cons, but there are a lot of privileges too, right?
Yeah.
So
Sure.
women get a ton
Nobody
of
said that there
benefits
wasn't.
just
Nobody
for
said that-
existing on the platform.
Sure,
right?
sure.
let's-
We get to make
I
money.
don't
We get to make
understand-
money.
I
We
don't
get attention,
please.
but at what cost?
Yes. Okay.
Right,
Well,
so-
the
There's a
cost is
greater
some people are
cost
gonna
for
like you,
women
some
than there
people
is
say
for
mean
men.
things to you. Who
There's
gives
a
fuck?
greater cost for women than there is for men, though,
don't.
even if we
Wait.
have privileges.
Okay,
But
so
what I was going to say,
Can I
what
say
I was
one
going to say,
word really quick?
I will, Smith, shut the fuck
I will
up.
cut
What I was going to
your
say.
breasts off. I'll cut your breasts off.
Yo, we can't have that. No, for fucking seriously, we can't have like even jokes about that. No.
He's going to trans me.
All right. I
Wow.
won't.
No,
I-
we
I-
not,
gonna
okay, I will
trans
shut
me.
this shit down.
in
Like,
Minecraft, I will
feel about
do
that
it, and I
laugh.
won't. Whatever.
okay.
But I would hate it. No, but what I was going to
Guys, no,
say
for real.
was,
Like, for
is
real,
the reason
you're like I just this
He gets
is
it.
important.
he gets it.
Okay,
I get
do
it.
you though? I want to make fucking
Yeah, look at
sure.
how sad he looks. He looks like a sad little weasel. He gets
Okay.
it. But as I was gonna say was, are we taking this so seriously because of women's sexual repression? Is that why we're taking it so seriously?
I think that's part
so.
of
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some of it is like kind of comes from this kind of like schizophrenic understanding we have about like sexuality and women in general,
Yeah.
where women are encouraged to make themselves sexually available, but also shamed if they do.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say to speak to the man's experience. Like the other side is that I sexualize myself on the internet, and I both get none of the benefits or none of the negative side effects that women get.
But that's just because you're weird.
Like with
You
the
gotta be less
prevalence of
weird.
OnlyFans, it feels like with the prevalence of things like OnlyFans and do-it-yourself sex work that we've kind of normalized putting yourself on camera naked as a societal norm. It's not exactly the source of shame that it was even 20 years ago, right? The vast majority of people have
That's
at the
not true.
very least.
Wait, what do you mean? It's not the source
do
of
you mean,
shame
what do
because
I
your
mean?
circle of like lefties are like, hell yeah, queen, because I can't get jobs. I can't put where I work on an apartment
You have
lease
no
agreement.
idea what you're
I
talking about.
cannot.
My circle of no. If we
You're right. I have
had
no idea what
a
I'm talking
social
about, ever.
Stigma similar
But
to
you
the
do.
one that we did 20 years ago, women would feel embarrassed about putting their OnlyFans handles in their fucking Instagram bios.
Women
but
still
a lot
feel
of them
fucking
do.
embarrassed about that. What the fuck are you talking about,
A lot of them
retard?
do. What are you
Women do
Are you
feel
trying
embarrassed
to
about
say
that.
women don't have a different experience to men? This is just a stupid argument. You know that that's not true.
Where the fuck did that come from? No, I'm saying that as a society, we have largely normalized putting
yeah.
yourself on camera.
To
naked.
you, because you have a
No, not to
pornified
me.
brain.
No,
To a
Lam.
greater society, I'm sorry. If you guys have
Lam.
ever left your fucking house, especially my experience as a sex worker, I know about it more than you do. I cannot put my
No, you
job
don't.
on a lease. you're retarded. Cannot put my job on a lease agreement. I have to be weird around my fiance's parents, right? My my children's teachers are gonna look at me differently. Like, it's the same fucking stigma, just repackaged with like a leftist, like, hee hee, good, go you, girl. I
think it's
get the
okay
same
to say-
fucking
Such a crock of shit.
I think it's okay that there's
man
really-
moment.
Stop.
Man
Can I
moment.
fucking say something?
Let
For
Kelly.
fuck's
Let
sake.
Kelly go. Let Kelly go. Then start us. Kelly. Then
I think
start
it's
us. Go ahead.
okay to say that there is slightly less stigma and improvement without saying that doesn't mean that there's still a fucking lot of it. Like, just because it's got a little tiny bit better, so what? That doesn't mean we don't suddenly deal with a bunch of shit. Like,
Lessened.
I think it's getting better.
slightly, but the stigma will always be there, and it's
Yeah.
still
But I think the
stratospheric.
past
It doesn't-
15 years have been
Back
nice.
when people got their nudes leaked in the era of like the first camera phones and stuff, this was a level of trauma just on the social scrutiny of putting yourself in that position that is unlike anything that we see now. There is a sense now that like if you allow your information or your nudes to like get out because you're irresponsible with them, that like that you're being irresponsible with them is largely like what the problem is. If you monetize them, that's largely embraced by the infrastructure and cultural like apparatuses that we have that would normally have shamed these things in the past. This is just
Kind
a
of.
Your
hundred miles
of
from
your
like,
circle, retard, and your echo chamber.
Yeah, it's
I
not
don't
all
think
Just for you.
You think it's not? Hold on. You
it's
think
not
of a
everything.
high
I am
school
not a
girl. You think of
fucking
a high school
lefty.
girl's news get leaked to her classmates. You think what they're going to be talking about is how irresponsible she was? Really? Like
No,
that's
idiot.
They'll be making fun of her for sure.
Irresponsibility is an excuse for people to dumpster on other people. It's like, oh, it's your fault. It's
So
just.
I'm
it's
still
blaming them.
having. I'm
factor
still having.
in it.
just
It's
real
not an
quick,
excuse
just
for
real
it. It
quick,
never
I'm
has
still
been,
having a
but-
problem. My personal problem is I think like we're saying that all these bad things happen and then pretending it's somehow like less when it happens to men. I was talking to someone last night, right? Who when they were in high school, they were a man. They had someone photocopied their face onto some gay pornography of them getting railed, right? Like in some horrific kind of sex act. Posted it all over their school. He was made
I don't
fun
think
of.
it's less when
He
it's
Well,
was
for-
celebrated.
First of all,
Okay,
there's a
maybe
couple of things here.
It may happen less often.
There's
but
a no.
like
Let me
said-
explain this to you because I can make it very succinct for you. So the reason why that was a problem and why you have an emotional attachment to it is because of it being gay, right? So
Oh
the act
my
of
God.
taking no. I need you to listen to me. The act of taking something, like taking a penis inside of you, is much different than giving it. In the gay community, we see this. In society, we see this. And if you disagree, you need to read a fucking book. You
It
need
would
to
have been
look around
but
you.
it would have been the
That
same.
is
If,
insane.
it would have been the same if
If
he was
you
on top.
no,
Everyone shut
listen.
the fuck
Let me
up for a
finish.
minute.
Let me finish. No, let me finish because I'm not done. You know that when a man says that his body count is 50 and when a woman says that her body count is 50, it is seen differently by everyone who's fucking onlooking. You
don't
know
get
that
to
is
tell
true,
me.
and it's because of sexual repression politics
You
within
don't
women.
get to tell me how I nor that other man feels. You just don't. And when
No,
you
I
say
know that
it's
that's
only
sad for you.
because-
I know.
What?
I know
Stop.
that that's still
You are the one
violating.
who
It's
lives in
the
an echo
societal
chamber.
impact.
Stop or you will be
You're
stopped.
It is
obviously
the-
like having your biases reinforced by the media
I-
that you consume, and it's
Stop,
fine.
No.
all of you. Oh my god!
No.
Can I just fucking respond on my own fucking
Ugh.
channel? I will mute. I'm trying really hard not to, but I will start muting people, and I hate to do it, but I will. So I will just say that again. Like, had it been any sort of even if it was just a solo shot, right, of someone's face and posted all over in someone's high school, that is horrific to any guy, to most men.
Bullshit.
Most
Do you
don't
think he would have been? Do you
oh
think
my God.
he thought it was horrific if they photoshopped him fucking a really hot model?
Yes, it would be a
Bullshit.
violation.
Bullshit.
You
do
are
not get to
society.
tell me
reason
Do you
why-
think
the
it'd be
reason
seen,
Lav
dude?
is absolutely
You
correct
just don't.
here.
Well, she's
'Cause
reducing it
most
to that.
people, to most people, when sex is something that happens to women, right? It's something that is done to them, whereas it's something that men do. So the reason that the situation that you put forward was embarrassing is because he was the thing being done something to, right? He was the one taking a dick. If there was a hot model, him railing a hot model instead of him being railed, he would have been totally fine with it.
If he was on the top, it would have been the same. If he was on the top, it is the gay thing.
The reaction would have been fucking night and day, and you know this.
If he was on the top, putting the dick in the guy's ass, it would have been the same.
Feelings are valid. Feelings are valid. You can still feel like that is a violation. I'm not saying that it's not a violation, because it absolutely is, and that doesn't change because you're a man. But I'm saying that the societal impact in the way that people treat you, in the way that you're treated by people, if something like that gets out, so exponentially different. Fucking Steven, literally, Destiny's nudes came out like what? Fucking years ago, like a whole fucking display of them, and no one fucking talks about it. If that happened to Melina, they'd be posted every fucking day for years. That is just how it works. Like, unfortunately, even though it's violating, and I'm sure he felt extremely violated from it, it's just the way that the fucking world is.
That's because he doesn't center his power around his sexuality, though. That's because he doesn't center his power around his sexuality, which is the way women are encouraged to present themselves in society.
Maybe that's an aspect.
That's just a symptom. That's just a symptom of the patriarchal society that we live in now. Right? It's not. That's not something you should point at and be like, "Oh,
that can be done to you as a woman just by existing, right? You don't necessarily have to be sexual, and they'll do it to you anyway. But the point is, I don't want to get into this thing where it's worse for women. I do think it's different, and I think the societal reaction is usually different, and it can be bad being different. Like when teachers take advantage of their male students, like they'll be like, "Oh wow, you got to fuck that 20-year-old hot teacher," when that was fucking like rape and child abuse, right? It's not good that society reacts in these ways sometimes, but there is a difference.
Yeah,
we
no,
can't
you're right.
just sit there and not say there's not a difference. But
You're
that
right.
doesn't mean I think it's nice that those things are done to men too, and they will probably be treated really poorly, like a laughing stock or whatever. And homophobia is a thing. So fucking a guy, it's like bullying and shit.
To use the example that Lav used, right? When Destiny's nudes were leaked, when Destiny sang, there was no sympathy. No one fucking cared, right? Because it's a guy. We could just laugh it off. It doesn't affect him, right? Ha ha ha.
He cared, but nobody made it a big deal either.
Okay, I will stop you till I'm done. Okay. So when it did happen to women, people care. People come out of the woodworks like, oh, we support you. They have a support structure that men simply do not when this happens to them.
I mean, people here are talking hypothetically when I don't even think they knew Steven back then. So this isn't exactly right. Like, I do remember it happening, and he did get like a lot of shit for it, and he was dealing with a lot of interpersonal drama at the time, which was pretty shitty within relationships and stuff. So people did dumpster on him for a while, and it did get brought up for a while. It's not like he didn't get any negativity from it. He did.
He got harassed. It was reposted on Reddit over and over again until he had to post something on Reddit, and it got uploaded to the top, and then they took it down. But he was getting it reposted over and over again. There was even a subreddit that was dedicated to spamming it, I'm pretty sure, if I'm recalling correctly. So yeah, no, he definitely got harassed by it. And I also want to kind of reiterate what Kelly Jean is saying is, we can acknowledge that the way that society reacts to men and women in these situations is different, but I don't want to take away the way that that men are uniquely hurt and the way that women are uniquely hurt.
I don't think that anyone was doing that. I'm just saying that there is a focus on women's purity that affects their lives in a much different way than it affects men, because people do not care if men are chaste and pure. Which I'm sure they harassed him. They sexually harassed him with those photos, but he wasn't denigrated as a human being because of those photos.
I have to take a bio break. Stardust is in charge for the minute I'm going to be gone.
Okay. All right.
Stardust, I got a point on this.
Okay.
Can I get a point on this before we move somewhere else?
I will give it to you, Tuna Chip, but it looked like Portland wanted to say something really quick. I want to give him a chance, and then I'll give it to you.
You're good, guys. My brain's about to fall out of my ear.
Okay. All right, then Tuna Chip, go ahead. Go ahead,
yeah,
cool.
And
then Doobie.
So let's kind of build a bridge here, because it is just strictly true, although I think it's for a different reason, that when women in a normal, quote unquote, sexual embrace, if that's being made fake or that's being exposed, even if it's real, that is more, that it affects them and it defames their character more, because in the world right now, sex, just normal sex, the type of sex that most people have, heterosexual sex, is considered more defaming of women than it is for men. Yet, nonetheless, there are forms of sex that are more defaming for men than they are for women. Lesbian porn has a little bit less of a tinge. Gay porn and the experience of being dominated, that is itself creating all kinds of harassment. But The deepfake problem doesn't extend just to porn. The fact is that as long as deepfake technologies are out here, the same type of big consequences that are happening to women are going to happen to men too, in the form of them doing things, not necessarily sexually, but criminal or, you could make like I said earlier, you could make a deepfake video where a man is raping a woman, and that could potentially not only ruin his entire life, bring him into the court, but it would at least get him socially exiled if it was to be large enough. The conditions are different, but God damn it, the consequences are the same magnitude when it's the right form of harassment.
Great. So why do you support deepfakes?
I'm anti-deepfake.
Yeah, he's been anti-deepfake the whole
fuck?
time.
When did that happen?
Yeah, I've been the whole time.
I feel like you're the worst anti-deepfake advocate ever.
But
That's
I
because
think
he's
just like,
pro-sexuality.
yeah, it's bad, and also let's not legislate. I'm a little
No,
confused.
he's saying it's okay to be deepfake
just
in
for
private.
personal use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's bad to do it. I think it's bad to use it and to disseminate it. I think that the government has a vested interest in really, really surveilling, and I know they literally do because they already have many bills and they have much money supporting this, but figuring out exactly what deepfakes can do, how to decrypt them, how to know what is real and fake, because if we don't pay enough attention to these deepfakes, we're going to get to the same instances we did with the deepfake cheerleader story, where there are false positives, false negatives bringing people to arrest for things they haven't done. And that's only what the government can do. What the government can not do, unfortunately, is change the collective consciousness, because we are losing faith in empirical data. The fucking Andrew Tate abuse videos being called deepfake because now deepfake is this thing that's at everybody's fucking mind. This is going to create permanent damage to people's ability to trust the media, to trust the courts, to trust the government. There's no world where deepfake is allowed to just propagate unregulated without it affecting people massively. But here's the problem. You can't realistically regulate what people do in private.
Okay, gang. We have circled the drain on this for a bit. We have had a grand discussion. I want to give everyone here a chance to have a closing statement and to give their closing thoughts and to tell people where they can find them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Today's been a lot, okay? It's been a lot. Thank you for putting up with this, gang. It's been a panel. Thanks for coming. Doobie, go ahead. Where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm Doobie. I help run the politics server on Discord. Discord.gg/politics. We do AMAs and shit. It's a good time.
Oh, and just to be clear...
Also, Destiny will be on there tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, if you guys want to yell at him about it.
Go check him out on the Discord server. But real quick, we are not ending. I'm just ending the closed portion. Any of these people can stay if they'd like. If not, that's fine. But I'll be opening it up to my audience if you want to come in. But anyway, next up we have Kelly Jean, please.
I would rather none of these people in the chat come and find me, quite frankly, with all the shit that they're looking at me right now.
I want to be clear, just that, I want to be clear, if you come on...
I'm good, I'm gonna pass on the advertising.
You're an asshole. Yeah, just...
Advertisingly based.
Okay, passing on the advertising. Well, thank you for being here, and that's a...
No worries.
Okay, next up we have Femoid. Is what you go by now, I believe?
You can call me anything. Yeah, I'm Femoid, formerly known as Lav. My name's Leah. Rising from the ashes. I'm getting back into, streaming. Probably not super political though. But maybe. Who knows? I love to self-harm. Yeah, are we giving like final statements on this, or do we?
If you want, it's up to you.
Yeah, final statements is jack off to things that don't make other people feel bad. I think that's good.
I want to let you all know that
you sell people stuff you feel bad about.
Stop making this personal, you
Wait, what do you mean? I said... Wait, what do you mean?
We're on closing statement. Oh my god, stay for the open if you want to. But I will say that anything you jack off to, I will feel bad for. So no more jacking off, gang. Portland, go ahead.
All right.
Consent to all of it. I was right about all of it. You guys are wrong if you disagreed with me. Thanks.
I bet you have a lot of friends.
Fair enough.
I leave my house all the fucking time. How about you?
Oh god damn it. We're going to Smeth.
No, didn't think so.
All right. I'm Smeth.
Because you're annoying me.
Do you see a therapist?
I have an excellent therapist
I see
because
a
I have an
therapist.
income. I don't have to
Stop
sell my
making
body
it
to
about
a
yourselves.
So
Like,
here,
who
hold
are
on, we have
you?
it here.
wait for
So
it.
simultaneously encouraging
your
porn.
therapist this
Wait, one
video.
second, one second. Simultaneously encouraging porn
Show your therapist
consumption
the vi-
while
the VOD.
shaming Lav for making OnlyFans
Shut
shit.
the
Yeah,
fuck
you're
You see how that
proving
works?
all of my
You see
points,
the
bud.
schizophrenic
You're
shit? Porn is
proving
great, but
all
if you
of
do
my
it, I'm gonna
points.
shame you for it. You stupid.
Oh
Yeah.
God, I hate you. Smash,
Guys,
you have the
I
floor.
don't care if
All right.
the two of you
Yeah, I know you don't care.
think I've proved your point or not.
Your brain
You
is fucking
couldn't
fried by
explain
your
it.
need to.
I am
Literally.
Smeth. I'm
Yeah,
Smeth.
helps.
I'm Smeth. I'm real Smeth. Real Smeth. You can get a dose of your Smethadone. You can get some Smethamphetamine at Real Smeth. I put it in the fucking YouTube or Twitch chat. That's my YouTube. That's where I stream. That's where I put my videos. And I think that free speech reigns above all. So I think that means deepfakes should. I'm gonna think about the most immoral things, and you can't stop me. And I'm not gonna tell you what it is though. So
You don't actually believe in free speech.
Next up, we have Stardust.
Well, this panel has been absolute cancer. Thank you for hosting it, Wick. I appreciate you putting yourself through this type of torture. I just like to reiterate that I hate every single one of you on this panel. I hope all of you.
You're not edgy enough to pull this off, Stardust. I appreciate you trying. though.
I hope. Can you shut the fuck up, you stupid cunt? Okay. I hate every single one of you.
It's like being
and
insulted by a cute little child.
Can you shut the fuck up?
No, seeing you're angry turns me on.
Okay.
Sexualization of women.
Sexualized herself.
Yeah.
That's consent, guys. You're good to go.
I hope all of you have very inconvenient things happen to you over the next 48 hours. And you can find all of my links at links.fromstardust.net. Thank you.
Links.com, stardust.net. Check it out, gang.
Links.fromstardust.net. Yeah.
From
sorry.
stardust.net. Finally, we have Tuna Chip.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Tuna Chip. I'm here on Twitch. Tuna Chip, spelled just like the fucking stupid little logo. Yeah, final statement. Deepfakes and AI are a dangerous, dangerous technology that is going to completely uproot the society, everybody's trust in the public sector. You are never, ever going to live in a world where those are not being regulated. They are going to ruin the world.
Wonderful.
That's
We
it.
know what's going to kill us in the end. It's going to be Skynet, but not in the way we thought, gang. Gang, it has been a literal shit show. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for putting up with my guests. Thanks to my guests for putting up with all this. If you like the show, please donate to the channel by subs or bits, and consider following if you have not. If you like this content, reward me for doing it, because otherwise, God, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay, you're all free to go if you'd like. I'm going to bring on people. We got Miss Millie, Parallax, and Lime Mashed Potatoes who want to say stuff. You're free to stay or go. Up to you. But we are transitioning to an open show. So, yeah, we'll go until I don't get any more subs. And thank you, Jay Stay Play, for the 5 gift subs. I really appreciate it. Continue to give me money. Okay. Sick, you cannot come on tonight. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. It's just, that's the rule.
I'm not.
Let's bring them
We have
on.
enough low IQ people on the panel right now.
That's not the reason, but I love it.
It is not. Okay. Hello.
I need to go pee.
It's sort of the reason.
Put the dog back on the camera.
Okay, so
Dog.
for the new people, what did you think? Why are you here? Why would you volunteer to come into this shit?
I don't know why I ever fucking volunteered to come into this shit, but hi.
I kind of have to agree with that statement, but yeah.
Mostly because I think this is such a
Boring.
silly discussion. I think that first of all, like just in terms of practicality, like your kid's gonna be able to do this in 5 years with their fucking iPhone with one photo. Like just in terms of practicality. Second of all, you don't own your likeness. Third, in terms of like the most practical thing we could do at best is regulate distribution to some degree. And I think the best possible way you could regulate it is like, oh, you have to acknowledge this is a deep fake. That's as good as this is going to get, guys.
But you're
Parallax,
wrong.
do you think-
We were literally just discussing this in the backstage, Parallax. So we were just discussing this. So you
I
have
know, I was right there.
limited
That was-
rights. Yes, you have limited rights to your name and to your likeness. You do have limited rights. So if
Limited,
somebody is
correct.
creating, yes,
don't own it.
if somebody is creating a deep fake under your name with your likeness, then you should have absolute right to say, no, this shouldn't be created, and it shouldn't. Like, it's not okay. Granted, we can't like know what people are doing in their bedrooms at all time or what they're fucking thinking, but I don't think it's okay to be creating this shit. Just like full stop. Like, deepfakes shouldn't be fucking allowed.
What about
So we're
Photoshop?
policing now?
Parallax.
What
Can I
about
ask a question?
photoshopping of individual images?
Wait, one second,
Like,
please. I need to ask Parallax. So, Parallax,
Let's go, Dewey.
do you think that children should have access to porn? Or we should accept that children have access to porn?
I think that we do need to accept that that's a reality of the world. Yeah. I think
And
we do need to
okay,
accept
so we
that.
should
I'm not
allow
saying we
children
need
to access
provide it.
porn.
That's not what I'm saying. I think we need to accept that it's a reality of the world, and we need to treat it as best we can, just like any other uncomfortable.
Okay, so acknowledging that children can get access to porn very easily on their phones in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. So acknowledging that reality, what would you prescribe that we do about that, if anything?
I mean, what do you want to do? Like, I guess my question
I would
to you is
say
like,
a
what
parent should probably
alternative?
put like a child safety shit on their kid's phone.
Agreed.
So they can't access porn. Right.
Yep.
So this is why you saying,
Well,
hey,
I'd say that porn needs to be age gated, but
yeah, absolutely. But this is why. This is why.
yeah, that's not
Parallax.
really an age gate.
Parallax.
No, I agree.
This is why. You saying that your kid's going to be able to do this on their phone in the next 5 years is really stupid, right? Because we acknowledge that our kids can do bad things on their phone. Well, we take steps to stop that.
Right, we do, and yet our kids tend to outsmart us. This is just historically true. They tend to stay at least a few steps ahead of us.
But you don't make those things legal just because your kids go to outsmart you.
I'm not saying we make them legal. I'm just saying we have to accept the truths of the world, and the truth of the world is that in a few years, anybody with a smartphone, let's remove your kid. I'm sorry about the child part of the language. Lav's right, that's too fucking loaded for everyone. Your buddy at work is going to be able to take a fucking snap of you and generate deepfake porn of you in 3 years, 5 years, and that's just the reality we're going to live in, guys.
But that doesn't mean we should do anything about it.
Because in private locations, people aren't allowed to take photos of you. In public places, yes, you can be recorded, you can be photographed in public places. But in private situations, they're not allowed. They are not capable of taking photos of you and then also going behind your back and generating a profit off of that. I'm sorry, but fuck no.
Okay, so just what if what if you exit your workplace, okay, and you step out onto the very public sidewalk and I just snap a photo? I've done nothing illegal.
Okay,
Yeah,
it may not be illegal. It may not be illegal.
Hold on. We already have
I want to finish. I want to finish my theoretical.
I think
what if
legality
I
is
don't
kind
deepfake
of
it?
stupid.
What if I
don't
don't
think we should be
deep
talking
fake it?
Legality.
What if I just think you're hot and I bring it home and spank to it?
Because I think that what matters is that it actually is illegal to take upskirt photos in public of just random women.
That is
harassment.
Which would be an actual photo of her vagina without her consent.
I mean, even harassing her, even without her vagina, even without her genitals in the picture, that's sexual harassment.
No, taking a picture of someone in a public place is not sexual harassment.
Perfectly
No, I'm
legal.
sorry. There is, it is illegal to take
No,
photos
it's not.
of someone upskirt in public or to.
Upskirt, yeah, it's illegal to take upskirt photos.
We're not talking about.
We're not talking
about
about selfies, idiot. We're talking about nudes. We're talking about sexualizing them, idiot.
Yeah, you can.
We're not talking
You said that should be illegal too. Pay attention, dipshit.
No, God, we're not talking.
You're not following, Portland.
Stop.
Bullshit. Hold on.
I'm following just fine. You guys can't handle there being
Okay,
more than
I'm
one
gonna be much more
fucking
heavy-handed on the
factor to
mutes,
equation,
okay?
and I'm sorry that
I'm gonna
that's
be
like
much more heavy-handed on the
explicit
mutes.
photos
Portland,
always illegal.
stop. Oh, thank you. Okay, Miss Millie, you had some things to say, and I want to let you in because again, and gang, I know the people. I see the people backstage, but there's a lot on here. As people leave, and I'm sure they will, they'll get frustrated and leave. We will bring you on. Okay, cool. Miss Millie, you have the floor. Go ahead.
Okay. We're not talking about taking upskirts. We're talking about people taking photos of you and being able to create sexualized content using your likeness.
That's not what I said, to be clear.
Okay. Then why are you coming in here to talk about deepfakes then? This was all under the pretense of it being sexualized content of a specific person without their consent. So why are you here?
Because I'm making this as simple as it is for you guys to understand how fucking ridiculous this take is.
But you're not. There's no need for you to come in here and make this simple. You're literally not talking about what the the discussion
You're
is
dumbing
here.
it down for yourself, not for us.
I promise I'm dumbing it down for you guys.
No, no.
Okay.
Okay.
So
No, we're not.
I'll still stand
Anyways,
I'll still
let me
stand on the
finish my
hill that
fucking
deepfakes
point.
are fine. Go ahead.
Whatever.
So
We're
deepfake
not
porn
talking.
specifically is fine,
Totally fine.
and distributing that is fine.
I think you could regulate distribution. I wouldn't care.
Smart.
In what
Wait,
way?
hold on.
If somebody
Hold on,
wants
wait,
to
wait, wait,
create
wait.
it of themselves and have consent or provide consent to someone else, that is fine. But when
Yeah.
something is made without the consent of someone and distributed and being made a profit off of somebody else's likeness and name, that is absolutely not okay.
But that's
Yeah, but
already
I
a different law.
Even without
That's a
the
moral-
okay, can we stop talking about legality? Even without the profit, I think we would still have issues with that, right? Like Melly, you also say if it's totally free, nobody's making any money, it's still not okay, right?
Still not okay. Yeah, it's still not okay.
I
So
don't have that issue.
so
though.
parallax, right? So wait, so you don't have that issue? So if it's totally free, nobody's making any money off of this deep fake porn that's being put out. You think it's totally fine? It should be allowed.
I think there is conversation to be had about like the regulation of distribution or whether distribution's okay. I think that the debate should have centered around whether you can actually create the content or not, but it didn't. I don't know. The debate it spun around.
We're having the
Yeah.
discussion
So
right now.
are we talking
When you
about
say there's discussion
distribution?
to be had, that's what
what I'm
we're doing
asking right now. Do you
at
want
this
to talk
moment.
about distribution or creation right now?
Both?
I'm
So
fine with
we can
creation,
leave
and
creation on the
I'm-
table. Sure, that's the
yeah,
thing
I'm
that
fine with
happens. Is distributing it, whether or not you're making money, is that okay? Do you think that's ethical?
I'm ambivalent.
You just don't care.
No, I really don't. I don't think it's
Why
that
the
big a deal.
fuck are you here then?
So why does it? Wait, hold on. So why does
No,
it become a
because-
problem? Why does
no,
it
the
become
point
a
is-
problem when money is made? Why does it become a problem when money is made?
Oh no, I don't care if the money's made either.
Oh, so you just swapped your
Why are
position
you
like,
here?
in the last 10 seconds.
I'm going to repeat the question. Parallax, why are you
Mans
here?
doesn't even know why he's here.
Because I think that it's okay. Let me be clear. I have no issue with it. That is my stance. It's not that I don't care. I don't care that everyone's so butthurt about it. I think it's ridiculous.
Probably because it doesn't
everyone's
affect
so
you,
upset
does it,
about
mate?
Oh, yeah.
It never affects me. Can't affect me.
I'd watch deepfake porn.
I
Parallax.
know. Who's gonna see watch deep fake?
Well,
porn
you're
you?
just stating you don't care if it's being made
Jesus
or being
Christ. All right,
distributed.
whoa, whoa,
so it
whoa,
wouldn't
whoa,
affect you
clearly
then, right?
affects him.
It wouldn't affect you if somebody's making it
Can
of
I get in on
you.
this?
Would
Can
you
I get
care
in
if
on
somebody
this?
made a
Whoa,
deep
whoa,
fake of you?
Can
Are you
I get
gonna
in on
care if
this?
somebody makes one?
I genuinely
Can
don't.
I get in on
I will
this?
give you all the
Wait.
facts and you-
Stabby. Just Stabby the floor. Stabby, you got the floor. Go ahead.
Thank you. If I can get in on this, it doesn't matter if we're talking about the morality, the legality, or just like if it's cringe or not. There's only one place we can actually talk about this, and that is distribution. We literally cannot talk about it anywhere else. For instance, we already have precedent for this and how our society handles it. So if you share images that were shared under the assumption of privacy that person uses as what we now call revenge porn, it's the action that they've used your photograph for, and that is what we actually prosecute, and that is what we have a problem with. People creating it, you can't do anything about it. Ladies, if you've given nudes to an ex and he is still using them to jack off to, I mean, get over it. It's 15 seconds and he's going to be like slightly dumber than he was before.
Finn,
It's
we're not
fine.
talking about
Look,
nudes
I'm
that
gonna
people
say,
made. We're
look,
talking about
it's-
deep fakes. You know? Do you know what we're talking about?
Same
We're
thing,
not talking
same
about
thing. If
nudes.
they make
A
nudes
person
and
who's
Same thing.
rescinded
Shut
their
the fuck up.
consent in the
It's
case
the
of a
same
deep
thing.
It's not the same thing. First off,
You can
It is.
rescind your
Secondly-
consent
It is.
in the
Oh,
case
God.
of a fucking nude, and it's exactly the same as a deep fake, morally speaking, from that point on. They're both images you're using without the consent of the person that they're of.
Yes.
It's exactly the fucking
Okay,
same.
so if that's where you want to go, then some people in here are okay with nudes being like nudes being shared
ride or
around
die with that.
without consent.
No,
Without
the
consent.
distribution.
That's-
Shared around.
Hold on,
Shared
hold on.
around is the distribution.
Stop. Shut
You
up.
stop.
Because
Shut up,
multiple
Doobie.
people in here said that they're okay with distribution. So if
Who?
it's the same,
Who said they're okay with distribution?
Parallax just said that.
Parallax
Okay.
said that there's a conversation to be had about distribution. I
No,
don't
he said
think
he's
that
okay with it. He doesn't understand.
He said he didn't care.
Parallax
He said
does
that we
not
can-
understand.
He says he
why
doesn't
it's-
care. He
Please
says he
stop.
doesn't care.
Please stop.
He said we can regulate it.
Parallax said that it would be okay, or he doesn't have an issue with people sharing around other people's nudes then without consent.
That's not true. That's a completely
That's not
different
what he
piece.
said
so-
at all. What the
Hold on.
fuck?
I do
If you're
not think you
comparing-
can
if you're
share a
comparing-
real nude with a fake body put on someone, or with someone's actual likeness being put on someone else's body. I don't think
Okay,
you can
so
compare that
Parallax.
to a real nude.
So Parallax, I agree with you, but then explain to Portland why a deep fake porn, right, is not the same as an actual nude of someone being leaked. Because he says they're the
that's
same
his
thing.
responsibility to figure out. I don't need to figure that out. I don't think they're the same.
Well, why aren't
No.
they to you?
Yeah, tell us
If
what
you
you think.
rescind
Because one is an
consent from
actual
someone,
nude that someone
you're saying
provided
you have
me.
to have consent from someone to masturbate to them, okay? If someone sends you nudes and then your relationship fractures, you can assume some implied retraction of consent. So you are effectively doing the same thing, masturbating to a nude that you received consensually, but that the relationship has like changed states since then, as you are of masturbating to a manufactured deep fake that doesn't actually leave your possession. Neither of them are consensual in the context that
I
you're
want to
using.
get Stardust in here. Stardust, go ahead.
I made a Pepe Sylvia chart on this, okay? And I want to
The
share
time
it
has
with you.
the time has passed. The time has passed.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
chart.
Yeah, fuck your chart. Unironically.
I don't know what a Pepe Silva chart is. So.
It's a
fuck Pepe
conspiratorial
too.
type of chart. But Stardust, I appreciate you making it. Okay,
Tune
carrying on.
You can send it
go
to me,
ahead.
Stardust, so I can learn.
So when we're looking at the people sharing nudes and sharing it between one another, the main reason that this is bad, and one of the main reasons that it's bad when it's like revenge porn, even if it's not being put onto a website where that's open, is because you are sharing something that is actually shared under a certain form of consent, but then is being distributed under a different form. You don't have consent for the distribution. So this is like a asymmetrical thing, right? It was consensually made, unconsensually distributed. That's why that's bad. The difference here, though, is that there was no consent necessary in order to make the deepfake. The deepfake, now, if you're taking a private picture without them knowing in private, then that is actually illegal, but for a different reason. The deepfake is usually made using content that somebody puts on the internet voluntarily for people to look at, knowing that they can download it. Then that person can do whatever they want, and you are an adult, you know what people can do on their computer, you know what deepfaking is, so you put on only the information, and that's where your consent is. I consent to put out my face, knowing that my face can be used. Distribution's different because you never put your image on the internet with a consent for it to be edited into porn and then put into other people's fucking phones and put on the internet and defame your character. You didn't consent to that. That's the crucial difference.
The other thing that I think are you? I think the thing that people don't mention when you're saying what you're saying is the propensity for harassment is like so likely. Like it's obviously incredibly likely, but in my mind, my argument is that I imagine a world where it becomes so ubiquitous that it's just impossible to harass somebody with it, and I think we're going down that path. I think it's a can of worms that you can't close.
100%.
So like, and I don't think that I think there's going to be growing pains and there's going to be suffering because of that, and it's not like I think we should just not protect those people. We still should protect those people. But
the conversation should be around distribution, right?
I think your argument's really silly, because to me, what this sounds like is, hey, it's almost ubiquitous. We should make it more ubiquitous, so that everybody's consent is violated at all times, so it doesn't matter.
Well, no, that's not my argument. That's not my argument. My argument is that the thing that makes it wrong is harassment, and barring that, it just existing, if that bothers
that's not
you.
true.
I do think that's true, and if it just existing bothers you outside of harassment or causes negative effects to you, it's not implicit to the fact that it's there. It's a problem with society and our shame of people's sexuality and stuff. And once it becomes ubiquitous, once everybody's sexual imagination is now uploaded into the internet, which is now like our fucking unibrain, now like we're just going to be beyond that, and that's going to probably happen within the next it's going to happen within the next 50 years or 100 years.
Maybe.
I think
So
there's
what
going to be a
you're saying-
rebellion.
So what you're saying is, as long as it's not causing any harm to the person, it should be okay.
Yeah,
Is that what
basically
you're
he's saying
saying?
that so if a woman has her nudes like leaked, right? Like let's say she has them on her iCloud, and because we're the unibrain, everybody has access to her nudes, right? They can just click onto a folder and get her nudes.
Right.
She shouldn't be ashamed.
That's not what I'm
Sounds
saying.
like that's what you're saying.
So what are you saying? Are you saying
I am
it's
saying
okay as long as it's not causing harm?
The leaking of her noobs is a malicious act. It could happen that
Why?
she just does it. Because it almost always is, like I said earlier, it's almost always going to be.
Yeah. What if there's no harassment involved?
Exactly.
Right?
So
what if someone just wants to jerk off
right.
to her nudes, so
That's
they
what
pull
I'm
them from
going.
her computer?
Yes, and so let's say she flubs it and she accidentally puts it all online, and then people are just jerking off to it. That is horrific and it would cause trauma to her, but only in the context of the society that we live in. And it's not fair that it does cause. It's not fair. It's not reasonable that our naked bodies should be something we're ashamed of. And I think that the more ubiquitous like we are of sharing all of our like fucking sexual fantasies and shit like that, more that's just out in the open and we can't like fucking close our nose to it.
People don't want to do that. There are definitely people that don't want to do that.
It's not a kink. It's not a kink.
You're projecting your own morality stance on this onto other people. Some people
I'm making it's not a morality stance. It's a psychological stance. I'm saying that
he's okay. Whether it's your psychological stance or whatever the fuck it is, some people just don't want that shit out there. Some people are a bit more private with their shit, and they don't want that.
He's posing the question: why don't you?
Yes,
because some people aren't openly sexual like you are, and that's
why.
Mm-hmm. The preference.
There could be 1,000 different reasons why. What are you talking about?
Well, first of all, nothing's just a preference if you know anything about psychology. But also, I think that he's making a salient point, which is that like,
oh my God,
because of women's sexual repression, this means more to us than maybe it even should. Which
this is ridiculous.
Stop here. No, I'm stepping in again. I'm sorry. Wait, stop. I'm sorry. I'm a polyamorous woman. I am a fucking polyamorous woman. I am very sexually open. I'm also modest. I don't really show off, and I don't like nudes. I don't share nudes. I don't have an OnlyFans. I don't do any of those things, and I dress pretty modestly. I was also a soldier in the United States military. One of the things that happens here is that despite the fact that I am very openly sexual, I'm a very sexualized human being, those images were used to bully me. They would put, when I opened my case against the United States government for gang rape in the military, they would put my image on these like gangbang photos and be all like, well, she asked for it, didn't she? Look, she's right here. Sure. That's a fucking problem. That's harassment. I am an openly sexual person.
You're misunderstanding what Smith is saying.
Yeah, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying that's absolutely bad.
Smith is purely hypothetically. Smith is talking about a future in which the reason why they bullied you with that is because it is bad to be sexual as a woman. It makes you impure. Nonsense. It makes you a slut.
Nonsense.
It makes you whatever. And that's the way that society sees it. That's why they used it as fuel because they knew how to feel.
Women are women.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Both of these things. Yeah. Both of these things can completely be true.
In a different country.
That's hypothetical.
In a different country, you could do deep fakes of people showing their hair, and that would be like scandalous. Yeah. But that's just unimaginable to us in North America. We're like thought of seeing someone's hair is like something so shame. So I'm saying that if it genuinely, I'm using this word so much, if it genuinely becomes ubiquitous to the point that it's like seeing a woman's hair, like if you can Google any woman and the deep fakes just are fucking meticulated in front of you, and you'll never assume that any of those are real. It's just gonna be like, oh well, like this is just a tool you can use for your imagination, but it's not going to be any type of character impunity.
The question is, should we fight against that or should we accelerate to it? And I think most people here are saying, I could be wrong, that is not a place we want to live. That is not a state of being we want to have happen. And so we should oppose that.
Wait, I'm cautioning. You interrupted me, lad. Shut the fuck up. I am cautioning against this idea that we're going to be in this society that is post female sexual repression, because there are a lot of people that just don't want to like show off their bodies, don't want to be particularly sexual. This idea that we're going to pressure them into being okay with this is never going to happen. It's
I don't think he ever said pressured. He has
that is what he's saying.
Smith has a utopian pipe dream, and he can give it to us to think over, and I think that's all he wants to do.
Yeah, but even in that utopian pipe dream, if there's one woman that doesn't want her body exposed, she still has that right.
I understand that and I think Smith also understands the world that we live in right now, where his utopian pipe dream does not exist, so we have to deal with it as it is.
Yeah, but he's advocating for going toward that pipe dream.
Why wouldn't he, as an individual, want that for himself?
Well, actually,
he didn't say that all of us have to feel that way. He was posing a question.
I'm not advocating.
Wait. The reason it doesn't make any sense because this is akin to saying that the reason rape is a problem is because women feel sexually violated.
No.
So if we just normalize going around and putting your dick in people whenever the fuck you want, and it's not a big deal. It's just like shaking hands, or it's just like bumping somebody on the train. Then rape.
That's
exactly
wouldn't be
an issue.
No.
So actually, if we want to reduce the damage that rape does to people, we should just make fucking people at random totally common.
We get your fucking point. No. Like it's not the same whatsoever.
Why? Why isn't it?
How's it different?
But also,
You're removing
it's
somebody's
utterly
sexual agency.
I do not think that. I do not think like so. If everybody, if you can already imagine anybody nude right now, and you already said, oh, it's immoral to jack off to someone without their consent. Oh, I love jacking off to people with their consent, but like that costs money, or that costs fucking time and emotional investment to get. Most of the time, most of the time you're just going to fucking jerk off real quick.
Your brain's fried.
Your brain's fried. Look.
No,
your brain
you can. There are
specifically is
literally porn sites, hundreds of porn sites out there that have free fucking content that have people that have given their consent prior.
That's not no. I'm saying those don't count.
That doesn't take any money.
That doesn't count to me.
That doesn't take any emotional investment.
Yeah.
There's literally hundreds of shit that's out there.
I get it. That I don't count that as consent. I count all the porn industry as massive amounts of coercion.
Okay, so a woman, when it comes to this situation, she absolutely should have consent. But when she actually invests her time and puts herself into the porn industry, then all of a sudden she's being coerced and she doesn't have any consent.
The utopian future.
Mad?
Yeah, I am.
Mad?
The utopian future that I'm talking about, it has no coercion of women. You can just use this.
You don't need a coercion.
Hold on, real quick.
Because he's changing something on its basis, which is that there is no shaming women for having a sexuality, which is a world that we don't understand right now because we don't live in it.
It's not
Can I
even
ask
about shame.
No one can ask anything real quick. No one can ask anything. Stop. I want to let Millie finish her thoughts and finish her say. Or are you done? If you're done, we can move on. Are you done, Millie?
Yeah, I'm done. We can.
Can I fix one thing? One thing that was said about me?
No, you cannot.
I must.
No, you can. I'm telling you, no. No means no. I know Smith might be hard for you, but no means fucking no. And I will, of course,
hold on.
This. So there we go. Okay.
Now I'm on Smeth's team. I kind of wanted to do it without your consent. Okay. No, Lav, do you feel that that you're coerced into participating in sex work via the financial pressures, even though you think that it's a negative experience for you and for society? Like, do you feel like there's a coercive factor at play there?
So I think that this is pretty complicated. I think right now, no. I think I'm making an active choice right now, right?
You're making an active choice under no coercive influence to hurt women for your own self-improvement.
Well, no. So this is a little, because that's pretty loaded because whatever. That was a quick statement.
Fucking right it was.
But
yes.
Basically, so I don't know if you know any of my story, but I got into sex work when I was homeless. I was homeless. I had no education. I was kicked out of my home. I was, whatever. I had no formal education. I was extremely mentally ill, could not pay for a psychiatrist, could not do anything. So I had to make, I was sort of groomed by someone who worked at the Hooters that I was at to participate in full service sex work. And then I did full service sex work for about a year, and then I decided to go on to Patreon before OnlyFans was a big thing. So yes,
in that case, there's obviously
it wasn't a decision that's I'm going to choose what ice cream flavor I have, right? It was still a decision that I made, but it was a little hairy, right? I needed quick money fast. And so I was like, this is what I have to do now. Because, there's a couple things at play. One, it's an addiction. Sex work is an addiction. I've tried to leave. It is very hard to leave. And obviously I've talked about the power dynamic with, what I'd like in a relationship. So this is what makes sense for me right now. If there was something like UBI, or if there was something like, it's either this or I qualify for, a disability with my mental health issues. I could be on disability, but I feel like that would be worse to take someone else's money when I can just suck it up and be a little unhappy while I'm taking nude photos for 15 minutes a day. Does that still make me feel bad? Absolutely. I still know that I am actively, but there's also things that I can do harm reduction. There are some things that I won't do on OnlyFans. I won't pretend to be a child. I won't, do any age play. I won't do anything where I'm compromising my own safety. I'm not going to do throat fucking. I'm not going to let anyone choke me. I'm not going to do whatever, right? Okay. I do very softcore stuff, and I think that's harm reduction.
Is the part of sex work that's addicting, is it the money or is it the actual work itself?
It's all of it. I think it's the narcissistic highs and lows of compliments.
It's harm reduction. It's you feel that you are limiting the amount of harm that you're doing, but you're not like reducing the amount of harm being done, right? Because
I am, because when women do age play, that is harmful to society.
Sure, but Lav, you said yourself that
I'm not doing something. I'm not contributing to the not doing of it. I'm just not doing it, right?
I'm reducing harm, increasing benefit.
But Lav, you said before that porn leads to more extreme forms of porn. It's a slippery slope. By making porn, you are making an economy for porn. You are making a road towards that extreme type of porn. Now, if you think, let me just finish this point really quick. If you think that making porn that is like safer for women, if people emulate it, is like a moral good, that's fine. But you also have to contest that against your previous points that porn itself makes a pornified world. It makes it so that people spend money on porn. You're just a step on the ladder.
Well,
right?
In the way that hold on, let me answer.
Let Lav respond.
So in the way that it exists right now, I believe that is true, and it's why I advocate for a world in which corporations or companies like a Girls Way or whatever can't make more and more violent porn, right? If every single, and this is what I advocate for an OnlyFans, just direct consumer actor to consumer, in which you can pay for them to do whatever they want, and there's no like company that's forcing women to do harder and harder things, because I know I don't want there to be a supply. I know there's a demand. I don't want there to be a supply. Unfortunately, there is right now, because people are making way too much fucking money to do hardcore shit like that. But that's not necessarily my problem, and I advocate against it.
Just real quick, Nick's in chat. This combo should move away from Lav's choices. I agree. Like, we could interrogate Lav another day, but we're here to discuss a topic. And as it relates to it, that's fine. But let's try to keep on point as much as we possibly can.
Portland just away from the hypocrisy.
Portland needs a way to call me a slut.
Can I
move away
solidify
from
what
all the
my point was
hypocrisy and get back
towards?
to the real discussion?
My point was leading towards an important part on this itself. One of your greatest arguments against people making their own porn in private was the idea that the action was nurturing what I know you understand as an addiction, using pornography. It's creating a pornified brain. My point here is everybody makes those moral decisions individually. Everybody has their own virtues and tries to live within their own virtues, precisely because legislating against it and also making any other form of large power structure that enforces that on people individually doesn't actually cure addiction. Addiction is not cured by legislation. It is cured by recovery. What we would rather do to fix the pornified brain is make it so that porn addiction is something that people go into recovery for. We want to fund that. We don't just make it illegal. That's how we fix this problem. It's the whole idea.
And the way that we fix this problem, like I was saying before, those images I have shared with an intimate partner willingly, or a former intimate partner, like making deep fakes of me or something like that. Those are things I don't have control over. It's when the distribution occurs or when harassment toward me in any way, shape, or form begins that I have anything I can do about it. And as long as we keep that avenue open, we're going to be fine.
Yep.
I do want to make a point here, is that somebody had stated, I don't remember who, that like you can clearly tell when it was or not a deep fake. People can go on there and they know. What if it's distributed in a format where people don't know it's deep fake? What if it's posted onto a forum of any kind, and then people see that and realize it as truth and don't know that it's a deep fake? I don't think that's being addressed here either at this point.
We did discuss that earlier, because that happened to me specifically, and I was
okay. I might have. Then I missed that part in the discussion, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's obviously not good. And so I think what I pointed out is like the majority of people are fucking stupid, right? So they even if the deepfake's kind of shitty, they can potentially see it as being real anyway. So whether it looks good or not is irrelevant, in my opinion. It's still bad.
because
as
it goes,
time goes
it's
on.
not just in a sexual format either. It's something that can incriminate someone. It's something that can be used against high political figures. It can be used in so many fucking formats that I don't see any benefit for any of these deepfakes to be made.
But
I mean,
in
and
high
slander in picture
situations like
form
that,
is-
digital forensics experts can assess the validity of a deepfake in pretty short order. So if there's large political
Okay, but
circumstance,
then
like
something gets put out on the media, it gets posted as if it was true, and this happens all the fucking time in the media, or not even in the media itself, online. It happens all the fucking time where something gets posted and people are going to believe it immediately, and then they don't verify it afterwards, or then
yes,
they don't they don't
absolutely.
ever hear the information afterwards. So this is why it's
That's
a
absolutely
huge
true,
fucking
but that's
problem.
a problem with how we have
that one-
that's a problem with information literacy as a culture. It's not a problem with deepfakes specifically. We do that with everything.
For the record,
Deepfakes
in
is just
reality,
going to-
for reality, wait. In all reality, for that particular situation, it is actually going to take somebody that has the money or the time, etc. Like, I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but the amount of pornography that people put AOC's face on, especially violent pornography, is absolutely fucking insane. We're going to need those higher up people. We're going to have to pressure them into suing the people that have done this. They might be wealthier, like Emma Watson, for instance. They might be wealthier than the person who distributed the pornography, but we're going to need those precedent-setting civil suits so that we can deal with the defamation and libel side of things. And we're going to have to pressure our politicians, like AOC, for instance, and the things that are being done to her likeness. And they're going to have to sue the fuck. Like, literally, the whole society takes part in mocking the complete
let's
ruination
be
of
honest,
a person's
the
life.
common people don't have the money to fight this shit. They just don't.
So they're going to have to absolutely fucking decimate the poor guy who like made Emma Watson's underage likeness like fuck Dumbledore or whatever. They're going to have to start fucking suing for that, and we're going to have to start pressuring these higher up people to do that, even though they're rich, so that we can actually discourage people from making this kind of thing. And there is a civil suit side of this that we can talk about, but what we really have to make sure that we are actually holding down the fort on is when it's used as harassment, is continuing to treat deepfake porn or things like this as a version of harassment. And if we can keep that, especially if it causes harm, like a woman runs for office, instantaneously hundreds of men have our image photoshopped on all of these compromising positions. That's on purpose, and we need to start holding that accountable and start treating that like harassment. Because I promise you, in something like a divorce, my ex-husband sending my nudes to my employer was really wonderful about it. He understood what was going on, and like they helped me, and that the judge fucked him over for that. That's the kind of thing that we're going to see from the
And
courts.
that's not always going to be the case when it comes to your job. You were probably one of the lucky few where your job was understanding, where there are those people, unfortunately, don't have that option, where their job's going to be like, hey, yo, we don't want to get involved in this mix up. We're just going to have to let you go. There are plenty of companies that are just going to be looking out for their bottom line and don't give a shit about you.
Right. And we have to be careful about that. But my point is that the courts are doing something about it. Maybe not your job, but the courts are doing it.
Okay, got you. Tuna, your arm's gonna fall off, so please do us all a favor. And then I want to hear from Sansol too, because Sansol hasn't had a chance to speak. So go ahead, Tuna and Sansol.
Yeah, so right now, the main landmark case that's going to come out, if Cutie Cinderella does actually pursue legal action, this is going to update defamation so we can actually get a good understanding of what it needs to look like with this new technology. Now, when it comes to the courts, the main thing that we need to do, we already have court-appointed attorneys if a person cannot provide themselves. Right now, we are going to get to the point where we need court-offered, free, state-offered, funded digital forensics for evidence. Now, if that isn't already like obvious, now you have to just imagine what happens if deepfakes get made of someone that doesn't have the money and doesn't have the platform to go on the platform and say, hey, that porn's fake. That's the lucky thing with the women that got exposed right now. But when it comes down to people that are poorer, and when it comes down to people that have like a normal, I sounded like fucking Tate for a second. When it comes down to people that have a normal amount of money and they don't have the ability to finance it, they have already seen issues. A woman got arrested, and until it got brought to the court and the digital forensics de-verified the accused deepfake, they just believed it was a deepfake and actually put her under arrest for it. This is why we need this. This is the political message.
to remove from Google and such, the reality is the majority of this kind of stuff will be hosted in countries that we just can't get taken down. But it should be easier to remove from being easily able to find, and not expensive as it is at the moment.
I think we should
pressure
pressure
in other countries. If anybody has it within the states or acquires it, same thing with the shit that you guys were talking about, the CP. If anybody acquires it, it should just be outright illegal. You shouldn't have it.
Okay.
Right. Well,
What about if it's just a fake of someone like walking down the street? It's a security cam footage of someone doing something innocuous. Like, at what point do we say like you're not allowed to use this technology for this? When effectively it is the same as rendering any other kind of art project.
People can have a photograph of a child. If that child is having sex, it's illegal. Like it's just not
no shit. But you're saying
so
that
why are you
like, I'm
pretending
not
that
allowed.
Why are you bringing that up? Then why are you bringing it? Why are you bringing up the whole like security cam? Like if somebody's doing something stupid on a security cam or somebody's
because
breaking
you can
into some shit,
defame
like whatever,
people
that's
or
one...
damage their reputation or damage their brand value in ways other than sexually. So
that's already covered.
If
someone is already taking footage of someone and presenting it in a false light, that's already covered under defamation.
Yeah, so what about
so then we'll see
not
issue.
anything? You're saying that deepfake technology should not be in the hands of your average person at all because they have the capacity to do these things with it that we would consider illegal or inappropriate, like depicting someone sexually.
I think it should be highly
But if they're not.
That's solved by making a digital forensics a right in court.
Then we can take pens. Then we can take pens.
Gang. One at a time, because I can't hear any of you, right? I want Stabby to be able to finish her thought, and then Sansel to get a takeout at all. So.
Okay, so the reason I used what I have been through before, and the reason I use that is because there's a very clear delineation between when we had to stop that image and when that image just existed and there was nothing wrong with it. And it's how the perpetrator used said image. And that's what the law is predicated upon. Our morals are obviously predicated upon far more, but not everybody has the same morals. So it's not, we don't like, oh, you can't have deepfake, you can't have this, you can't have these, you can't have pens because you might, draw booba on the side of your homework. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that the actions that you use the image for are what we can do something about. That's it. That's all I wanted to say.
Some of the people on the panel are trying to assure that. Some of the people on the panel.
Look, I'll be honest. I don't fucking
thing.
I'm going to stand for my case because I know he's coming after me. The reason that I don't like it is because it's currently only being used in negative cases right now. Far more cases right now are being negative on these deep fakes. People are creating all these pornographic and sexualized content of people when they shouldn't be.
But we don't have positive cases. We have innocuous and uses that don't attract attention. You're talking about like the ones that do and don't.
Sansel, go ahead.
Sansel, sorry.
All I was gonna say, I wanted to kind of move the conversation away from the legal thing because none of us know exactly what's going to happen. All we can sit here and say is like, oh, well, I think this is a cool idea, or I think that's a cool idea. I guess I listened to the second half of the panel. I didn't get to hear the whole thing. And I was just wondering where people were at with why they care about deep fakes. Like, why do you think that they're bad? Or I don't think that there's anyone here that's saying that they're good, right?
I feel like
I can repeat my story if you would like. I can do a TLDR.
They're morally neutral and they can be used in good and bad ways.
I think what she's saying is bad.
Maybe the
but that's
person that's
harassment.
been affected poorly by this could speak. I don't know.
Ellie Jean, go ahead. It's funny how much they like to interrupt you, but
it is what it is. But yeah, about 6 years ago when I'd started streaming also, people like photoshopped and also just cut the head off of random girls that kind of looked like me body-wise and said I was a cam girl. So it was like slander and then slander in picture form. I got harassed on my stream and through social media. There was always threats like, we're going to send this to your family and this kind of shit. So it was like very stressful. And then it turned out there was an actual Twitch partner who admitted to it later because his ex-girlfriend called him out for abuse, that had been coming into my stream, making up fake donos with his friends to harass me about this shit too, which he thought was funny because he believed that I was a cam girl. So not only were people seeing fake nudes and me saying, hey, they're fake, but me also having to deal with the reality that a lot of people thought it was real and therefore thought it was okay to degrade me over something that wasn't even true. He even put in his apology, I've been in quotations when he had to admit it, that The part of the reason why he thought it was okay to degrade me is because he thought it was real. And I'm like, well, even if it had been real, it wouldn't have been okay to do that kind of shit. Especially someone else that was on my sponsorship team, right? So that's why it affects people, because it can affect their reputation negatively.
That's still a problem with distribution, not with the creation of it in the first place.
Sure,
Sorry.
but as I already said, and as you already know, because you've been here the entire time, that even if you make them yourself on your computer, leaks happen. Even if you didn't
and that is true.
That literally what happened recently.
If you have a thought,
that doesn't disprove anything I said, you dumb fuck. That doesn't matter.
If you have a
Having
thought,
two things therefore make it a problem.
is immoral by that logic.
If you have a thought, you might leak it by saying it accidentally.
There's a substantive
What does
difference
this prove?
here. Okay.
Yeah, there'll be consequences if you do these things too in a negative as well.
I'm gonna be real with you.
It doesn't matter.
How about this? Would you have cared if nobody had seen the deep fakes?
I wouldn't know, so I wouldn't be able to care.
There you go.
Well,
so it wouldn't have been an
you knew that
interaction.
they
It would have
existed,
been an action.
Let's hear
but
Sansol.
you didn't see anybody else viewing them, right? Someone sent them to you and said, "Hey, I made this of you because I think it's really, really, really hot." Right?
No, because that's still against my consent, right? That's like sending me
What
an
the fuck are you
unsolicited
supposed to have an
dick
opinion
pic.
on something that you don't know of?
No, I didn't say that she didn't know about it. I'm saying that.
No, but your
nobody else
question
does.
was, if you didn't know about it, would you still care? How the fuck are you supposed to
Sorry,
know?
maybe-
how are you
maybe
supposed
I
to care about something
misphrased
if you
it,
don't
but
know
that's
about
why
it?
Right. Okay. So
He's making a point.
Maybe I misphrased it the initial way.
Oh my
right?
God! So many people have tried to explain it.
I don't.
No,
know
like,
how the fuck
I
I'm
think-
supposed to fucking
Yes,
speak,
the
but
whole
every
point
single
is,
time I get
in
three
this
fucking
mystical
words out.
vacuum where people are sitting at home making these deepfakes only for themselves, and they're behind the most protection ever. They're like fucking Fort Knox or some shit. That therefore it is okay, even though that
I'm sorry, did
hypothetical
I say
doesn't
any of
fucking
that?
exist in real life, and that's why it doesn't fucking.
Yes,
matter.
it does. Oh my
We've
God.
already
You're
stated.
dumb.
We've already stated.
But
We can't
the
just
illusion-
do
Do you want to
Everyone-
look at the full thing?
parameters
Do you want the
just
full
laid
thing?
out.
If you
It's
just
everyone
want to like the
to be
baseline question,
everyone, I'm
do you want the
tired of
baseline
this.
question? This is what it is. All right. The baseline question was, if you like, do you care about you being like photoshopped onto it in the first place, or do you care about it like affecting you outside of that?
I
Does
don't
the initial
like it
viewing
either
of
way,
it?
but I
Okay,
can't
well that
do
was the
anything
fucking
about it,
question. Holy
can I?
fucking shit!
Okay.
You don't have to get so fucking
And with
triggered
that-
for the simple.
and with
Probably
that-
because you
goddamn.
admittedly didn't watch the first half. That's why
And
I'm
with
fucking-
Well, that's
that-
why I
and
asked
with
the question.
that-
What the fuck?
And with that, I'm tired. I'm going to
Don't
go
be a
eat.
bitch.
I am
Oh, come
hungry.
my
on,
God.
please let
We're
me.
going
Wick.
to shut this down.
Wick.
Yes.
Quick.
Because, gang, I always leave them wanting more. And I got to tell you, I have no idea why you do not want, like, why any of you want more to this. But for now, stop.
Deep that you're still
Stop.
here, and I keep the panel going.
If you keep deepfake,
As long as
that's
Laugh
fine.
doesn't come back.
We're gonna raid out into Stardust because she was gracious enough to come on this panel.
All right.
Are
I
we
will-
continuing the panel somewhere else?
Can we keep
If you
on
guys
talking
want, I
more?
don't care what you
Sure.
do after I leave. You
No,
guys
I
can do
wasn't
whatever
asking.
the
No,
fuck
I
you
wasn't
want.
asking you, Wick. I was
Okay.
asking everybody
Hey,
else.
I'll keep talking.
I've got a lot.
keep
I've got a
talking
lot
for a
to
little
say
bit.
about this. If anyone wants to have another conversation another time.
Okay, for now though, Monday 6 p.m. Eastern is my next content. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but check it out. It'll be great. For now, I bid thee adieu.
All right.
Thank you for putting up with that, gang. That
No,
was
Thank you for putting up with me too.
that was
That was
something.
a hell of a. That was a
Thanks
hell
for
of a
having me,
little
Wick.
Sorry,
exchange
Kelly
there.
Jean, that this was your first exposure, but you saw the dog panel. You knew what you were getting into, so I'm not that sorry.
You guys are all
Well,
retarded.
I'm actually more bothered
Except
by the
Kelly.
shit people were saying in your chat than the people that were saying talking.
That's why we don't look at chat
Whole
while
Wick
we're up.
chat.
Yeah,
Pretty
don't
No,
great.
read the
no.
fucking chat.
Okay, I've been on many streams where people have been talking in the chat, and some of the people in your chat were just fucking like they're breaking TOS by saying some of the sexist things they were saying. Like it was unhinged.
Oh.
Alright, I'm just putting that. out
I
there.
am.
Well, if
I
that's
am
the case,
still.
then that should have been handled by the mods.
I'm still live. If
For
you guys
now?
want me to
Some
stop
of it was, to be
streaming.
fair. Some of it was.
I got
I
it.
am
I
also
gotta
still
eat.
live.
But
Go ahead, Wick.
I'm not
Thank
gonna
you so
do
much.
that. I'm gonna go. Bye. I love you all. Bye.
Bye, Wick.
Thanks for the panel, Wick. Talk to you later.
See ya.
Sansol,
Yeah.
talk with me. Talk with me. I wanted to answer your question. Do you wanna hop on my stream by chance?
Right this second, I didn't know if we were going to continue talking here.
This-
for a
We can keep
second or-
talking.
Yeah,
I was
you
gonna
were-
say
you
I
were
want to have a longer
asking-
conversation about it if
Oh,
you're
I
interested.
can't. I'm not going to be able to like keep streaming for a long time. I just wanted to hop in, have a little bit
okay.
of fun, and
Smith,
but
what
if
were you
wanna
saying?
Message me. We can set something up.
I was just saying
Sure,
I'm
we'll talk
still
about it.
live. I'm still live, just in case anybody doesn't know.
I'm
Yeah.
also
Mike,
live.
Kelly,
A lot
can
of
I
us
ask
are.
you a question?
Okay.
Slurs
Go
fly,
for it.
guys. Sorry.
And this is a genuine question. I'm not trying to get a gotcha on you. Like I was trying to. I do have a
I'm not
genuine
worried
stance.
about that. Don't worry.
Okay.
No, oh, come on. You don't have to be a smartass either, right?
Well, you came in being patronizing, mate. So you set the tone.
Wait, how was I patronizing? Seriously.
I get the impression he's always like that.
The dumbing it down for everyone,
Yes,
that was pretty
exactly.
patronizing.
Good
was
question.
very
You guys
patronizing.
told me I was dumbing it down.
Parallax, you were the first one that came in.
No,
Parallax, you were the
one
first
who
one that
told
came
me.
in and
You
said,
are the one who told me that I was doing that. So anyway.
no, you were the first one that
anyway,
said you were dumbing it down for everyone.
No, you said that. Anyway.
No.
My theoretical is very simple for you. Would you be okay with a world in which all deepfake porn that existed is fully disclosed? There's like a huge watermark across it that says this is not actually that person.
Me? No. Do you know what I used to do when I was a teenager? I used to Photoshop out the Getty Images logo out of like bands that I liked, and I did a very good job of it. Watermarks don't mean
That's in a
shit, so get rid
utopic
of them.
world where everybody like, yeah, this is actually going to happen. You have to have this over it, but that's not what happens. We're not in the society where people are actually just going to put a watermark over it and says this is deepfake. People are going to try and present this content as if it were true. There are people out there that actively will do that, and unfortunately that is the case.
Here's my problem with your hypothetical. Parallax, wait a second. Here's my problem with your hypothetical. I don't think you're understanding that the purpose of deepfake is not so that somebody can fulfill their fantasy of seeing this person, because they probably already made those images for themselves. The purpose of deepfake and actually distributing it is to try to actually attack the person that it is representing.
No, that's not the purpose.
They
want to jack off to this person they find real
this person
attraction.
would absolutely be sitting there jerking off to it at home, but the reason that they release it could be for harassment. I'm not going to even disagree with that, but I also think that there are
a multitude
people,
of reasons.
Yeah, there's going to be people that are doing it for fucking profit, you know? Like, it's not just the fact that, like,
they can be, hey, look at this, I made something cool, everybody check it out, I'm the cool guy on the block.
People are profiting off of exploitation isn't a new thing.
Somebody is using somebody's image to make money, to harass that person. Like, for instance, AOC porn, for instance, is used to attack her, and it has
But that's
her
not
name
the only use for it. Like you keep saying, like the only reason someone makes the deepfake is harassment.
Other uses. Shut the fuck up, lime mashed potatoes. God damn. I already gave other purposes and reasons for why this would happen.
But you keep saying that harassment is like the primary issue. Like everyone who does it, harassment
I just mentioned it again. I am not going to back that out of there. You want that backed out of there, probably because you shared revenge porn, you dumb cunt.
Oh yeah, that's so.
Fuck you.
Well, wait. Okay, well,
I don't think we had to get personal into that, but okay.
It can be for harassment. It can be to name a person. It can be to try to defame a person. It can be to make money off of them. Like,
or it could be just because you want to see that person and jack off to them.
It could be that.
This is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about.
Hold on.
Opposing this.
Hold on, really quick. It could be because you're just a horny retard, okay? Like, you know, but like in that case, it'd be really irresponsible and stupid of you. But like, it could be
at minimum neglect. It's at minimum neglect.
At minimum, yeah.
It does not matter. It does not matter what it's for. What matters is if that person has, like, if it's a lookalike, sure. But what about somebody who Lavloon has like a $19.99 or something subscription, I guess, and people have complained about it's $19.99 a month, and there's some months that we don't get any content at all, etc. What if somebody was like, and they trained the AI, and they're like, Lavloon's second content page, I've been paying more attention to this one, and started making money off of her image. What if it's somebody who is putting AOC on the images to say that AOC likes to have trains run on her, etc.? That's what we're having the problem with, is what the images are being used for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, all the examples you're giving are about harassment.
I don't
all roads
know
lead
if that's
to
the only
harassment.
reason that
It doesn't matter if the person that created it meant to harass
in the context,
or even the person that purchased it, because it inevitably ends up with someone and uses it. For that.
Yeah, like I had my utopian vision bullshit, but like in the context of the society we're in, I do agree all roads kind of will probably lead to the harassment, because of once you put it out there into our societal context, that's what's going to probably fucking happen.
Literally my opening statement, assume the worst of every piece of information you submit willingly to the internet, because that is the fucking, like, some portion of people are going to use it for the worst thing you can imagine, and you're not going to be able to reach into their homes and stop them from doing it. You can control the distribution of it. You can control the monetization of it. You cannot control the production and self-consumption of it, and it's silly to think that you can, or that you're not taking consent into an arbitrary place by saying you need to consent to someone masturbating to you in the privacy of their own home.
Portland, there is an issue here.
I want to clarify. Hang on. I want to clarify. I'm not saying that there needs to be consent for somebody to fucking masturbate to you. Again, I stated this. Okay, I'm not.
Wait, that's not what I said.
Oh, okay.
You think that
what
the
did you
production
say?
of porn should
You
be
said something
made
to that
illegal?
You
effect,
absolutely
too.
said this repeatedly, Doobie.
Yeah, you
that
sounded
to
like it.
sexualize someone without
Wait,
their
hold on. I said
consent is
that
a
we shouldn't-
violation. You
one
did
second.
not caveat that
let him say
needs
let him
to
say
be
it.
through
Listen.
a specific
Doobie,
kind
let's
of
hear it.
What I-
Hey,
what I said-
Let me
shut
say
up,
what he's going to
Doobie.
say. Let him say what he's going to say, and then I'm going to continue my point.
Okay. What I said is that subjectifying women without their consent, even in your own thoughts, reinforces harmful patriarchal attitude and perpetuates gender
That is
inequality.
not what you said.
But yeah, that's
did say-
exactly
he
what I
did
said
say
at the start.
that.
Yeah, I did say that. Right. So So what I said is I don't think it's something that we should be normalizing or encouraging. We can agree it's something that happens sometimes, but it's not something we should wave off as no big deal.
I think
You
that-
also
I just
said that it should be illegal, right?
What
Wait,
about
hold on.
women
It is something
masturbating
we
to
can
the
just
men
wave
they
off.
work with?
Same thing.
The act of fantasizing to people
Right.
to whom you're attracted is
So
not
normal.
being normalized. It is the most normal of human interactions that you
Yeah.
possibly.
That's the disagreement.
It's
We can
so
have
overly
this.
speaking.
I think we
So
can have this
puritanical.
disagreement without it being heated. Like I genuinely disagree, but like you can call me Coomer Brain, and I can say that you're repressed. And
Yeah,
like,
if you disagree with me, I'm gonna call you mean names. Okay, this is how the world works.
yeah, I'm a Coomer, and I think you're repressed.
That's okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So
can
what
I-
about? Okay, go ahead.
Can I continue? Yeah, okay. I'm stating that I can't control what people do in their fucking bedrooms, right? I can't control what people think in their heads. I can't control what they fucking draw or whatever they create or anything, right? But it's a serious fucking issue when this stuff starts getting put out because again, it's been stated.
Yeah. Distribution's where we all agree.
Yeah. Are we all in agreement on distribution?
Yeah,
because I think there was still some heated agreement on.
I think so.
I think when it comes to
Well,
legislation, we all agree it's
We're all
distribution.
okay.
Are
I
we
think we're all
agree that
okay
there
with
should
a
be some sort of
conversation.
legislation regarding distribution
Making
as well?
it illegal, right?
Yes.
The only thing.
That's
Yeah,
where
so
I think
Parallax
the-
doesn't
That's
agree.
where I think the
It
debate would lie is what kind of regulation. But I do think it should be regulated. I do not think you should just be able to take unfettered and just like make unfettered pornography of all of us panelists having an orgy right now and just put it out on the internet with no regulation.
I
don't
shouldn't
think
be
that-
able to
Parallax, earlier you said you
monetize.
didn't care about it. What changed?
Hold on.
No,
Real quick, I
I'm
should
saying
not
I don't
be able
care.
to
I don't-
monetize other people's images in any way, like whether it's sexual or otherwise, that violates trademark, copyright, and image likeness laws in the United States. Like there are limits on these things. There are reasons that I can go up to you in the street and take a picture of you and sell it to a magazine. And unless we want to amend those standards, then we're going to accept the same standards in terms of how this information is like possessed by individuals versus how it's sold, monetized, or like otherwise propagated. And unfortunately, there is going to be some level of ownership that you submit to the rest of the world when you put your images on the internet. And there's a level of
but this is bigger than that, though, right? So this is just like your fucking neighbor or the girl down the street who's not putting her image on the internet, right? So this is going to apply to them too.
Yeah, and those people are able to protect themselves in private spaces where they're not legally like able to be photographed without their consent, and they're
They
not
just
going
never
to
go
be
out
able
in
to.
public.
Yeah, just never go out in public.
Just like any
Go wear
other
a
fucking
bag on the
situation.
red
Just
or
like if I
20
walked
volts.
out into public right now and I was a figure of notoriety, you could take a photograph of me doing literally anything, and you could fucking take that and sell
keep
it.
saying
Yeah,
figure of
okay, but
notoriety.
you
where we're
can
talking
take a
about, like,
photo of
the
someone,
like
you
the
can-
person down the street.
Yeah, it wouldn't have
This is what
value
paparazzis
if I
do.
wasn't a figure of notoriety.
Hang
It's not,
on. This is what
to me,
paparazzis
it
do.
wouldn't
They
have
go
value.
out and they take photos of public figures and then they sell them off. But what they don't do, or what they get in trouble if they do this, is if they present them in a format that is untruthful. Then
Yep,
that
right.
Yeah.
falls. I've said this before.
Presenting
Then
something
that
as
falls.
a deep fake is inherently caveating that it is not truthful, that it is not
It's
a
gotta
real
be.
representation
There
of
are
an event.
people out there that are presenting deep fakes as truth.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
that
that
is
is
an
slander,
issue.
That's
that
the-
is defamation, that is
That is
covered
horrible,
under
yeah.
existing
That is
laws.
why I asked
Try
if
to
you were
monetize
okay
it,
with like
not if you consume it in your own home.
over-disclosure.
What did you say, Parallax?
That's why I asked the watermark question, because it's overt. It's like super overt disclosure. I'm trying to make, like, I get that you can edit a watermark out. I was trying to find something that would just be like, so for example, you can't go, like, you can go search for like underage child porn, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's illegal and fucking
We're
horrible.
getting back to this. Okay.
No. What I'm saying, I'm not gonna focus on that. What I'm saying is, when you go to like a porn site, obviously you're gonna see things that say like barely legal, 18, 19, whatever, right? They have very clear ways of cleverly saying she's young, but saying it's legal. So I think that you could similarly have titles that go this is fucking fake, but it's supposed to look like
I
this
think
person.
when it comes into a sexual manner of somebody being presented in a sexual manner, not whether they're being presented as like fucking cooking or you know, riding a fucking bike or some shit. Like, I don't give a shit about that. That's not what I fucking care about. What I care about is when people are presented in a sexual manner without their consent that hasn't been explicitly given to the person to create, or that person created themselves. That is an issue that should not be presented.
Just taking a picture and photoshopping it, because Doobie earlier said that should be as criminally actionable as a deep fake. So I want to know your position on this. If I just Photoshop your head onto a naked body, should that be criminally actionable against me if I'm found out somehow, other than like through the sale or distribution of it?
Let me get you after this, Millie. Let me get you after this.
What's the difference between photoshopping really well and a deep?
That's the point, is that like this is not a novel problem. This is a problem with decades of precedent.
As a moral standpoint, I think
there's a difference.
There's honestly wrong. I don't think it should be created either way. When it comes to when it comes to legal action regarding it, if it's being distributed, I think there could be a case there. That comes down to the courts deciding.
Yeah. So you think it's weird if somebody does it in the privacy of their own home, but you don't want someone to like open the door and arrest them if they find out, right?
Well, if it becomes leaked, and this is the thing with creating these things, you are putting yourself at a risk of this stuff being leaked and being given out to the public or to other people and it getting out there. So one, just don't make this fucking shit if you don't have the consent of someone to do this. Flat out, you shouldn't be doing it. I don't think you should be doing it. If you're gonna fap to something, go to fucking PH or whatever other sites, or use your fucking imagination and just do it that way. I get that people are gonna fantasize about others, whatever. Like, I can't fucking stop that. It is what it is. But when it comes to the stuff being leaked and getting out there, that's not okay.
Yeah, what good argument is there for its existence in the first place?
Okay.
What is the great argument?
Tuna, go ahead real quick.
You're going to gloss over a very important part of this if you just keep moving. They are different because the public's perception in how much trust they can put in videos and photos is massively different. The amount of trust that we put in photos, because we've known about Photoshop way longer. Everybody and their grandma knows about it. You still get harassed, but that's not what we're talking about. Those are
because people can still believe.
Can you let him finish? Can y'all shut up and let him finish?
If you're isolating for the time any one of the technologies that we're talking about, whether it's like CGI or taking snapshot photo, like every one of these can be extrapolated out to the same argument that like, no, this is a big step forward. So there's like potential for a unique harm. Okay, that's fine. But what if I'm masturbating to just a photo that you put on your public profile? Am I violating your consent by doing that?
We don't have any of those psychos in this room right now.
But there's nothing that legally can be done at that point. Like there's nothing I can do about you fapping it to a picture of me, hypothetically, right? But I'm gonna find it creepy as fuck. And I'm not gonna like it, and I'm gonna be like, I didn't consent to that. That's not cool. Go ahead,
Miss Millie. Yeah, I have the way to say that. Listen,
go ahead.
Especially with Me Too, especially with canceling and all of the stuff that's going on. I think the only way we can react to the fact that you're like fapping it to somebody's picture that's not even sexual, that's on Facebook or whatever, is social shame. I don't think we can react to that legally.
People post thirst trap photos on their pages all the time. They may not consent to every single individual that consumes them masturbating to them, but obviously they understand that there's sex appeal in their photos, inherent to their photos that they're publishing and putting out for open consumption. So it's
not even just inherently sexual photos. It's just photos. Okay, but let's be honest, Portland. Let's be honest, Portland.
Oh my Jesus fucking Christ!
Oh, I'd let you finish. You said all the words.
Don't give a crap about how much you need to masturbate to people's photos. You're just be a creep. I don't fucking care. Listen, the only thing we can do.
Masturbating to a photo makes you as a.
The only thing we can do. Yeah, well, I don't know. We women can use our imaginations. I don't know why you're so fucking pedestrian. Anyway, the only thing we can do about that is social
you're
censure.
Disappointing
and if somebody finds out that you have made a deep fake porn of, I don't know, Jennifer Lawrence, because you need to get off to it and they think you're a creep and you get fucking canceled, oh fucking well. We're not going to have a legal way to deal with that unless you've distributed it. Does that make sense?
I see you made that face there, Portland. Like, what? I want to ask you, what other reason would somebody have? What reason would somebody have of making a deep porn of somebody? Say again, the example of Jennifer Lawrence. So, what other reason would there be to make a deep fake porn of someone other than for people to fap to it?
For themselves to fap to it.
That's why I was saying that for other than for people to fap to it, whether it's the person themselves or not. Why else would it be made?
I just wanted to say real quick because and then I'll shut up. It's different. It's different if you're just yourself and other people.
Different.
Yeah,
it's massively different in terms of the moral considerations. Doing something for yourself versus doing something for mass consumption. These are like completely different ballparks.
Millie agrees. Millie agrees.
This is why production. Yeah, Millie does agree.
Millie agrees.
No,
we have consensus. Everybody here is against the distribution.
With that.
Because
we all want to
you can do whatever you want, but when you start telling people about it, it becomes a different consequences that you're just gonna have to deal with.
Are we literally just sitting
here? It becomes an interaction.
Let me fucking finish. I barely said anything. If you fact your mate's mum and then you tell your mate, the consequences might be getting punched in the face. Now you can still fact your mum's friend, but the consequences of opening your mouth are there, which would be the same if you deepfaked your mum's friend. Or your friend's mum.
If you're sitting here arguing,
oh, it's fine.
If you're sitting here arguing whether or not you should be considered a creep for fapping to somebody else or not, then that's of your own personal thing. But there are going to be consequences when people find out. People are in this society, unfortunately for you, people are going to find it weird and creepy that you're fapping to them if they have not agreed to it already.
Ask them for permission. Just why you should keep it to yourself.
This is so stupid. This is stupid. We all agree. We all agree. We all agree.
We're all in agreement fucking here. So why are we still arguing these points?
Okay.
I have a hypothetical.
Stop it. Wait a second. Portland, I have a question for you. If you're going to talk about moral consideration and how it's a different moral consideration, what puts your desire for Jennifer Lawrence above Jennifer Lawrence herself?
For Lawrence isn't involved in my personal private actions. I don't have to engage with her in any way to gratify myself to the thought or image of her. So there is a bifurcation between interaction that you people can't seem to fucking understand, which I find really humorous because you want people presumably to have total control over their thoughts, over their ability to engage with them.
Nobody fucking said that.
That's exactly what y'all are.
Wait. You're
interrupting him.
You're saying. I want to add one thing to what you're saying. They're not. They do have a point. They're not saying thoughts. They're saying the deep fake and stuff. They're making the thing. But I think what you should say is that's a tool just for the thoughts. And as long as that's private, it's just a tool for your private thought and experience. And once you make it a tool for
it's no different from me photoshopping you. It's no different from me taking a picture. It's no different from me collecting a picture online. It's no different from any other thing that I do unless it leaves my sphere of personal influence. Period. End of story.
You could use the same argument for like a screenshot tool.
For leaks in every situation.
Millie?
That's why it never just stays in a vacuum.
Yeah, which
Millie,
is why
I
you should
respond to
the on your phone.
Y'all. We spent the entire panel. Millie said this multiple times, and we didn't get to actually talk about this point. So, Millie, I want to address your point here. There's a difference between doing a moral wrong and doing a moral risk, making a moral risk. While I understand that there's a neglect of duty, we know for a fact that there is something worse about hitting and ending a child's life because you were drunk driving and not hitting the kid. There's a substantive difference. You have made a bad choice. You should never make that choice, but you have had more effect. You've had more harm. Knowing this, when you make it in private, if you do not secure it on something that the more moral risk you put by putting it in maybe you keep it on your fucking online cloud. Maybe you keep it in on your computer that stays connected to the internet. Every degree of moral risk is worse and worse, but it's not the same as doing a moral wrong. A moral wrong has more betrayal to your common man than a moral risk. There's something greater there, and that's why we don't think that you should be we don't think it should be illegal to do it in private, and we don't think that because there's a risk that we shouldn't be able to do it. What we're saying is that it should be regulated. And I also think right now, one of the best solutions to your problem right now is if AI currently is getting better at making images, and it gets better at making images because it's better at understanding what images are real and fake, what we can do is make it so that when an image is uploaded or transferred, when data is transferred in an image codec, it goes through an AI to detect whether or not it is a deep fake. And if it is a deep fake, the website or the server or the whatever set of fucking hosts that look at this can say, you know what? Fuck you. That's a break of our TOS. You can't use our server to do that. You can't use our website, et cetera, et cetera. And the government can make this an actual law. And that would fix that problem instantly.
Wait, hold on. I want to let's go from there.
I'm in
agreement
the way
of that.
Random men treat women. Like, what does this have to
Wait,
do with
problem.
That doesn't.
That's a different problem.
It's a different problem. Yeah, it's a different problem. I want to talk about the tech
I'm
thing.
gonna be the fucking moderator now. No, shut the fuck up. I'm the moderator now. Okay, because this is fucking aggravating. Because I can't actually hear a single fucking word that anyone's saying.
Okay,
I can't hear any
I
of the
consent.
fucking points.
Can I respond to Tunachip, please? Because he stated something to me. I'd like to respond.
Hold on, the dude with the frilly shirt in the middle. With the stop sign in the background.
Okay.
I'm just in charge now.
Well, okay.
Oh my God.
I want to talk about a new topic, sort of branching off of what was just said. So if you have something to say, just do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking respond.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Oh, also,
I'm in
Millie, really
agreement.
quick. I want to correct Millie. I actually meant Kelly, and I said Millie. It's just the Lee at the end. I fucked it up. I was responding to Kelly's point.
I was really impressed with you. I was like, man, you really convinced Millie. I convinced everyone. Millie was here the whole debate. Good job.
The problem with these panels is we never can move on from a topic.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
Anyways,
I think he meant me, right? But you can go after me if you want.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know who meant what now. I don't know. But
I already have my statement. If you don't, I'll go ahead. But if you do, you can go ahead.
Yeah, it's fine. I can talk. The issue is like how we are treated societally when these things happen. And as we already discussed earlier, all roads end up leading to them getting leaked and ending up in harassment. It doesn't really matter if some people are capable of keeping something secret, because those people will do those things anyway. They'll continue to keep things secret because they know that they will get judged if other people found out these weird fucking things that they're doing in their private life. That's really irrelevant, and it doesn't matter to this conversation. The fact that it affects women as predominantly, but I would say it probably affects some men too. On such a large scale, when there's such a small benefit, if any. I'm not entirely sure what the benefit is, if I'm going to be fucking honest. Like, oh, you get slightly more realistic nudes of someone you fancy. Like, why? It's weird.
Well, they used it in film as well.
Women are the ones sharing sexual images of themselves.
Like, hold on, real quick. At its heart, this overlaps heavily with like artistic rights, the right of an individual to draft the kind of art that they want to in their private space. Whether it's suitable for public consumption or not is a completely different thing. But if you want to say that like this is such an perilous kind of creation that we need to remove the capability to do so altogether because there's more risks than there are rewards.
Calling it art is disingenuous, and you're only doing it because you know
no,
it's
not. It's
art is.
absolutely not disingenuous.
It is incredibly
Taking a picture is art. Saying it's not art is disingenuous because you don't want to have to engage with the fucking concept of what art is.
Hey, then it is art.
Women who do ugly things call that art too.
Say, oh my god, it's art. Does that matter that it's art? No, it doesn't.
Yes, for
women who take nude photos of themselves are ugly.
Artistic
can
expression
we get back to the thing that I wanted to respond to
instead of talking about
art? Okay.
I'm sorry, but what about an artist's right has anything to do with a person's image?
It literally doesn't.
What do you mean?
Wait. The people in the paintings
and fucking
the people in the paintings behind me
replicate people's images in ways that you obviously aren't engaging with by asking that question.
I did not ask these people consent to be on this stream when these people in these paintings.
Real dumb question.
But they consented for that photo to be taken.
Yeah, and then I painted it, and I can use it however I want. But even if
I could
it
go
didn't,
out right now, take a picture of anyone I want on the fucking public space.
So if an artist,
I could paint
a
picture of them.
Wait a second.
Let
oh my god!
Can I finish? Can I respond to Tuna Chip?
And then you'll be
Men
able to
can
respond.
speak less.
Okay.
It's just a fucking fact at this point.
What?
Sure, Stabby. Whatever.
Everything is art.
Everything's
Whether something is
patriarchy.
art is irrelevant to the discussion.
No, it's not. For the purposes of moral and legal consideration, it is absolutely not irrelevant what is and isn't art. That is the most vacuous statement you've made all night. What is and isn't art?
when it
completely like bedrock to what you can and cannot create with
I think
tools.
what
Don't you
I think
actually
what
need
Young is
personal
trying to say
liberty.
is
Actually,
even-
hold on, hold on. Don't you actually
Why does
need
the
an
invention of
artist?
photography- Why does the invention of photography change this? So if Leonardo da Vinci wanted to paint my daughter, I had no right to say no, and my daughter didn't have a right to say no, and we have to sit for the painting. What the fuck is
You
your
don't have
problem,
to
you
sit for the
fucking weirdo?
painting, but you can't fucking stop him from painting you. He can't force you to pose, but you
He
can't
could do it
stop
from
him
memory.
Just
painting you,
because
obviously.
something,
He could do
just
it from
because
memory.
something is called art or considered as art does not mean it is legally right. I think that's being,
But it means
changed
it
here a
enters
little bit.
into a territory where there's a lot
Additionally,
more
we know when
nuanced
something is
engagement
fucking
required
art,
when you're
don't
talking
we?
about
And when it's
taking
not
away
real.
people's rights and tools.
You're talking about
It's not to say
personal liberties.
Everything is art, so everything is
Getting-
okay. It's to say if something is in the realm of artistic expression, it's going to have a little bit more charitability, a little bit more wiggle room, a little bit more nuance to it than something that you're just producing for commercial purposes to sell to a mass-produced audience.
You don't think
for
that's
mass
what most
consumption.
of AI porn is?
That doesn't mean that every bit of it is. That's the problem.
He's
I'm
only
not
advocating
turning up
for
on the
something
fucking
small.
Most
Big Brother
photographs can be
anytime fucking
pornographic.
soon, do I?
Most
If AI
like
porn
by
is being
numbers,
made-
most photographs can be pornographic. It doesn't mean photography is pornographic or should be.
Okay,
like,
there's
regulated
AI
in that
porn
way.
out there, I'm sure, that's been made that hasn't been made in somebody's image or likeness or underneath their name. That's perfectly fucking fine. I don't give a fuck about that.
It's a huge AI porn field, by the way, everybody. Like fucking massive.
Yeah, you would
And
know.
where do you
but
think
what
to get
I-
the
when-
images to like? Where do you think? to
Can I
collect the
finish
images?
for the love of fucking God?
Let her finish.
I was
Jesus
responding
Christ.
to Stabby's point because you
Let
jumped
her
in. Go
finish,
ahead.
and then you can do it.
Shut up.
Jesus
Don't need the
Christ.
excuse. Millie.
Okay. Anyways, if something is not being made in someone's image or under their name, I don't give a fuck about it. But if it's being made under somebody's name and specifically under somebody's likeness, those two, I think, have to coincide with each other because unfortunately, there are a lot of people out there. There are even fucking doppelgangers. There's the fucking girl that looks like Ariana Grande and the whole spiel, whatever. It can be made in your likeness, but not with the intention of it. But I think if the intention of it being under their name and their likeness, there is an issue there. That should not be permitted.
I agree. But I was trying to point out earlier. No, I was trying to point out earlier that framing something as a deep fake is no different than framing it as a parody for the purposes of disclosure that it is not the real person engaging in the real act. So by
so if
calling
we're under
something
the agreement, because the initial discussion here was a sexual content of somebody else. If we're in agreement that that shouldn't be made, then we're just continuing to argue back and forth.
No, I agree that it shouldn't be distributed. Right. I don't think that there's any substantive difference between you deep faking a porn of someone, animating it, drawing it, or jacking off to a picture of it, as long as it doesn't leave your sphere of personal influence. That is my position.
So if it leaves your sphere of personal influence, you can be held liable for that,
sure.
correct?
Yes.
Just like anything else.
Then you should just
someone's images you send me are leaked, I could be liable for it.
So they are taking on the risk. So then they are taking on the risk by creating that, whether it be a drawing, a Photoshop, or a deep fake.
There can be some nuances.
I'm in agreement of that then. They're taking on the risk, and then that risk could either be being called a creep, because there was some contention earlier about that. You could either be called a creep, or there can be legal ramifications.
Get canceled, get sued, etc. Yes,
Wait,
and
if this is the standard that y'all are using in the
possession
is
for
the
masturbating
issue.
to someone's picture.
I'm still under
Nobody
the,
likes.
I'm
Hey,
still-
nobody thinks that here. Nobody thinks that
I'm
here.
still
Portland.
gonna
Close it.
say-
Can be sued, and I'm just adding the caveat that you cannot be sued for the possession of someone's private imagery. You can be sued for the distribution.
We agree.
That's when we're agreeing there. We've already agreed. But I'm gonna say I don't think it should be made at all. I think it's just straight up fucking weird that people are making it.
We know though.
Wait. So
I have an interesting point to make.
Weird. Who cares if it's weird?
It feels icky. We all agree.
Wait. So if it's leaked and you're one of the
If
people
we're
that
in
was
agreement
leaked
of
to, are you
everything, then
liable?
why haven't we moved on then? What are we
Wait,
still
I just have a
arguing
question.
about?
So if it's leaked and you're one of the people that is leaked to, are you liable?
If it
No.
leaks, yes, you are liable.
No, Lime.
If it leaks to no, he's saying if it's leaked to you. And right now, there aren't laws about that right now. The main thing that you would do is you would report the leak.
Yes.
Because the main the consequence right now is you report the leak, or else you are accomplice to the leak.
But what I'm saying, if it's leaked to you, even if you report it, if you kept
you won't
it,
be held.
You're not going to jail.
Wait,
No.
but if you keep it, how? Just so I don't understand why you're saying that possession isn't an issue. It's like, well, they leaked it to me and I reported it, but I still get to keep the image and I'm not liable. Like,
if it's a deep
doesn't make any
fake,
sense. Yeah,
it's a deep fake. No,
if socially, if people find out that you still kept it, then yeah, you can still be held liable. But in the court,
I guess.
So, like,
no, you can keep it.
I have an example.
I'm just saying, if people find it weird, and if people find it weird that you kept it even after it being leaked to you, there's still in a social environment, people still have the right to say, "Yo, that's fucking weird that you still kept this shit."
In a social environment.
Hang on. I haven't finished. Okay. But in the courtroom, you will not be held. You cannot be held liable.
Exactly.
Well, okay. So the only thing I don't think the standards make sense, because if we were using like CP, like no one would use that standard of, well, it was leaked to me and I reported it.
Possession of it is illegal in that case.
Yeah, that's what. So what I'm saying.
Distribution.
So what I'm saying is this standard of. I understand. Well, I'm saying the standard of possession isn't the thing only if it's distributed. But
I'm gonna dip out.
If it's not distributed, then no one knows you possess it, because you still make possession illegal.
One of the people here.
We already talked about why possession of child pornography is illegal, and we already went over this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, but deepfakes are different. Deepfakes are different.
Deepfakes of a thing that is illegal, like child porn or rape or something like
I'm
that,
not talking about
bad
deepfakes
because of the underlying content, not because of the fact that they're deepfakes.
If it's CP, then yeah, you should be held liable. If it's CP, you should be held liable, whether it's leaked to you and you keep it afterwards or whatever. Whether you have the possession of it, if you have the possession of it, you should be held.
And I understand it's different.
It depends on what society you want to live in, and I think that I agree that I think should that seems like a society I wouldn't want to live in. But you can make arguments either way. It's really just what kind of society you want to live in. If you want to live in a society where it's okay to have fakes of children, like that could be a perfectly fine society.
Not what I was.
No, that's not what he's saying. That's not what he's saying.
No, I know it's not what you're saying.
Can we let him speak? Can we do that? Go ahead, Lime Mashed Potatoes.
No, I want to yell. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
That'd be weird if he could just say what he thinks.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is if the standard is possession is fine, but distribution is a problem, or if it leaves your purview, then essentially you're still saying that possession is the issue, because the only way someone would know you were possessed it is if it left your purview. No one would ever know.
That's not the
same.
same.
The reason that it is bad to possess child porn.
I'm talking about deepfakes.
Oh,
but you're gonna go back and forth. You're gonna go back and forth.
Anything that aims to approximate child porn, anything that looks to simulate it, is fall into the same category, morally speaking.
Now, Lime, also, there is a way for that information to get out. It's called a seizure. People go in and they take your computer, they take it, and you get audited on things all the time for crimes. If you want to worry about that, the main instance where this would make a difference is if somebody took your computer because they believed that you had a crime, audited, and then they looked at it and they found that you had made deep fakes, not of child necessarily. That would be a different case, right? And it probably should be, because you're not distributing anything. Now, if somebody decides legally inside of a jurisdiction, you know what, if you have this and you have it on a computer that's connected to the internet, we think that you have intent to share it. Maybe then they could decide to do that, but you could make the argument in court, I didn't have intent to share, and then that would be a back and forth. But right now what we're saying is that distribution is when the moral action happens. That is when the moral wrong happens.
That for in the case of suggesting something that's already illegal in its fundamental.
Yeah, but y'all were also saying if someone hacked my computer and they stole it, then I should still be liable for distribution.
No, we didn't say that.
No,
there's going to be nuances. There's going to be nuances of how the law works in those kind of fucking situations.
You went on. You said, well, if I have it on my computer and it's not protected and I get hacked, Well, if I have
Well,
my
we
computer
didn't go into these nuances because we didn't go into these.
He did say that.
No, we didn't.
That's
We brushed past it because we wanted to move on to another fucking topic instead of going to every single fucking nuance of every single fucking scenario you could possibly share or possibly be involved in having and being related to a deepfake whatsoever. I have a really interesting thing to talk about. Now a bunch of people have fucking left. I'm really fucking pissed about that.
I think people just left because they needed to or wanted to.
I desperately need to leave, but I'm going to let Smith have his day in the sun first. Go ahead.
Okay, so we're saying that it's possible that you can use technology to like prove something is a deep fake or not. In the future, I can imagine that's not going to always be the case. And even further, I bet I can imagine a future where you can use somebody's picture of them in clothing and with their face and actually get a by the fucking hair follicle, like from whatever information they got, by the hair follicle accurate representation. Maybe you have access to their DNA information. You could actually get like it's not a deep fake, it's a deep real fake. And in that case, that'd be even that's another line that we would have to go cross, because that would be an invasion of privacy even more than a deep fake, because it would be more real.
So it's not about an invasion of privacy. It's that it's more powerful
question. It's like, can you approximate and repurpose, like repackage someone's image in a way that is so comprehensive that you're effectively like cloning them for mass production and sale? And yeah, that's
why we
probably
focus on distribution anyway, because production is gonna happen. There's no so we focus on distribution.
Yeah, it's all about distribution. It's all about like how far outside of your sphere of personal
influence. I know
influence
that sounded interesting, but it's really just the same solution. We have to focus on distribution.
Well, Smith has a point, and I will build on this. So one of the reasons that this is important is because if the technology is publicly available and anybody could use it, it's much easier for people that are malevolent actors to use that in order to fraud people. Right now, the government is spending tons of time and tons of money trying to make sure that people can't deep fake their way into knowing government secrets. And it's really important for us to have our finger on the pulse of this if we are going to be using all of these different bits of information, metadata of our like eyes, all of this detail in order to get into our personal belongings. If we're able to use AI to understand how people think, how people use computers, the closer we get to a very perfect representation of a person, the more we're able to imitate them and the more we're able to leverage it as action. So when we're talking about regulating the technologies themselves, that's its own conversation, and it mostly has to do with making it that the fact that there are people that are going to use it out there in order to steal identity, steal access to bank accounts, get into the government, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not even about the porn. That's its own whole like fucking mess of things. And the state is going to focus on that. And it's going to be really important.
Yeah, no, I actually think you brought this up earlier. I believe it was Toonship. You talked about how you think the political discussion here is far more interesting. I think you briefly touched on that, and I totally agree. I think that's where there's far more damage to be done in the political sector, and I don't want to take away. I want to be clear. I don't want to take away the damage that can be done to women. It's so damaging. I'm not discrediting that, but you could disrupt the power of the globe with this shit.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying.
That's why I said there should be regulation behind this.
Hold on. I think that we're already seeing an emergent trend in the exact opposite direction, which is that like instead of creating false credibility for situations that didn't happen,
anything. They don't believe
what we're actually seeing is like a complete overhaul of what is like plausible deniability as a concept.
Yeah, and that happening.
You can deny the truth all day now.
Yeah, exactly. You can do a video of a thing that actually happened and say, no, that's not me.
Yes, but that in the context of sex and in the women's enslavement to their role in the sexual object, that actually I think is a good thing to totally like remove like your ability to believe that a nude is a real nude. Like now, like
we know you believe in that fucking omnisexual society. We talked about
people don't believe women though.
Just people don't believe women. Sexualized.
Yeah. What do you mean we don't?
My point is that, like, in the realm of like political and meaningful high stakes ramifications, you're probably going to see a lot more plausible deniability as a result than incrimination of people who would otherwise not have actually been guilty.
I want to address something that Parallax. Can I address something real quick? You guys have been going on for a minute.
Yeah, can I just say real quick? I think that's a very interesting discussion to be had. That like, what's the backside of this? I think that'd be very fun to get into. But yes, Millie, hi.
Yeah, I know you said you didn't want to like diminish the effect that this has on women. You just stated that. Though I think what you stated when you first joined in is that you didn't care whether it happens or not. When you had first joined in onto the discussion, I think that was diminishing the effect that this does have on women. So I think
Overall, effect is gender neutral, right? Like on its face, anybody can be subjected to a lot of
registered. Thank you.
I wanted to bring that point. I wanted to address that point and make sure it was is stated, because I know you sit here and you say you don't want to, yet the actions that you took earlier were against what you had just stated.
That's
so I
not
want
actually
that to
true, and Portland just swatted that down for a reason. Thank you, though. I appreciate it.
Mm-mm.
I'll jot your note down and then I'll throw it away because it's not true. It affects men too. Thank you.
No, but okay, that's not what I'm saying. I didn't say that it doesn't affect men. This does affect men.
And I didn't belittle the effect it has on women. Thank you very much.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
I
did.
specifically focused on the distribution the entire time. I do not care that it is created at all. I care that it's distributed. I stand by that. It does. I am not belittling the effect it has on women.
Yeah, I don't think it has an effect on women if men use this as a tool to enhance their masturbation.
Yes. No.
But what Tuna Ship said earlier, it being in the hands of lots of people could.
Yes, agreed.
Now, when we're talking about the sexualization problem, this is a cart horse type fucking issue in thought. Yes. The fact that people are using the technology for this is because people already think that way, and we already have the problem. Technology gets used the way that humans use it, and technology exists because of human desire to use the technology the way that it gets used. That's why
I want to just say I agree with the other 6 men here, and I'm going to let you guys, the other 5 men, and I'm going to let you guys handle Miss Millie here.
Jesus she's fucking Christ.
Oh my God. You guys should be able to shut her down. I'm just kidding. Have a good night, guys. It was nice to talk to all of you, and I hope you have a good rest of your evening, productive, safe, all that jazz. And I consent to anything any of you want to do with my image. Have a good night.
Ooh.
Millie, for the record, I think that there were 2 women in the call until he left. Just want to let you know.
Fucking stupid.
Just for the record.
Fucking stupid, dude.
No,
what I want to clarify. I had to fucking throw that shit out there, though.
This isn't supposed to be some personal attack, but I just wanted to clarify, Parallax. Again, I'm not coming after you, whatever. But what I mean is, by you stating that you don't care it being created can do harm towards women.
Fantastic. I think it's a negligible amount because I made the very clear statement that I have an issue with the distribution of it. I do not.
I understand. I understand that.
If it's the same, listen, it's the same amount of harm that I'm going to create by telling you I don't care if you draw me nude right now. Go ahead. It means nothing. It is such a negligible amount of harm that I don't need to register it in my fucking eardrums.
Well, the thing that gets conflated is so I think it's the case with both men and women. But the way, if you were to draw him nude right now, like the thing would be is if you harass him with it, and with a woman, the chances of her getting harassed with that are much greater. It's almost assumed. So that's why I think
So don't fucking do it. Don't do the bad shit. Don't distribute it. Don't harass people.
Well, true. Hey. I think that we can come to an agreement here, and it's a lot easier to wet these points together if you recognize that the reason that people have a problem with the creation is because women already live in a world where people are doing the creation in a way that is meant to harass people. So the fact that people are doing it, you should think and have some empathy. This is no longer about the law. This is no longer about anything other. You should feel empathy for the fact that you are using a technology. And keep in mind, the way that these technologies work is the more you use them, the better they are at doing the thing that they're meant to be used for. Because if you go ahead and pull up DALL-E 2, you type Asian woman in it, she's going to be sexualized because that's the type of image that gets rewarded with it. The more that people feed their imagination, and we do have a sexist imagination, into the machine and into this, the more that we refine the machine at being a tool for human desire. And right now, our culture has a problem where the relationship of male sexual desire tends to be pretty violent, tends to be able to border into a type of abuse that is at least worth sympathizing for, right? And is at least worth thinking to myself, hey, maybe I won't do that. Kind of like, hey, maybe I won't, drive my car today to get to McDonald's when it's close enough. It's a thing of small moral calculations, but it doesn't need the legal involvement. Nobody in this call seems to believe it needs the legal involvement. The moral question is its own thing, and I think we can agree with that, right?
Do women have any responsibility?
I think on the yeah, there's a good question.
Do what? State that again.
Wait. Oh, okay, sorry. I don't want to
hang on. I want to hear from Lime. What did you say?
We're talking about the male's tendency to sexualize women. What about the women's tendency to sexualize themselves?
Yeah, someone in my chat just said women's sexual fantasies tend to be more violent than men.
Not even
I'm gonna say this: whether it's male or female, it's fucking disgusting. Don't fucking do it.
Violence is the term that I'm using.
Can we be clear when you say don't do it? What you mean?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
Yeah, I don't think you should be creating this fucking deepfake shit because I don't think it's okay. I personally don't think you should be photoshopping or creating these sexualized fan arts of people or anything like that.
So you're not okay with any of that?
No, I'm not okay on a moral standpoint.
And that's morally consistent. Like I can respect that you feel. I disagree. But that's okay. It's morally consistent, and
I can understand that you're going to have a difference of opinion.
What if I told you?
For the record,
we all
my
agree
difference
there.
of opinion is not based in. Hold on. Okay. My difference of opinion is not based in neglecting the impact it has on women. I will say that I have absolutely no connection whatsoever to like the violent predilections of people in society. I've been with my wife.
We get it. You're virtuous. You're signaled it.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Let him finish because I don't know Parallax. I don't know Parallax, so let him finish.
Genuinely, sincerely, have no fucking knowledge about the way other people engage sexually. I've been married and with my wife for 10 years. I don't know what other people are engaging with. What I think is crazy is policing thought. And to me, the deep fake, if it's kept personal, is nothing but is a manifestation of thought. It is.
I'm not saying to police it, by the way.
No, I understand that. In its truest form, it is. I know you're not going to like this word. It's art. It's a manifestation of thought. It's something coming from your brain and being put into the world. Now,
it's a form of art. Yeah, I will agree. I will agree that it is a form of art.
Agreed on.
But I will agree because I know Kelly was in a maybe disagreement or whatnot. I don't want to interpret her words in any fashion. But it's a form of art, but there are forms of art that we're just going to morally consider reprehensible.
Okay, so what if I were to tell you that you just would take my word for it, but just a thought experiment, you just believe me. I tell you that my fantasies that I want to make real with this deepfake stuff, and I'm gonna do it. These are like extremely non-violent or whatever, and they're extremely like empowering of women in some way. How would you feel about that? Like, because we're assuming
what do you mean? What do you mean they're empowering of women?
What if I'm deep faking myself nude, but like with like women taking advantage? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of some other scenario where the tables are turned or something, and like I'm not
stabbing a woman in the face 17 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It keeps going.
Tuna, what the fuck? Okay, anyways.
We're talking about morally objectionable. We don't care about what the fucking exact thing is. He's saying something that you would find morally objectionable, and he is making an emulation of it in private. Everybody knows this. You know what Millie's answer is going to be. I don't know why the fuck you're asking this.
Wait, no,
her answer is going to be don't let it get out.
No. I was saying the opposite. I was saying if I told her my fantasies are not morally objectionable.
Yeah, what if they're very?
Then how should
if they involve me or if they involve another person that is actually. Yeah, if it involves another human being or myself, I'm gonna say that's not okay. If it's of a fictional character, I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't care. I've stated this before. But if it is of someone you
object to me fantasizing about people that I know.
No. If they haven't consented or if they're not in a relationship of that type of relationship with you, I think it's weird. I think it's weird. But I'm not going to say you shouldn't fucking do that. Like, if you're going to, like, think of, like, something something or imagine something, like I can't fucking stop you from doing it. But if am I gonna think it's weird?
Sexually, Millie, that you know in your real life?
I have.
She has. Come on.
I
well,
have.
that's why I asked the question, Tuna Chip.
Yeah, of course I have. Of course I've thought of someone sexually, but it's typically been in a format where I've either been close to a relationship or something like that. Have I thought of some? Well, I can't say I've thought of any like public figures because I can give a rat's ass about public figures. I'll be honest.
Jason Momoa.
Who? Ew.
Oh.
Get that out
I
of my
know who
fucking
that
chat.
is. I know who that is. But I'm gonna be honest. I don't like the whole idea of like these large public figures and sexualizing them. I think it's strange.
Chat. This is a twink appreciating face.
All right,
Get that Jason Momoa filth out of here.
I mean, I'm gonna be personally honest. If I have not already created some sort of sexual relationship with a person, I don't typically go out of my way to create some sexual fantasy within my head.
That's fair enough. I mean, that's kind of why I didn't understand the whole connection to violence. I'm pretty vanilla, I guess. I genuinely didn't understand the draw there, Tuna Chip. I truly did not understand that.
Let me be clear. So two things. One, we know that we have studies that say that porn, when people spend more time watching porn, that porn addiction tends to bring people towards watching violent porn. There's a market for violent porn because of this, and the rationale of why people's sexualities go into violence is because the part of the brain that reacts towards titillation is not able to work enough on its own. It gets overworked, and then other parts of the brain, and one of the most easy ways to work it is the fear
That's a theory.
of doing something wrong.
I'll be right
people
back.
Want to feel naughty.
That's a
people want to
theory.
feel dirty, naughty.
That's a theory.
Okay, so then
I'm
what
not
explains
sure
why
about
women predominantly search for violent porn?
So
that I do know to be true. Like, so all I know is like the broad
naughtiness.
stats. I don't know like how people actually interact with it.
There's a fetish, and whether or not this is biological or if this is sociological is its own debate. But there is a presented fetish of being dominated that most people that are bottoms and are women tend to be a little bit fetishistically related to. There are a couple of men as well, but domination is really hot to people, and domination is easiest to represent in the form of violence. In person, a lot of people do it without physical violence. They do it, some kind of intellectual play, but that's the main reason why.
All right, that's just a theory, a gay theory. Okay, I gotta go.
See you later.
Hey,
see you. All right, I have thank you guys for watching. I've got a stream tomorrow, another panel, a different panel, different group of people. It's going to be with Queen Alexa and I'm not sure who else. It's going to be about red pill and incels, and I'm going to probably be arguing in favor of. I did steal your joke. Anyone watching the stream, I stole Ink's joke in the chat. Yeah, I'm sorry. Ink is a very well-spoken. I like the things he has to say. He's funny. Anyway, red pill and incel, and I'm going to be arguing that I guess they have a right to exist, or if they're I think the argument is about if they're like harmful at all. Like, but I think that that we should listen to them, and I think they have some underlying criticisms that are okay and reasonable, and we should not pretend that that's not true, and we should have a reasonable conversation. It's the only way to prevent people from getting radicalized, I think. So, yeah. All right. So come back tomorrow at, what time is that going to be? At 7 p.m. tomorrow, Incels and Red Pillars panel with Queen Alexa. All right, be there or be square, or forever face your methadone, your smethadone withdrawal symptoms. All right.